I believe Gu Yan must be very tired both physically and mentally. Just like me, thinking about revenge every day. Thinking of this, Ling Qingqiu no longer hesitated and put the dagger on the table. Then he reached out and gently stroked Gu Yan's head. Gu Yan was stunned. Qingqiu. The next second, Ling Qingqiu said in an unnatural tone. I'm just comforting you. My mother has been comforting me like this since I was a child. Don't misunderstand anything. Okay, there are only 10 seconds left before it ends. The sound in the study gradually faded away. Ling Qingqiu stroked Gu Yan's head. And the latter enjoyed the tranquility of the moment. 1 minute later, Ling Qingqiu immediately let go of the dagger and threw it into the drawer of the desk. The little heart was pounding. Damn it, I did this subconsciously. I hope Gu Yan doesn't misunderstand anything. Of course. I didn't do anything, I just comforted him. Thinking this in his heart, Gu Yan looked at Ling Qingqiu, who had a tangled expression and seemed to be thinking about something else. He smiled and said, Okay Qingqiu, I'm going to buy the ingredients for lunch. You stay at home and take good care of the house. Ling Qingqiu breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. He was finally leaving and could take night back. Oh, please go away, I want to read a book. Gu Yan glanced at the drawer containing night, and no one knew what he was thinking. He nodded and sighed helplessly. How heartless, Xiao Qingqing, you were trying to comfort me just now. You, get out of here. Click. Gu Yan ran out and closed the door. Ling Qingqiu was left with a face full of shame and anger. Damn bastard, he actually changed his name for me again. However, after feeling embarrassed and angry, Ling Qingqiu still felt a little scared. Fortunately, Gu Yan didn't touch her dagger. Otherwise, Ling Qingqiu shook his head and hurried to the desk to put the dagger back. Inside the luxury car outside the Ling family, Lao Gao was sitting in the driver's seat that had been waiting here since early morning. Gu Yan's expression was calm as he muttered silently in his heart. System, how can I get the magic weapon called Night? Host, that's Ling Qingqiu's thing. It's not an act of pure love if you take someone else's things. Gu Yan was speechless. It was already such a late moment. I'm asking you seriously, you know how bad things will get if Qingqiu continues to absorb warriors' souls for cultivation, right? Oh host, have you finally reacted? This system is so touched. Then I will tell you, you only need to. A few minutes later, Gu Yan understood everything, but he didn't expect that the prerequisite for taking the dagger was to do so. Gu Yan sighed lightly, but it didn't matter. After all, it coincided with his idea. After sorting out his thoughts, a rough plan emerged in Gu Yan's mind. Then the next step is waiting for the opportunity. Thinking of this, Gu Yan said to Lao Gao in a heavy tone. Lao Gao. The latter had already noticed the serious atmosphere of Gu Yan just now, so he gripped the steering wheel tightly, ready to take Gu Yan to where he wanted to go immediately. To the market. Lao Gao's mouth twitched. Okay. Young master. Hey, what am I thinking? The young master is still the young master. Besides that, the other side. Jianyeche High School. A blindfolded man wearing an orange and yellow robe and with his hair tied up stood under the tree. He sensed Meizu's arrival and asked with a slightly unfriendly tone. Meizu, why are you with that man? Why did you tell him about Xuanwu Men? This man should be just an ordinary person in the secular world, right? Does the master know about this? Meizu had already thought of a countermeasure when she heard this. So she said calmly, Clivia, you don't have to be so aggressive. It is the master's order that I protect Gu Yan. Clivia was stunned. Master's order? The killing intent in his heart was reduced a lot for a moment. But he asked again, but you have been waiting by Miss Linger's side. Meizu said without any hesitation, well, because the Grand Master beside Gu Yan discovered me. I had to appear in front of Gu Yan. As for why I would protect Miss Linger, it's because... Meizu looked at Zheng Zilan seriously. This is Gu Yan begging me to protect Miss Linger. After I thought about it, I found that protecting Linger is indeed the most important thing at the moment. During this time, I did not reveal any information about the master. I just said that there was a mysterious being who did not want you to be harmed. After hearing this, Clivia understood more or less. Grand Master is a watershed realm. But I didn't expect that Gu Yan, a young master from the secular world, actually had a master's guard by his side. It seemed that he could see the surprise in Clivia's heart. Meizu said calmly, why do you think the master wants to take away the Gu family? Chapter 120. Half a month later, Ling Qingqiu gradually became a useless person. As soon as these words came out, Clivia was speechless and said, yes. If the Gu family was just a small family, the mistress would probably not look for a husband in the secular world. Alas, the master has sacrificed too much for the plan. He should have just let Biao Yan seduce that kind of man. A master is worthy of being the master. Is it because he doesn't want his subordinates to suffer this hardship that he goes up himself? Master, you really love us. Meizu didn't know what Clivia was thinking. But the most important thing was that she couldn't let the other party report this matter to the master. After all, her mission at that time was actually to protect Guyan. Sure enough, the next second, Clivia asked, "Does the master know about this? Does he know that you did not protect Guyan, but went to protect Miss Linger?" As she spoke, Junzilan opened her folding fan and said proudly, "Let alone anything else, with me guarding Miss Linger, her safety will definitely be guaranteed." Meizu shook her head. "Master doesn't know about this matter, but I also hope you don't tell anyone." "What, the master doesn't know?" Livia was stunned and was about to say something. Meizu continued, "The master asked me to protect Guyan simply because he was worried that Guyan would die. But he has a master warrior protecting him, so he doesn't need innate warriors like us. But Miss Linger is different. And Sling, or is the master's biological sister. You are the only one with him. To be honest, I am not very reassured. The rest of the people are busy with their own tasks and cannot spare time. So I think it is much more important to protect Miss Linger, the only family member of the master, than to protect someone who has a master by his side. For example, if Guyan, a mortal in the secular world, died, the master would not care at all. But if Miss Linger dies, and everything will be over, at least I think the master will be very painful at that time. If you tell the master about this, he will definitely let me protect Guyan again. But if something unexpected happens to Miss Linger, are you up to the task? The master asked you to protect Miss Linger because he believes in your ability. But now the situation is turbulent. Xuanwu sect has chosen Miss Linger's classmate as the heir. Is this a coincidence or a premeditated plan? Do you dare to bet that you can handle everything? Not to mention that according to my investigation, Miss Linger's best friend is the eldest daughter of the Bei family, and her brother is the most talented master in the warrior department. If the warrior department finds out that Miss Linger has any connection with us When it came to this, Clivia was already a little conflicted after hearing what Meizu said. If many forces attacked together, it seemed that he alone would not be able to protect Miss Linger. Moreover, he also has his own ideas if he tells his master that he may not be able to handle it alone. And his master's trust and favorability towards him will be reduced. Don't do that. Clivia's face turned pale. He quickly nodded in agreement. You are right, I agree with you. But I didn't expect that man from the secular world would know how to protect Miss Linger. This makes me a little confused about him. Meizu felt relieved when she saw this scene. Finally I managed to fool him. Guyan, I saved you again this time. If your master knew your true identity, he would probably order you to be killed immediately. When Meizu thought of her master, she felt extremely distressed. In order to achieve her plan, the master pretended to be in love with the man. Oh master, don't worry, we, your subordinates, will become stronger as soon as possible and help you take away the Gu family. Time passed slowly, half a month later. While waiting for the plot to unfold, Guyan has always lived in the Leng family, and has been in love with Leng Qingqiu. 3 meals a day are thoughtfully prepared, and shoulder massage is commonplace. In just half a month, Leng Qingqiu had already gotten used to having Guyan at home. Like now, on the sofa. Guyan age. Leng Qingqiu was lying on the sofa in her teddy bear pajamas, shaking her little feet and opening her mouth. Okay, we want to eat fruit, right? Guyan came over wearing an apron, picked up a grape with a toothpick and fed it to Leng Qingqiu's mouth. And then, delicious. It's necessary it was specially flown back. Guyan curled the corners of his mouth, then walked aside to clean up. After living together for half a month, the relationship between the two seemed to be gradually heating up. The temperature rose to the point where Leng Qingqiu seemed to have forgotten something important. It tastes good, I will buy more next time. Leng Qingqiu's expression suddenly changed as he was eating. No, how long has it been since I last had an organizational meeting or activity? Leng Qingqiu broke out in a sweat when he thought of this. It was over. Because of Guyan's meticulous care for the past half month, she almost felt so comfortable that she became a parasite and didn't want to do anything. And because she had been staying with Guyan all the time, she had no time to sneak out and become the Night King. Leng Qingqiu's expression was a little heavy. He even stopped going to the study room where he used to stay. And his study progress fell behind a lot. She covered her face and fell into deep self-doubt. Is this also your plan, Guyan? In order to prevent me from taking away your Gu family, you want to turn me into a useless person? You rest. Leng Qingqiu finally came to her senses and knew what she should do. Revenge. That's what she has to do now. That's right. You can no longer seduce me. Leng Qingqiu muttered to himself. Just as he was about to get up, Guyan walked over with a kind look on his face. Qingqiu, don't Wobnex is the health massage, which can reg the meridians. Massage? Leng Qingqiu was shocked and felt a little conflicted. No, Leng Qingqiu, you are really too lazy. Is it because of the comfortable and gentle place that you become so decadent? She took a deep breath. I refuse. The words haven't finished yet. Guyan then put his hand on the other person's lumbar spine. Ling Qiyu lay on the sofa, unable to move. Forget it, let's press it first. Half an hour later. Ling Qiyu sat on the sofa with a rosy face. She stretched her waist and said, not bad, not bad. Guyan's technique is really comfortable. I don't know where he learned it. However, I must do some serious work next. If I keep indulging in the pleasures of life, it will affect my ability to judge many things. Well, it's time to study in the study room, no matter what Guyan wants to do next. I can't. Just thought of this, sniff. Ling Qiyu seemed to smell something sweet. And she subconsciously looked towards the kitchen. Then Guyan's life essence came over with a dinner plate. When Guyan saw Ling Qiyu who had recovered, he walked over with a plate of food in his hand, smiling. On top of it was a caramel pudding made with god-level cooking skills. And the ingredients used were all top-quality ingredients purchased from the system. Guyan sat next to Ling Qiyu and fed her a spoonful of tea. Qiyu, this is today's afternoon tea. Open your mouth. It's actually pudding. Damn, it's my favorite. Is this also one of your plans? Ling Qiyu was shocked and couldn't believe that Guyan had always been able to find her weakness. Damn it, in that case, the pudding cannot be wasted. So Guyan started today's feeding work. Pure Love partner is very satisfied. Points 600. Pure Love object is very satisfied. Points 1000. Pure Love object. Listening to the system prompt in his mind. Guyan's mouth corners slightly raised. Very good, as long as Qiyu likes it. And half a month is enough now. The plot is about to begin. There was an inexplicable hint in Guyan's eyes. We will be busy next. Chapter 121. Dragonfly skimming the water, forbearing Ling Qiyu. Ling family. That night. Living room. The latest hot news is broadcasting on EV. Yes, my father's death made me very sad, but it doesn't matter. Before he died, my father told me to inherit the Yanxing Group well. For him, I will try my best. In front of the camera. Yan Huang's adopted son Long Ziyi and expressed his longing for his deceased father with tears and snot. Click, click. The cameras were filming frantically. I believed that soon the news of Long Ziyi inheriting Yanxing Group would become a hot topic on the front page. Guyan couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth as he watched Long Ziyi crying his heart out on EV. Very well, it's time to go find him. The King of Hell's palace must be firmly grasped in one's hands. Especially since Long Ziyi has a dragon key that can help people practice. Zani Yugu, is this the son of the previous party organizer? Ling Linger was eating potato chips, looking at the man on EV with lingering fear. This scene brought her thoughts back to the banquet more than 10 days ago, when suddenly there was news that the host of the banquet had died, causing a lot of panic. Guyan nodded and said, that's right. The boss of Yanxing Group is dead, and his body has been buried. His adopted son Long Ziyi has inherited Yanxing Group. But it doesn't matter anyway, the main partner that has been cooperating with our Gujie group is Long Ziyi. The previous chairman has long stopped caring about the group. And everything is handled by Long Ziyi. Hearing this, Ling Qiyu, who was sitting next to Guyan and had not intended to interrupt, actually felt relieved. It seems that Guyan doesn't care whether the lord of the palace of Yama is alive or dead. No, why should I think so? I am not seeking revenge for Guyan. Why should we consider his feelings? Think of this. Ling Qiyu asked calmly. Did anything happen at the banquet? Hearing this, Ling Linger realized that Ling Qiyu didn't know about this yet. So she said with lingering fear, Sister, you don't know the situation at that time. We were supposed to finish singing after Zia Yugu went on stage. After a while, Long Ziyi dragged the jerku out in a panic. After a while, news came out that Chairman Yan had died. A banquet hall was in chaos, but Zia Yugu told me not to tell you. Sister, so you didn't know. Oh yeah. Zia Yugu also sang a new song for you. Sister, it's called Light Years Away. Ling Linger became more and more excited as she spoke. She directly took out the mobile phone hidden in her pocket and played the recording of Light Years Away. Guyan glanced at the other person and fell silent. Is this sister-in-law not very intelligent? Ling Qiyu naturally knew what happened at the banquet. She had even listened to half of the song Light Years Away Live. When he found that the answer was not much different from what he knew, Ling Qiyu breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Ling Linger with a kind face. He laughed. So Linger, where did you get this phone? Ling Linger was stunned on the spot, and then hurriedly turned off the music. And then hid the phone behind her. No, sister, listen to my explanation. It's over, how come I suddenly forgot about this? This phone is still not clean. That's when Ling Qiyu was about to ask Ling Linger to hand over her phone obediently. Gu Yan stopped the other person and coughed lightly. Inqyu, the child is grown up. It is very convenient to have a mobile phone. You can call me if you have any questions if Linger goes out to play. You won't have to worry about not being able to find her. Right? After these words came out, Leng Linger looked at Gu Yan with emotion. Brother-in-law. When Leng Qingqiu heard this, he turned to Gu Yan with some dissatisfaction and said, Hey guy, do you know my good intentions? As a well-read person, I naturally know that there are many shady things on the internet. What if Linger learns some weird stuff from the internet, and becomes the kind of little gangster who speaks words I can't understand? What if he still reads those pornographic books and magazines? It's fine to read it, but what if what you read are pornographic and human books and magazines with weird ideas? If it's not pure love, I can't accept it. But Gu Yan is pretending to be a good guy here. If I continue to talk, Linger might find me annoying. What a hateful man, he interferes in our family affairs at will. Leng Qingqiu took a deep breath, and finally nodded helplessly. Since your brother-in-law said so, I won't confiscate your phone. Actually, when you think about it, if there is anything in the future, I can just contact him by phone or locate the phone. In the past, people were afraid that it would delay Linger's studies. But now, there are people like the era Xuanwu sect around Linger, which shows that warriors have long infiltrated into human society. In order to avoid any accidents, Linger had to leave a way to contact her. But, although I won't accept it, Linger, you have to focus on your studies and not read those indecent things. Leng Qingqiu turned on parent mode again. Leng Linger was overwhelmed after hearing this. She shook her little yellow hair and nodded repeatedly to assure herself that she would never become like that. Gu Yan smiled helplessly. Please, this kid did everything. After teaching him a lesson for a few minutes, Leng Qingqiu finally smiled with satisfaction. Very good. Looking at the time, it was exactly 6 o'clock in the evening. Gu Yan also stood up. Okay, it's getting late, I should go too. Leng Linger had already rolled to the side with her phone to watch short videos. After hearing what Gu Yan said, Leng Linger, who thought he was going to take a shower, waved her hand and said, When you're done, remember to help me wash the underwear I just threw into the basket. Leng Qingqiu was a little angry, and said to Leng Linger, who was lying there playing with her phone like a salted fish, Linger, wash your own clothes yourself, don't bother your brother-in-law all the time. Wow, sister, your clothes were obviously washed by your brother-in-law. That's because, although Gu Yan was reluctant to leave Qingqiu, he had to leave temporarily for the sake of his plan. So he said again, Well, actually I am going to go back. For a moment, the two sisters were stunned. The phone in Leng Linger's hand slipped onto the sofa, and she immediately looked at her sister. Just see. Leng Qingqiu was stunned, her pink fists clenched tightly together. The originally harmonious atmosphere in the living room seemed to become extremely heavy and depressed because of Gu Yan's words. Are you leaving? Why so sudden? Leng Qingqiu spoke, his expression gradually returning from the stunned state to expressionless. She stood up and looked up at the other person. Do you think it's too much trouble to take care of us all the time? So you want to leave? It's okay, we two will take care of ourselves from now on. Gu Yan, you can continue to live here. We can help you wash your clothes. It's just a matter of throwing them in a washing machine. I used to do the housework when we didn't have servants. Gu Yan, you. Leng Qingqiu didn't notice that his tone was becoming more and more urgent. And the next second, Gu Yan gently stretched out his hands and placed them on Leng Qingqiu's slightly nervous face, calming Leng Qingqiu down in an instant. Gu Yan chuckled and said, What are you thinking about? My parents called me and said they missed me, so they wanted me to go back and stay with them for a while. Don't worry, I'm not coming during this period. I just won't live here. But you Qingqiu, why are you so nervous when you hear I'm leaving? Is it because you can't bear to leave me? Leng Qingqiu's secrets were exposed, and she immediately slapped Gu Yan's hands away in anger. She sat back on the sofa with a cold face, with her arms folded across her chest and a slight blush on her face. She said coldly, Who can't bear to part with you? It's just that there will be a lot of inconveniences without a man in the family. As she spoke, she waved her hand irritably. Go, hurry up. When Gu Yan saw the scene, although he was reluctant, there was nothing he could do because the plot had already begun. If you stay still, you will most likely die. But looking at the arrogant Leng Qingqiu in front of him made his heart beat very fast. Qingqiu. Gu Yan suddenly spoke. Leng Qingqiu still felt a little ashamed of having his secrets exposed, and was about to turn his head away. 3. 2 suddenly felt a warm sensation on her cheek. Gu Yan kissed Leng Qingqiu on the cheek lightly, and after the kiss he immediately ran away like a child who rang the doorbell. You bastard. Leng Qingqiu covered her right face in shame and anger and stood up. Just as she was about to chase after him, Gu Yan's life essence had already disappeared. Just leave one sentence. This is the salary I should have received in the past half month. Goodbye, Shaoqing King. Langlinger stood aside with her eyes wide open, covering her mouth with her hands as she watched the scene in disbelief. No, no way, my brother-in-law is so bold? If you dare to attack today, you will dare to attack tomorrow is. Bull, bull, bull. A new bull has appeared. Ling Qiyu covered her face and looked at the escaped life source. Her ears were already red and her heart was beating rapidly. Asshole, how dare you do this to me? Ling Qiyu clenched his fists tightly. Bastard. Who would just run away after kissing? But, I don't know why, I don't hate this feeling. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Be patient, hold on, you must hold on. Ling Qiyu. This is just a little compensation to Gu Yan for taking away the Gu family. Just kiss compensation, everything is just compensation. But, I still feel very unhappy, he actually ran away after kissing. Chapter 122 Obtaining Dragon Key and Controlling the Dragon in the Sky. The top floor of Yanxing Group building. Long Zietian walked in the empty corridor with a comfortable look on his face. Both the funeral and the press conference went well. Everyone knew that Yan Huang was dead. Moreover, he had to be allowed to take charge of the company as the heir of Yanxing Group. After all, his performance in front of the camera was simply flawless. And many media outlets and TV channels kept replaying footage of his superb acting skills. Long Ziyichen walked to a mahogany door, took a deep breath. And there was an excitement on his face that was difficult to describe in words. Although most of the high-powered warriors in the King of Hell's palace were killed by that group of mysterious people on that day. But, that's not a problem. The most important thing is that he finally became the master of the Hades Palace in public. The Death Warriors in confidence can be trained again. He believes that there is the foundation accumulated by the Hall of the King of Hell itself. Plus the support of the eldest son of the Gu family. I believe that he will be able to make a comeback in the King of Hell soon. As for those who secretly disobey him, he also believes that he can quickly eliminate them. Although he didn't know what the eldest son of the Gu family wanted to cooperate with him on, he believed that as long as the eldest son of the Gu family was not a fool, then we will definitely cooperate with him to deal with those people wearing black clothes and strange masks hiding in the dark. Thinking of this, Long Ziyan turned the handle and pushed open the door. He was very excited at the moment. He even closed his eyes and entered it. He opened his hands and took a deep breath of the smell in the office. Very good, starting from here, I will make my hell. One step at a time. Rule the world. You seem very happy. Hearing the voice, Long Ziyan was stunned. He opened his eyes and saw a person who was so familiar to him that he couldn't be more familiar with him, sitting in the boss chair with his hands folded under his chin and resting on the table. The other party was looking at him jokingly. In addition to this, there stood a butler who exuded a terrifying aura. This pair. Gu Yan? What are you doing here? Long Ziyan was a little shocked. He did not close the door, but stood there undecided. After all, this scene now made him feel a little uneasy. In the dim office, the man who held the power over him and his master guardian had been waiting for him. And the other person seemed to have a standard villain smile on his face that could only be seen on EB. However, Long Ziyan was not too panicked, because he believed that Gu Yan would not do anything to him. After all, the other party needed the power of the palace of Yama. Seeing Long Ziyan gradually regaining his composure, Gu Yan curled his lips, and a hint of inexplicable meaning appeared in his eyes as he looked at him. Don't be so nervous. Remember, I said I would help you consolidate your position in Hades Palace. But I need you to promise me one thing. I will tell you about this while we wait for your adoptive father to be buried. Hearing this, Long Ziyan also thought of the agreement between Gu Yan and him in the banquet hall. For a moment, he felt a little embarrassed about his startled reaction. He breathed a sigh of relief and walked towards Gu Yan, his eyes looking intentionally or unintentionally at the boss chair where the other person was sitting. Hey, we are just partners, the real owner of the King of Hell is me. Gu Yan, even though you have a master bodyguard, you can't do this, right? Walking to the opposite side of Gu Yan, Long Ziyan looked at him, calmed down and asked, tell me, what do you want me to agree to? This one. Gu Yan thought about it, then showed a kind smile to the other party. It's just that I want the dragon energy in your body. As soon as these words came out, Long Ziyan's expression changed. What did you say? Rush. The words haven't finished yet. Lao Gao, who was beside Gu Yan, had already taken a step forward and teleported in front of Long Ziyan. His right hand formed a claw and he attacked directly under Long Ziyan's terrified expression. Phew! Lao Gao pierced Long Ziyan's chest, and with his palm he grasped a struggling, erratic dragon-shaped golden key. This thing, it is dragon energy. Thump. Lao Gao withdrew his right hand and returned to Gu Yan again. He glanced at Long Ziyan, who was lying on the ground dying with a big hole in his chest. There was no warmth in his eyes. In the worldview of a warrior, killing people to steal treasures is normal, not to mention that this is a dragon key. He spread out his hands respectfully and handed the dragon energy to Guyan. Master, the dragon energy is in hand. Guyan stretched out his hand and picked it up. Looking at the golden dragon energy that was constantly struggling at his fingertips, a hint of pink light appeared in his eyes. A reminder popped up in my mind. Host, this is not an act of pure love. This system refuses the host to absorb any energy other than pure love energy. Idiot system. The corner of Guyan's mouth twitched. And the next second, the ring on his finger that was transformed from the three lives demon claw suddenly became restless. Chirp, chirp. Hearing the urgent desire coming from his mind, Guyan thought about it and seemed to have come up with a good idea. So he placed the dragon energy on the black ring on his finger for a moment. Chirp. Roar, roar, roar. The excited voice and the painful scream entered Guyan's mind for just a moment. The dragon energy was completely devoured by the three demon claws. Congratulations to the host Vet Claw for absorbing a dragon's energy. It has become stronger. What kind of a name is this? This thing is called a claw? Was it given by the system? Guyan felt a little helpless. This system was definitely not legitimate. Of course, no matter how frivolous it was, he could feel that something extra was going on in his mind. Thinking of this, he looked at the ring on his finger and an idea moved. Gargurgle. The ring seemed to melt and instantly turned into black water like black slime, instantly covering Guyan's index finger. Lao Gao was shocked. Master. Guyan waved his hand to indicate that everything was fine. In less than a moment, the black water had completely changed its shape. Guyan's index finger, which originally looked like a normal human's, had now turned into a devil's claw emitting a strange black and gold light. A lot of information also came into Guyan's mind. And at this time, Long Ziyian fell to the ground, covering his empty chest, looking at the ceiling with confused, shocked and terrified eyes. He glanced at Guyan, who had taken away his dragon energy from the corner of his eye. His dragon energy was taken away, and his life was also fading away rapidly. Because, when the dragon energy entered his body, it was already bound to his life. Unexpected. Guyan's goal was to obtain the dragon energy in his body. So his goal was the same as his adoptive father's. Never mind. I have also colluded with the evil ways and harmed many people. Maybe this is my destiny. From the moment you are born, your destiny is to become someone else's furnace. But the next second. Don't be so pessimistic, you, Ray, not going to die yet. Guyan walked over, squatted down, and stretched out his golden claw that looked like a ghost. What you up to? Long Ziyian tried hard to look up at Guyan, but this time he was stunned. That is, the three-life demon claw? The thing of that demon warrior, but why is the color and shape a little different? You lunatic. Long Ziyian was weak and no longer knew what Guyan wanted to do. Guyan shrugged, maybe, but you will thank me later. As he said this, he smiled heavily and put his fingertips close to Long Ziyian's forehead. Then, slowly penetrated it. The host's desire to control the other party is detected. Repairing the body control will cost 50 pure love points. Detected that the magic claw skill control was activated. Offset part of the pure love value. Detected that the magic claw skill repair was activated. Offset part of the pure love value, since Long Ziyian's resistance to pure love value is 15. Finally, 50,000 pure love values are consumed. In an instant. Wow, Long Ziyian let out a painful roar, and one by one, tiny things as thin as hair kept moving around the surface of Long Ziyian, drilling into its deep places. Long Ziyian's eyes gradually became dull and his whole body began to shake and twitch abnormally. This continued for more than 10 seconds. Long Ziyian stopped struggling. Guyan stood aside calmly and watched the other party's reaction. He passed the time by fiddling with the claws in his hands. 1 second passed, 2 seconds passed, 3 seconds. Plop, plop. A magical scene happened. Long Ziyian's chest was quickly repaired by densely packed hair-sized threads. It soon returned to normal. Immediately afterwards, Long Ziyian opened his eyes, saw Guyan, and slowly stood up. Lao Chao quickly came to Guyan and watched the scene with vigilance. Next second, something happened that Lao Gao didn't expect. Thump. After Long Ziyian stood up, he immediately knelt on one knee on the ground, lowered his head and said respectfully to Guyan, Master. Seeing this scene, Lao Chao was shocked. Guyan's eyes showed a slight smile. And it was done. He retracted the claw and turned it back into a ring. Wow, it took a full 50,000 pure love points to control the other party with the power of magic claws. But it was all worth it. Under Lao Gao's confused gaze, Guyan walked up to Long Ziyian and said, Don't be so surprised. Lao Gao. He looked at Long Ziyan, who was lowering his head, raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said, "The king of Hell's palace is already our Gu family's property. Get up, I have something to tell you." Gu Yan said softly. "Good master." Long Ziyan stood up and looked at Gu Yan with respect and enthusiasm, and even took a step closer to Gu Yan. "Master, please speak." Gu Yan moved a little further away from Long Ziyan. He didn't know if it was his illusion, but he always felt that the controlled Long Ziyan seemed to be thinking about something strange about him. Forget it, it was probably his illusion anyway. "Let me tell you the task first. Find me someone who looks like she's just started college. Her name is Yu Xingzhu. Her father became disabled due to a construction accident at your Yanxing Group's construction site. My mother is an employee of a company. Tell me her location when you find her. Just call me in your mind." After listening to the mission instructions, Long Ziyan nodded. "Okay, master, I will definitely not let you down." "Very good." Gu Yan smiled with satisfaction in his heart. "Yu Xingzhu, this person has nothing to do with the protagonist group. If there is a relationship, it is a hostile one. Because this person is one of the later villains in the original work. His strength has been cultivated to the peak of the late Grandmaster stage, and he is only one step away from entering the ranks of the Grandmaster. He is someone worthy of being recruited by Gu Yan." "Okay, we're done here. So the next step is there, but I have to say it. I didn't expect things to go so smoothly. The evolved claws really gave me a big surprise. Oh no, you have to watch your expression." Chapter 123, Visiting Wang Yilan. I'm already married. Early the next morning, after controlling Long Ziyan, Gu Yan went to the second female led in the original novel whom he hadn't visited for a long time. Zhang Ye Hospital. In a private ward, Wang Yilan was still waiting for the results of the last physical examination today. If there were no problems, she would be able to go through the discharge procedures today. While she was waiting, the door of the ward was pushed open. "Momo Ying, why are you here again, huh?" Wang Yilan subconsciously thought that Tao Ying came again and wanted her to join some Peach Blossom Club. But someone unexpected came. "Good morning, Sister Yilan. How are you feeling lately?" Gu Yan pushed the door open and walked in, carrying a basket of fruit in his hand. He placed the fruit on the table beside him, then sat on the attendant's chair with a smile on his face. Wang Yilan thought that since she hadn't seen Gu Yan for so long, she should no longer be so attracted to him. But unexpectedly, when she saw Gu Yan again, she was still very nervous and embarrassed. She got into bed in a hurry, leaving only her blushing head exposed. She grabbed the quilt with both hands, glanced at Gu Yan nervously, and then nodded. "Yeah. Oh no, why am I so nervous? Gu Yan came to see me with great difficulty, so I should have said more. But I must be very haggard now. Will I be ugly?" Seeing this, Gu Yan smiled slightly, took out a report and placed it beside the bed. "I'm glad you're okay. I've already read the report before I came here. Sister Yilan, your body has recovered and you can be discharged from the hospital. Congratulations." As he spoke, Gu Yan's face was full of apology. "I'm sorry I didn't come to see you before, because I was too busy. I couldn't find time until today. So that's how it is. You still come to visit me even though you are so busy." Wang Yilan was deeply moved. She shook her head repeatedly. "No, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I should thank you. Gu Yan, you are just my mother's student, but you still sent me to the hospital and paid for my medical expenses." Wang Yilan's voice became smaller and smaller as she spoke. But when she talked about the medical expenses, she looked at Gu Yan very seriously. "I will definitely pay you back for the medical expenses. You have helped me so much, and if I still have to ask you to pay for the medical expenses, I really can't face you. Give me some time, and I will definitely pay you back." When Gu Yan heard this, a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes, and a hint of touching appeared on his expression. He shook his head. "It's okay, Sister Yilan, I'm really touched that you can say that. But..." Gu Yan took a deep breath and smiled sincerely. "Your mother is my teacher. I am doing this not for you, Sister Yilan, but to repay my teacher, so please don't feel any burden." "Sister Yilan, this is..." Wang Yilan was a little anxious because she wondered if Gu Yan was the mysterious man who paid for her mother's medical expenses. If that was the case, then she really didn't know how to repay Gu Yan. A result came before she could even ask. Next second, a figure pushed the door open and walked in, accompanied by a voice full of energy. "Good morning, Sister Yilan, I'm here to see you." "Who is this man?" Tao Ying, wearing a pink coat, pushed the door open and walked in. She came today to give Wang Yilan one last chance. If the other party is still unwilling to join their Peach Blossom Club, then she would have to do what the Peach Blossom Society was best at. As soon as she came in, she saw Wang Yilan huddled in the quilt, and next to her stood a man she had never seen before. This guy is so handsome. Could he be Wang Yilan's boyfriend? I haven't heard her mention him before. Tao Ying walked over calmly. It didn't matter, he was now a person full of energy. Mo Ying, you're here. Wang Yilan was a little hesitant to introduce this guy to Gu Yan. After all, this guy was talking nonsense and sounded a bit like a pyramid schemer. Tao Ying nodded and sat on the edge of the bed. Yeah. But I didn't expect someone to come here before me. Obviously I was in such a hurry that I came to visit Wang Yilan so early. Someone actually arrived earlier than me? Could he really be Wang Yilan's boyfriend? Or are people from other forces also interested in Wang Yilan? Tao Ying sensed Gu Yan slightly and found that she could not sense the other person's breath at all. I immediately relaxed my guard. It turned out he was just an ordinary person. You have to know that she is a congenital warrior. And she doesn't believe that someone of Gu Yan's age has a higher level of cultivation than her. Gu Yan glanced at Tao Ying, and the other party's message immediately popped up in his mind. Tao Ying, the granddaughter of the leader of the Peach Blossom Society, is in the early stage of innate cultivation in the original novel. She plotted to kill Wang Yilan's mother one night in order to get her to join the Peach Blossom Society, causing Wang Yilan to lose her beloved and choose to join the Peach Blossom Society to become stronger before finding the murderer. Oh, it really has come to this point. It's worth it that I've waited so long. Gu Yan smiled inwardly, then looked at Tao Ying. Is Miss Tao Ying a friend of Sister Yulan? Sister Magnolia? Yeah, aren't you a couple? Tao Ying was a little surprised. Brother and sister, but the temperaments of these two people don't look like brother and sister no matter how you look at them. No, Gu Yan is my mother's student, we have received a lot of help from him. You can say it's a brother-sister relationship. Wang Yilan hurriedly explained, fearing that Gu Yan would be angry and Tao Ying would mistakenly think they were a couple. After finishing, he looked at Gu Yan cautiously, and when he saw that the other party did not react, he felt relieved. Tao Ying nodded when she heard this. Oh, then she looked at Gu Yan with interest. Brother, you are so handsome, can you date me? To be honest, I haven't met such a handsome guy in a long time. He looks very strong if I can absorb his yang energy. Maybe my cultivation will be able to reach a higher level. Wang Yilan was shocked when she heard this. She was about to refuse. But then she changed her mind and secretly called herself an idiot. What qualifications do I have to reject others on Gu Yan's behalf? Thinking of this, she looked at Gu Yan uneasily, fearing that he would really agree. Fortunately, Gu Yan shook his head. I refuse. Wang Yilan heaved a sigh of relief and gave a thumbs up in her heart. Great, Gu Yan, you resisted the temptation of beauty. However, Tao Ying likes this kind of hypocritical man the most. Why, little brother, I have a good figure and I can act coquettish sly with you. Tao Ying said this and wanted to hug Gu Yan's arm. However, what I didn't expect was, a crest sound appeared in the ward. Gu Yan slapped away Tao Ying's claws that were about to reach out, and then looked at her kindly. I'm sorry, Miss Tao. I'm already married. Besides, Gu Yan's expression gradually became cold, with a cold smile on the corner of his mouth. I hate frivolous women like you. Chapter 124, The Peach Blossom Club, angered and ready to attack. Click. A creepy feeling spread throughout Tao Ying's body. I don't know why, even though Gu Yan was smiling, Tao Ying's heart seemed to be gripped by something. After a while, she felt cold all over and her face turned pale. Even when Gu Yan called her a frivolous woman, she did not retort. What's going on? Tao Ying's pupils shrank slightly. What was going on with this strange feeling? This man is not an ordinary person? Wang Yilan obviously didn't notice this, because when Gu Yan said the words, I'm already married, her mind went blank. Marry? It turns out that Gu Yan is already married. Wang Yilan's expression was a little dull, and she felt a bit anxious and worried. So was this all just my wishful thinking? I originally thought that Gu Yan helped her because he actually had some feelings for her. But was it really all just to repay her mother? And I actually still have so many thoughts about Gu Yan in my heart. It's really really shameless. Wang Yilan suddenly felt extremely depressed. Gu Yan seemed to have lost interest in this episode. He stood up and gave Wang Yilan an apologetic look. Sorry, Sister Yilan, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. I'll come visit you and the teacher later. After saying that, he left the ward. Wang Yilan wanted to say goodbye, but found that she didn't even have the courage to say goodbye. Her eyes dimmed and her expression became extremely lost. The other side. With Gu Yan's departure, Tao Ying, who had been under great pressure, finally recovered. She covered her chest with her hands. Her face was extremely pale, and there was a hint of shock and anger in her eyes. What was going on? Why was she so scared just because the man looked at her? Are you kidding me? I am the most talented warrior in the Peach Blossom Society. Why would I be afraid? Even if the other party was very strong, I wouldn't be so afraid. It actually brought her so much pressure. Tao Ying tried to breathe calmly, with some disbelief in her eyes. In other words, the man named Gu Yan might even be stronger than her. Glancing at the anxious Wang Yilan, Tao Ying's fear gradually subsided, and at the same time, she became very disdainful. Poor guy. I'm afraid their intentions towards you are not pure either. Tao Ying didn't believe that such a strong man approached Wang Yilan just to help others. Thinking of this, she took a deep breath. She said in a voice full of energy and fear, I was scared to death, Sister Yilan, that man was so scary. Fortunately, he left. I didn't expect that he was already married. He's so young. By the way, Sister Yilan, do you know what his identity is? Can you tell me? Wang Yili listened to Tao Ying's endless chatter. Her eyes dimmed, she shook her head. I only know that he was my mother's student. The story all started from that day. Left the hospital. Fu Yin went to the dean's office again to chat with Dean Pusong Lin. Oh, Xiaozhu, I didn't expect you to come visit an old man like me again. Pusong Lin laughed. The more he looked at Gu Yan, the more he liked him. I even scoffed at those so-called rumors in my heart. How could we not know whether Gu Yan is good or not? Grandpa Pu, don't say that as a junior. It's my duty to visit the elders. Not to mention, I heard that you, Grandpa Dean, have become teacher Wang Lan's attending physician. Before Gu Yan finished speaking, Pusong Lin waved his hand and said, Hey, don't be so polite, little Gu. You have a pure heart. If teacher Wang Lan wakes up, I believe she will be very grateful to you. Maybe even their daughter will be introduced to you. The second half of the sentence was half serious and half joking. After all, as he treated Wang Lan, he actually got to know Wang Lan's daughter, Wang Yilan. Every patient, doctor and nurse praised the little girl for being kind and filial. And it was indeed the case. After he met her, she was simple-minded and innocent. Until now, she seemed to be unaware that the person who paid for her mother's medical expenses was actually Gu Yan. Aha, Ding, you're joking actually, I'm already planning to get engaged. Gu Yan shook his head and denied again that he was single. Got engaged? Pusong Lin was stunned when these words were spoken. This was something he had not expected. The girl who became very nervous when she heard Gu Yan's name flashed through his mind. He smiled helplessly. Is this what it means to be together? However, thanks to Gu Yan's help, the mother received proper treatment. And now her body functions are gradually recovering. I really don't know how the little girl can repay such a great kindness. Yeah, with the girl I love very much. When Gu Yan said this, his eyes became extremely gentle. Pusong Lin nodded repeatedly and exclaimed, This is youth. You must invite me to the engagement party. Xiao Gu. Gu Yan responded, That's natural. Left the hospital. Gu Yan sat back in the luxury car. Lao Qiao in the driver's seat immediately handed over a document. Master, Shaolin's current address has been found. Gu Yan took it and looked at it. Chunshan Community 11501. Chunshan Community. It is indeed exactly the same as in the original book. There was an inexplicable look in Gu Yan's eyes. The place where Shaolin currently lives is actually a house purchased by Shen Wanner. Because there is also intrigue in the Shen family. Whenever she felt tired, she would return to live in the community she had secretly purchased. According to the original plot, Shaolin gave her a beauty prescription that could reverse her current predicament. That's why Shaolin, who has no home to go, is allowed to stay here temporarily. So, Lao Gao, let's go to the vegetable market. Okay, master. In Chunshan Community. Shaolin Austin turned in a bed with a look of excitement on his face. What made him excited was that Shen Wanner's attitude towards him had been getting better and better recently. Especially when he gave Shen Wanner the beauty secret recipe that his master taught him. The other party was even more delighted, and his frowning brows finally relaxed. Shaolin raised his hand and looked at his hand that had been held by Shen Wanner with happy eyes. I didn't expect Wanner would actually say thank you to me and let me live in the house she bought. Shaolin's face was full of joy. Because he provided the secret recipe. Shen Wanner even let him take a day off today and arranged a new job for him tomorrow. So Wanner must like me. A happy expression appeared on Shaolin's face. Master, you are right. The girls in this city are beautiful and gentle. And just at this moment, buzz, his cell phone vibrated. This phone was also bought for him by Shen Wanner. The only friends I added were Shen Wanner and her secretary. But it be that? Shaolin's face lit up with joy. And he quickly opened his phone to take a look. A result was a piece of news that changed his expression. Shaolin, you seem to be very happy. Do you know how much pain Sister Yilan has endured in Zhanghe Hospital? Why kneel in Zhanghe Hospital? For a moment, Shaolin recalled the scene again in his mind. His expression froze instantly. Even breathing became much more difficult. He put down the phone, his voice became a little hoarse, his eyes full of guilt. Yes, while I was enjoying myself here, I forgot that Sister Yilan was still lying in the hospital. What right do I have to be so happy? He could probably guess who sent the message. And only the other party could find the mobile phone number he had just bought. Although I am very reluctant, but. Guyan, thank you for reminding me. Shaolin closed his eyes, his heart filled with regret. I must go to the hospital to visit Sister Yelin today. The other side. Tao Ying has left Wang Yilin's ward. She curled her lips, so that's it. Although I don't know whether Guyan is a student of Wang Yilin's mother. It doesn't matter. Because, today, Wang Yilin once again rejected them, saying that her mother's condition was getting better and she would show signs of waking up soon. Are you kidding me? Do you think I will let you get what you want? Plus the shame that man brought her. In that case. Her face became extremely gloomy. We must take action tonight and kill Wang Yilin's mother. Chapter 125. Guyan's body fluids can help me practice. At noon, after buying groceries, I returned to Leng's house. In the study, Leng Qingqiu grabbed Guyan's collar and put his little head close to it to sniff. A few seconds later, she raised her head with a frosty face and said coldly, "You smell like another woman." The smell of perfume mixed with the smell of disinfectant. "Oh, I get it. Did you go to the hospital to visit that woman named Wang Yilin?" "Wang Yilin, I know. But who is this woman wearing peach blossom perfume?" Leng Qingqiu let go of Guyan's collar with a cold face, and raised the corner of her mouth and looked at him kindly. "I can't believe it. When he left last night he said that his family missed him. But it turns out that the person who was actually missing him was that woman in the hospital. Of course, what I cared about was that my servant actually ran away to another woman. I just felt unhappy because it seemed like my servant was robbed. Although I knew that Wang Yilin was in a miserable situation, I didn't know why I felt very unhappy inside. Not to mention, it seems that there is another woman besides Wang Yilin. What should you do if you have a wife at home who is arrogant, refuses to admit that she likes you, and is also jealous?" Guyan said that it is very cute anyway. He reached out and pinched Leng Qingqiu's cheeks, then gently pulled them to the sides, scolding with a smile. "Are you an idiot? Why are you so nervous?" "Hello, husband, I only love you. Wang Yilin's mother is my teacher, so I naturally have to go and see her. As for the woman wearing perfume, to be honest, I don't even know her. She seems to be Wang Yilin's friend. As soon as I walked in, she tried to take advantage of me and said she wanted me to be her boyfriend. I come to think of it, Qingqiu, your face feels pretty comfortable to pinch." Leng Qingqiu was very angry when being pulled away, although she felt much better after listening to Guyan's explanation. "But, bang! Take your stinky hands away, it hurts." Leng Qingqiu slapped Guyan's hand away, covered her face with both hands, and felt extremely ashamed. "Damn it, I hate people who have no sense of distance. Do you think anyone can touch the Night King's face? Of course the most important point is." Leng Qingqiu snorted softly, crossed his arms and said, "So, what did you say after that person confessed to you? Were you so happy that you almost jumped up and then you knelt on the ground and nodded in agreement?" After seeing this, Guyan put his hands on Leng Qingqiu's shoulders and pushed her back onto the chair. "What are you talking about, Qingqiu? Of course I rejected it the first time." As he spoke, he gently rubbed Leng Qingqiu's shoulders. Today, Leng Qingqiu was wearing a black high-neck slim-fit sweater, which made her already fair face look even more beautiful. Also, because Leng Qingqiu had a good figure, Guyan felt very good when he pressed her shoulders. Looking down from above, Leng Qingqiu looked like a beautiful and delicate doll, very light and comfortable to hold. While pressing, Guyan could also feel the other person's body trembling slightly. He lowered his head slightly and absorbed the fragrance emanating from Leng Qingqiu's body. The latter's expression changed slightly, and his fingers began to tremble slightly. In order to relieve the pressure, he deliberately tapped his arm with his fingers, pretending to be calm on the surface, and said, "Well, then what?" "Then, I said I was married." "Marry? With me?" Leng Qingqiu felt a surge of joy in her heart for some reason. She relaxed slightly and leaned back in her chair, and continued to ask, "Who are you going to marry? You guess?" Guyan exerted a little force, and Leng Qingqiu gradually let go of the hands that had been around her chest. His arms gradually dropped down, and he seemed to hear Guyan's somewhat hot breathing. "This guy, did he get so close to me during the massage?" Leng Qingqiu felt a little dazed. Wait, he couldn't do this. "I want to guess." Leng Qingqiu spoke intermittently, his breathing slightly rapid, because of Guyan's technique. The other party's slightly playful voice, and the hot breath blowing against her ears. Her heart beat rapidly for a moment. "Of course it's with you. My Qingqiu." Guyan stretched out his hand, hugged Leng Qingqiu from behind, bent down, and buried his face in the back of Leng Qingqiu. Leng Qingqiu wanted to struggle, but found that he had no strength at the moment. "What happened to me? Pervert, let me go." Leng Qingqiu tried to use those harmless words to make Guyan leave, but in her heart she was enjoying the moment very much. But the next second, however, Guyan's actions directly broke this dreamlike feeling. Shasha, Kinkyu, my Kinkyu. Sorry, please let me inhale a little more. It's better to inhale until I'm full, I really can't help it. Kinkyu, you smell so good. Asshole. Get out of here. Click. The study door was closed. Guyan, who was kicked out, had a helpless look on his face. He covered his face in regret. Damn it. I felt that the atmosphere in the study had become very ambiguous. But once I got close to Kinkyu, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help but reveal my true face. There's nothing we can do about it. No one can resist such a beautiful person in front of you. You are indifferent, right? Not to mention that she is your pure love object. No, I must train my self-control ability. Guyan shook his head and went to cook. In the study, Ling Kinkyu covered the back of her neck with shame, as Guyan had just bitten her there. It's really perverted. Why would someone do this over there? Ling Kinkyu said that she didn't understand. She spread her hands and said helplessly, it's saliva. This guy is so perverted. Ling Kinkyu was just thinking about it and was about to find some paper. Sudden crash. A strange black book suddenly flew out of her eyes and automatically opened and turned the pages. What's going on? Ling Kinkyu was shocked. Why did the evil book appear by itself? And it gave her the feeling that it seemed to be eager for something. Crash. The black book flew to Ling Kinkyu's hand and kept turning the pages. It seemed as if he couldn't wait but was afraid that Ling Kinkyu would get angry. Ling Kinkyu slowly asked a question, and a possibility emerged in her mind. Then he slowly pressed his palm, which was stained with Guyan's saliva, on the black book. Next second. Buzz. The black book twitched with excitement and emitted a strange black halo. In less than a moment, it returned to Ling Kinkyu's eyes again. Ling Kinkyu also felt something unusual. That is, my perception seems to have improved a little. Although it is very weak, it has indeed increased. Ling Kinkyu was shocked. What was going on? One's own perception can be understood as the attack range. He can absorb the life essence of anything that is within his perception. A method of improvement is extremely harsh, and I haven't found a way to improve myself. But Ling Kinkyu had an idea in her mind that she found extremely absurd. Guyan's body fluids can help me practice? As soon as this thought popped up, Ling Kinkyu found it extremely ridiculous. How is this possible? Is Guyan that special? Ling Kinkyu laughed and shook his head. The study fell into silence for a moment. A few minutes later, there was another inexplicable murmur in the study. What if it really works? Chapter 126. Ling Kinkyu tries to make Guyan the cauldron. At the dinner table, Ling Kinkyu held the bowl and looked at Guyan's life source with a frown. Or in other words, look at the other person's mouth. But she soon realized that her idea was too perverted. So she quickly lowered her head as if nothing had happened. Damn it, how could I think like that? Wouldn't that make me a pervert like Guyan? Ling Kinkyu. Ling Kinkyu, don't think about such unrealistic things. Maybe it was just an accidental situation just now. Guyan is just an ordinary person who can break marble. So don't think too much about it. How special can the physique of an ordinary person be? Ling Kinkyu denied it in his heart while eating to make his behavior not seem too abnormal. Of course, her poor acting skills had already caught Guyan's attention. He looked at Ling Kinkyu during the meal. Ling Kinkyu had secretly glanced at him more than a dozen times. Is that possible? Guyan covered his mouth, his eyes showing a look of guessing everything. Does Kinkyu want me to feed her? But it would be bad if I guessed wrong. No, Guyan. Oh Guyan, don't you understand? You are Guyan, the pure love warrior of the universe. Even if Ling Kinkyu says no to you, you still have to go for it with a licking face. So, Guyan moved a chair and sat next to Ling Kinkyu. This movement startled Ling Kinkyu, and he shrank back subconsciously. What are you doing? Kinkyu, have you been paying attention to me since we were having dinner? Although I know you can't see, I can see through your body and see that your heart seems to be spying on me. Buff. Before Guyan could finish his words, Ling Kinkyu punched him in the chest in anger. He immediately hunched over, covering his chest, and crawled in a dark and twisted manner. What do you mean by through the body? Please don't say such misleading things. Ling Kinkyu withdrew her hand in shame and anger, feeling very nervous inside. Oops, was I being too obvious? But I am really curious. I thought Guyan was just an ordinary person. But looking at the situation now, it seems that is not the case. Oh, by the way, remember that Baeyan has a naturally charming body, right? Could it be that Guyan also has this special physique? The more Ling Kinkyu thought about it, the more possible it seemed. She possessed the power of night, which allowed her to sneak into any place and steal information. But she knew that there were many self-awake and natural warriors in this world. Maybe Guyan is this type, and he suddenly awakened his special physique at the banquet. Ling Kinkyu felt a little strange when he thought about this. What kind of physique could help people practice? Could it be that Guyan has awakened some strange physique that is suitable for being a furnace cauldron? When Ling Qiyu thought of the furnace, he secretly cursed himself as a pervert. It's all Guyan's fault. I was led astray, however, I have to try it out. There were several times when Guyan used his chopsticks during meals before. I felt ashamed, so I would never use the chopsticks that Guyan had used again. But now it's worth a try, of course. Guyan can't see anything. So, Ling Qiyu coughed lightly, stretched out his hand and tried to comfort Guyan's injured heart. His tone was as gentle as it could be. Guyan, where does your chest hurt? Do you want me to? Qiyu, do you have a fever? Guyan felt a chill all over his body. And he always felt that Ling Qiyu was very different now than usual. Ling Qiyu's expression froze, and he endured it silently. Stop talking nonsense. Ling Qiyu scooped a spoonful of soup with a spoon, and then handed it to Guyan's mouth, trying to act very natural. Here, Guyan. Guyan looked at the spoon that was being brought close to his mouth, and looked at Ling Qiyu's face that was trying hard to appear gentle. He was a little undecided and asked cautiously, Qiyu, are you going to feed me? How strange, could it be that Ling Qiyu had been thinking about this from the beginning? Did she actually want to feed him herself? Oh, you are an old married couple, why be so shy? If you want to feed me, can't you just say no? Why bother? Bang! Ling Qiyu felt that Guyan was still indifferent. And the shame and anger in her heart immediately made her abandon her previous gentleness, and she directly punched Guyan in the chest again. Then he shouted coldly, drink. It looked like a rich woman using her power to coerce others. Drink, I drink. Guyan nodded quickly and accepted Ling Qiyu's feeding. Feeling that Guyan was obedient, Ling Qiyu felt very satisfied. However, this seemed to have awakened some strange sexual fetish. And she gently placed her free hand on Guyan's head. He stroked her gently, and said in a gentle tone, drink it obediently. Now it was Guyan's turn to slowly put a question mark. He shook Ling Qiyu's hand away with his head in dissatisfaction. And then said, Qiyu, what are you doing? Do you think I am your little puppy? Ling Qiyu withdrew his hand upon hearing this, snorted softly, and denied. I was just comforting you. Yeah? Guyan was very suspicious because the pure love object is very satisfied with this method. Points 500. The pure love object has awakened the dominant, sexual fetish. Points 10,000. Host, please work hard to cooperate with the pure love object. Pure love object. The system doesn't seem to say that. Yeah, what do you think? Am I that kind of person? Seeing that Guyan didn't trust her, Ling Qiyu became furious and took the spoon and put it aside. Then he raised his head slightly, snorted and said, besides, what you said is not without reason. If one day you are kicked out of the Gu family and have no place to live. There was a hint of inexplicable meaning in Ling Qiyu's tone. She reached out and gently stroked Guyan's cheek, as if easing Guyan's heart. She said with a playful smile in her intellectual voice, you can indeed come to me and ask me to support you. Plop, plop. Guyan was stunned in short, it was very cute. Ling Qiyu also felt Guyan's heartbeat, and even though she felt ashamed and shy inside, she had to appear calm. That's right, I can only be the one in the dominant position in a relationship. Just thought of this. Bang! Guyan grabbed Ling Qiyu's hand. And then, seeing the other parties panic, Guyan shouted loudly. So, after I support you, can you do whatever I want to you? Or I can accept whatever you do to me, otherwise, I will quit the Gu family right now. Qiyu, you support me. Then, let's do this and that. Every day and night. Ling Qiyu blushed when she heard this. She quickly pushed Guyan away, covered her chest and shouted, only a ghost would do that. Oh my god, Ling Qiyu said that she still underestimated Guyan's bottom line. Damn it, how embarrassing, I failed in just 1 second. Is this your strength, Guyan? Okay, in that case, I think I should read some books on how to fall in love. Oh, right, didn't I confiscate a lot of Linger's romance novels before? This is a good opportunity to learn some. Guyan was very disappointed, as he had thought he could accomplish his goal in 1 step. But it doesn't matter. He looked at the panicked Ling Qiyu and said, okay Qiyu, if you want to support me, you can tell me anytime. I can come over after I get ready. Besides, Guyan gave Ling Qiyu a thumbs up. Even shy Qiyu is cute. After saying that, he hurriedly took the dishes and chopsticks and ran to the kitchen to clean up. Plop, plop. Ling Qiyu was left alone, standing there in a daze, her little heart beating rapidly with shame. Bad guy. Ling Qiyu covered his chest and said, it's obvious. It's obvious that you are the only one allowed to be attracted to me. How can I get along with my subordinates in this situation? Ling Qiyu was very unwilling. Why was she so moved? Damn it. Gu Yan, just wait, the more you do this, the more you will regret it. Ling Qingqiu quietly took the spoon that Gu Yan had used to drink the soup. Gu Yan, don't be complacent if the experiment is successful. You can wait to be my furnace for my cultivation for the rest of your life. Chapter 127 The Night King is Invincible. Ganyi Pharmaceutical. In the president's office. Shen Wan'er looked at the man standing in front of her with some surprise. She joked, Shaolin, what's wrong with you, didn't I let you take a day off? Hearing this, Shaolin touched his nose a little embarrassed and said with a wry smile. Mr. Shen, can you lend me some money? Hearing this, Shen Wan'er was stunned, and smiled helplessly. It's just this matter. Why are you so nervous, how much does it cost? Seeing Shen Wan'er being so easy to talk to, Shaolin was extremely moved. He stretched out a finger and asked carefully. Can you lend me 1,000? Shen Wan'er nodded. Took out 1,000 yuan from the drawer and put it on the table. This 1,000 is for you. As she spoke, she smiled gently at Shaolin. Who asked you to help me so much? Shaolin's heart was struck hard. He nodded stupidly and said with a silly smile, Thank you, Wan'er. He collected the money and turned to leave. His expression became a little tangled, so he turned around and said to Shen Wan'er. Sorry, this money is not for me. Shen Wan'er was a little confused. What do you mean? Shaolin felt that he was betraying Shen Wan'er by doing this, so he told her everything about his plan to visit Wang Yilan. Well, it's actually like this. 10 minutes later, Shen Wan'er looked at Shaolin in surprise and saw that he was being cautious and looked like an honest man. Shen Wan'er couldn't help but burst out laughing. She covered her mouth. You are so funny, why are you so nervous about this? The sudden laughter made Shaolin seem a little overwhelmed. He was so anxious that his face turned red. Well, Wan'er, stop laughing. Shen Wan'er laughed enough. She stood up, walked around the desk and came to Shaolin. She stretched out her hand and naturally held Shaolin's hand. Looking at the other's clear and innocent eyes, Shen Wan'er's heart seemed to be touched. The intrigues within the family made her physically and mentally exhausted. Shaolin was like a piece of pure jade, uncontaminated by the world. Seeing that the other party was shy and honest when seeing her, she felt an inexplicable feeling in her heart. She held his hand and smiled slightly. Shaolin, you are from my company. I will help you go higher in the future. These money and these small things will not affect the relationship between you and me. All you have to do is protect me, okay? Plop, plop. Shaolin nodded blankly. Okay, Wan'er. In less than a moment, Shaolin walked out of the company with the money, with the warmth of Shen Wan'er still on his hands. Shaolin looked back at the company's gate, his expression becoming increasingly happy. Wan'er, she really likes me. Gu Yan, I want to thank you for not staying with Shen Wan'er. This is how my goddess noticed me. And I will definitely protect Wan'er. The other side. Shen Wan'er recalled Shaolin's nervous and honest appearance in her mind. And she couldn't help but smile softly. What a lovely guy. I didn't expect something like that would happen just after arriving in Zhangha. By the way, Gu Yan's figure suddenly flashed through Shen Wan'er's mind. But he felt a little ridiculous, so he laughed and shook his head, muttering as he walked back to his desk. You must be joking. Don't think about him anymore. Are you trying to rekindle our old relationship? You must be joking. But the other person's figure at the banquet always lingers in Shen Wan'er's mind. A long time. She slowly spoke in a low voice, as if asking herself, her tone a little tired, is it time to have a relationship? Gu Yan, this is all your fault. If you didn't stop loving me, I wouldn't be so miserable. If you had shown your ambitious and excellent side earlier, perhaps the ending would have been different. Leng family. Back to the study. Snap. Ling Qingqiu locked the door carefully, holding the spoon used by Gu Yan tightly in her hand. She took a deep breath. He slowly opened his eyes, and the dark green eyes that appeared at the banquet now looked completely different. The strange runes were slowly engraved in the pupils. Then buzz. It was still that strange cult secret book. It seemed to have life, flying happily around Ling Qingqiu, or rather, dancing on the spoon she was holding. Crash. It kept turning the pages, as if it was very impatient. Ling Qingqiu was speechless when she saw this. She helplessly stroked the evil book flying in the air and said, Don't worry, why do you seem to have never eaten enough? Weren't the souls of those small fish enough for you to eat before? Crash. The response was the sound of pages turning gently. Ling Qingqiu handed the spoon to Zidian, who flipped through the pages but still did nothing. Ling Qingqiu nodded and smiled. Okay, good boy, you can eat now. Crash. The cult no longer hesitates. Countless black and purple hands emitting strange halos, as if made of smoke, stretched out from the book in an instant, grabbed the spoon directly and dragged it into the book. Then, the cult closed again, emitting a dazzling black light. It was trembling all over. In less than a moment, it regained its composure and then quietly flew back into Ling Qingqiu's hands. Ling Qiyu sensed it slightly and discovered the tiny improvement. Her heart suddenly felt hot. It's actually possible. Ling Qiyu was shocked after another test. She finally came to a definite conclusion. That is Gu Yan's body fluid. It can really help her practice. No way, no way. Happiness comes so fast like a tornado. Just a little bit of Gu Yan's body fluids could improve her stagnant perception a little bit. What if it is more? And what if it is consumed every day? Gulp. Ling Qiyu swallowed subconsciously. A slight blush appeared on her face. And she closed her eyes, and the evil spirit automatically dissipated. And he shook his head vigorously, as if trying to resist his impure thoughts. No, no, I am the Night King. The Night King is invincible. Why does he need to borrow his fluid? Ling Qiyu. Ling Qiyu, you are so confused. As long as you wait patiently for your eyes to recover, you can become the strongest in the world. Holy. Ling Qiyu was a little worried. This year had already passed the 5th year, but he showed no sign of regaining his sight. So, how can the eyes be restored? What are the conditions? However, Ling Qiyu was not discouraged, because according to the records in the cult book, he just needed to wait until his perception reached a certain level. You will know the conditions required for the restoration of your eyesight. Of course, it would be even better if you could know the recovery conditions in advance. Improving perception has always been a top priority in Ling Qiyu's mind. In fact, methods to improve perception have long been recorded in cult classics. The first is to absorb the life essence of living things. The second is that when one's spirit is severely stimulated, one's perception will increase dramatically. However, apart from the tragic murder of her entire family that year, she has not encountered anything that could have upset her. A path of cultivation based on stimulation is extremely difficult to follow. So, when Ling Qiyu knew that Gu Yan's body fluids could actually help her practice, she was so excited. Because the stronger your perception, the sooner you will know the conditions for restoring your eyesight. Once my eyesight is restored, I will have the ultimate capital for revenge and I can fully implement my plan. But at present, this can only be achieved on the basis of improving perception. Ling Qiyu sighed lightly. Could it be that he really had to rely on Gu Yan to practice? But this makes me look like a villain in a novel, who does all kinds of evil and uses people as a furnace for cultivation. Even Gu Yan would definitely not be happy about this kind of thing happening to him. Well, let's wait and see. Or maybe I should try it again. Just in case I'm wrong. Chapter 128. The effect is so outstanding. Ling family. Gu Yan, who was wearing an apron and mopping the floor, felt as if he was being stared at by a burning gaze. He turned his head and looked in that direction. But there was only the profile of Ling Qiyu who was staring at the TV. Well, Qiyu is worthy of her name although she is blind. She can still watch TV. Gu Yan sighed. Is this the heroic appearance of the future villain? Ling Qiyu glanced sideways at Gu Yan's ball of life essence. When she saw him turn his back to mop the floor, she turned her head and looked over, staring at him intently. No, Ling Qiyu, you can't do that. Ling Qiyu, don't do this. You are the Night King. Even if Gu Yan's body fluid can help you practice, so what? You must not do anything stupid. Stop staring at people like a pervert. Quick, take your eyes away. Gu Yan has already noticed you. Hasn't he? Ling Qiyu was struggling internally. On one hand, there was the temptation of increased strength, and on the other hand, there was the condemnation of his inner ethics. Especially her self-esteem prevented her from doing anything perverted. That's right, Gu Yan, don't try to seduce me. Even if your body fluids can help me practice, you can't try to seduce me successfully. Ling Qiyu wiped his mouth and continued watching TV pretending to be calm. No, I can't see it again. Damn, my mind is a mess. Gu Yan looked around in confusion. His body felt slightly cold. What was going on? Why did he feel as if something was staring at his body? Could it be that? Gu Yan swallowed and glanced at Ling Qiyu who was sitting on the sofa and seemed to be struggling with something. Could it be Qiyu? What does the other party want to do to him? If that's the case, then I won't be sleepy anymore. Gu Yan shook his head. Forget it, don't think too much. Qiyu is that Qiyu. How could she be interested in his body? For now, I should finish the daily cleaning as soon as possible, and then spend some time with Qiyu before preparing to go to John Hae Hospital. Gu Yan exchanged for the skills of a god-level butler. So you can take care of everything in the house, and if possible, you can even turn the owner of the house into a useless paramecium who doesn't want to do anything. In less than a moment, he used his innate cultivation power to quickly clean the house. And he served Ling Qiyu the dessert after the meal. Gu Yan picked up a piece with a toothpick and handed it to Ling Qiyu's mouth. Come on Qiyu, open your mouth. Ling Qiyu was still struggling internally. But after smelling the sweet and greasy apple scent, she stopped thinking. He obediently opened his mouth and took a bite. with a happy smile on his face. It's actually apple pie. Gu Yan, you really understand me. Desserts are my favorite. Gu Yan smiled knowingly as he looked at Lang Qingqiu, who had become as docile as a kitten after eating sweets. He picked up another piece and fed it to Lang Qingqiu. Eat slowly, these are all yours. Okay. Lang Qingqiu was eating the apple pie without noticing, and didn't notice that Gu Yan had slowly extended his claws from behind her. Gu Yan pretended to be indifferent and looked at Lang Qingqiu, whose attention was completely focused on the sweets. And his right hand went around the opponent's back and placed on Lang Qingqiu's shoulder. He glanced at Lang Qingqiu, who was still eating, then took a deep breath and gently put it on it. It feels good. This is Gu Yan's feeling. The pure love object is in a good mood. Points 200. The object of pure love is shy. Points 200. Pure love object. Lang Qingqiu was still immersed in the pleasure of sweets, but soon noticed that Gu Yan stretched out his hand and put it on her shoulders. She bit into her apple pie, feeling a little flustered. What a willful guy you are. Do you have to do this while I'm eating? Lang Qingqiu took a big bite of the apple pie, and a happy smile appeared on his face again. Forget it, since you cooked it so deliciously, I'll do as you please. I'll settle the bill with you after I finish eating. She relaxed her body and leaned back, allowing Gu Yan's arm to serve as a neck cushion. There was news on EV, but Gu Yan didn't care what the news was. In this warm afternoon, he just wanted to enjoy the moment. Of course, the time of enjoyment did not last too long, because Lang Qingqiu quickly ate the last piece of apple pie. She seemed a little unhappy because she hadn't eaten enough, but she seemed to have thought of something. Lang Qingqiu coughed dryly, poked the last piece of apple pie with a toothpick, and then handed it to Gu Yan with a smile on his face. Gu Yan was stunned at first, then a touch of emotion appeared on his face. Qingqiu, I didn't expect you to share your favorite dessert with me. You are so kind to me. Lang Qingqiu felt a little guilty when he heard this, and quickly said, don't say that, eat it quickly, it won't taste good if it gets cold. Good, although this apple pie tastes good even when cold. Since Qingqiu said so, I won't be polite. Thinking of this, Gu Yan took a bite, before he could even evaluate the taste or express his love for the object of his pure love. Rush. Lang Qingqiu poked up the apple pie that Gu Yan had taken a bite of and stood up. Then he hurriedly said, I'm full. Gu Yan, you clean up. I'm going back to the study to read. As he said this, he seemed to be impatient to experiment with something and ran back upstairs right in front of Gu Yan's dumbfounded expression. Gu Yan, what is this game? What about the half-bit and apple pie? Qingqiu, what do you want to do with it? In the study. Lang Qingqiu leaned against the door and looked at the apple pie in front of him with a very conflicted expression. She hadn't noticed it before, but now she realizes it. The color of Gu Yan's body fluid seemed to be very different from ordinary life essence. Why is it pink? Lang Qingqiu muttered as he looked at the vibrant pink life essence on the gap in the apple pie. But forget it, in order to prove my guess. Lang Qingqiu took a deep breath, then took a bite of the part that Gu Yan had eaten. A moment. Crackling. The thrilling feeling rushed through her whole body. The beauty of the increased power stunned her on the spot. The effect is so outstanding. Chapter 129. Another personality in Lang Qingqiu's mind. Lang Qingqiu came to a conclusion based on this experiment. That is to directly absorb Gu Yan's body fluids by himself. And the effect will be much better than letting the evil do it. Lang Qingqiu couldn't help but cover his face when he thought of this. His voice trembling, how could this be? If you want to do this, then. Her face flushed, slightly, and she covered her face with her hands as she slowly slid down to the ground against the door. How could I do such a perverted thing? This is how the Night King improves his strength. Don't do that kind of thing. At this moment, a voice exactly the same as Lang Qingqiu's but even colder and more ruthless appeared in Lang Qingqiu's mind. Oh, this is ridiculous. If you can't do it, why don't you let me? No, I can't let you out, get back here. When Lang Qingqiu heard this voice, her expression suddenly changed and she scolded loudly in her heart. It's ridiculous. Has your heart become so weak because of that man? Don't forget our long-cherished wish, Lang Qingqiu. Outsiders are outsiders after all. Revenge is what we have to do in this life. You are me. I am you. Why do I appear again? Don't you understand yet? Don't let that man influence you. Listening to the voice in my mind that is fading away. Lang Qingqiu was silent for a long time. She raised her head in a daze. Has she become weak? Dong. Qingqiu, are you okay? Are you feeling upset because you ate too much apple pie? At this moment, Gu Yan's voice came from outside the study. Lang Qingqiu hugged himself and buried his head in his arms. His voice trembling, fortunately you can go. It seemed that I had really become weak because of Gu Yan. When doing many things, I would first think about whether it would have any impact on Guyan. Xiaoling is right, I have changed. Isn't the purpose of our helping and supporting each other, all this time just for revenge? It is obvious that the only thing I can do in my life is revenge. Now that I have found a way to become stronger, I shouldn't feel shy or ashamed. I have clearly made up my mind not to let Xiaoling come out again. And whether it's Guyan or anyone else, all she needs is linger. The rest of the people are just tools she can use. Outside the study, Guyan knocked on the door gently. He listened to the barely audible sounds in the room and the waves of depression coming from his chest. He sighed. Come on, this doesn't look okay. Maybe Lang Qingqiu was thinking about something weird in his mind again. Probably about revenge. And because of his intervention now, she is in a very conflicted state. It comes a few times every month. What should I do if I have a good wife at home who likes you? Has wild thoughts and is jealous? What should you do when you hear the other party say it's okay and let you go? The universe's pure love warrior Guyan will tell you the answer. He grasped the handle and found it was locked. TSK. You like to play this tune? Guyan smiled lightly, and grabbed a strand of hair and inserted it in the study. Lang Qingqiu heard the sound of Guyan turning the handle, but it was useless. I had already locked the door because I was afraid that Guyan would break into the study and see me practicing. That's why the door was locked. Judging from this incident, I have become too weak, as Xiaoling said. That's good. I want to make my heart return to the way it was before. Just like Xiaoling. Just thought of this. Snap. The study door was pushed open, and Lang Qingqiu was pushed aside by the door. Lang Qingqiu. Guyan walked in and looked at Lang Qingqiu, who was curled up on the ground. He walked over. Then he gently punched the other person on the head. Idiot. Lang Qingqiu hadn't reacted yet. She covered the place where she was hit and looked at Guyan with dissatisfaction. Her face full of anger. Ah, it hurts. You actually hit me. And you called me an idiot. Did you know that I'm the most brilliant genius in the world? Damn Guyan, it's all because of you that I have become like this. Once upon a time, how could I, the great Night King, have such an expression and say such words? Guyan would not indulge the other party in such matters. He directly pinched the other party's cheeks and pulled them hard to the sides. Do you know the pain? Lang Qingqiu, you are so amazing that you even locked the door? You are clearly feeling miserable. Why didn't you tell me? Are you learning from Linger and trying to get rid of your rebellious phase? Oh no, should I say you have a Chuyunibiyu? Do you know that you are like a Chuyunibiyu? You don't say anything, you keep everything in your heart. And you endure everything silently. Do you think you are handsome or cool like this? You don't still think you're the villain in the novel, where you can do whatever you want and everyone else is just a stepping stone, right? No way, no way. Are you still thinking that your life is like walking on thin ice? Sister Thin Ice? Lang Qingqiu listened to Guyan's words that touched her soul. She was like being exposed and was furious. She pushed Guyan away fiercely. Guyan, you bastard. Guyan was pushed to the ground. Of course, he still didn't understand how he, with his innate strength, could be pushed away so easily by Lang Qingqiu. Before he could get up, Lang Qingqiu rushed over, sat on Guyan suddenly, and then grabbed Guyan's collar with his left hand. She clenched her right fist and raised it, wanting to beat Guyan hard. The Night King's power cannot be insulted. And you have a Chuyunibiyu. Sister Thin Ice. Guyan's words kept lingering in her mind. This obviously shouldn't be the case. He is the Night King. It's not. It's not Chuyunibiyu. It's not rebellious. As Lang Qingqiu spoke, her voice became more and more choked, and she slowly put down her hand. Tears streamed from her eyes and she covered her face. He burst into tears. Guyan felt extremely heartbroken and wanted to reach out to comfort the other person, but I immediately held back. Lang Qingqiu wiped her tears, but she couldn't stop crying, because Guyan didn't understand what she was facing. Guyan also had no idea what exactly existed in this world. Guyan also didn't know how complicated her feelings were right now. It wasn't clear that she didn't want him to enter this dangerous world at all. You know nothing. You don't understand me at all. Lang Qingqiu choked up. However, Guyan's next sentence stunned Lang Qingqiu. Of course I do. And no one in this world understands you better than me. Guyan spoke slowly. Lang Qingqiu was stunned. She looked at Guyan in disbelief. Regarding the matter of night. Did he know about it? Yeah, you like sweets, like reading in the middle of the night, and like emo. You like to keep everything in your heart and not tell me. I like to pretend to be strong and take all the responsibilities on myself. I know you tap on the table when you encounter a difficult problem while reading. I know you raise your eyebrows in joy when you eat your favorite food. I know that when you're unhappy you'll deliberately smile in a way that makes me feel cold all over. Guyan stretched out his hand, gently stroked Lang Qingqiu's cheek. and wiped away her tears. If these points are not enough to prove that I understand you, then Yu, can you tell me more about yourself? He looked at Leng Yu. If the other party was willing to say night, then this also means the person Leng Yu loves and trusts the most in this world is him. Before this, Gu Yan had thought a lot about the conditions needed for Leng Yu to regain his sight. I also remembered that in the original novel, Leng Yu's eyesight was restored by Leng Linger's heart blood. At first he thought that he needed the blood of his own race to restore his eyesight. But he thought about it carefully again. Leng Linger could be said to be Leng Yu's Achilles heel, and also her most beloved and precious person. So why not change your thinking? The conditions that can restore Leng Yu's eyesight actually require the blood of the person she loves most. Chapter 130 Kiss. Leng Yu was stunned, because what Gu Yan said was completely different from what she thought. Plop, plop. Why is my heart beating so fast? Has Gu Yan observed me so carefully on a daily basis? They were all right. The other party knows me so well. But how much do I know about Gu Yan? Leng Yu's mood was good again. I don't understand anything. I don't know what Gu Yan likes. Nor do I know what Gu Yan hates. She couldn't see Gu Yan. Nor could she observe and perceive as carefully as Gu Yan. Gu Yan wanted to know more about her. Apart from what Gu Yan said, the only thing left was night. But she would never tell anyone this, because Yi was the reason for her family's destruction. If Gu Yan knew about this, he might be involved in some danger. I can't say. But Gu Yan's life essence seemed even more dazzling at this moment. The other party was serious and wanted me to tell him more. I must also make some response. Thinking of this, Leng Yu slowly opened his eyes. Gu Yan also saw Leng Yu's eyes for the first time. Also were a pair of eyes without any light, any spirit, and any focus. At this moment, Leng Yu was soaked in tears. She pressed her hands on Gu Yan's chest and said in a hoarse voice, I clearly told you before that it would be dangerous to be with me. Why do you insist on not listening, trying to get closer to me again and again? You know that doing this will get you stuck in a quagmire and you won't be able to get out. Gu Yan's expression gradually softened when he heard this. And he said gently, if it's to be with you, then I am willing. Upon hearing this, Leng Yu couldn't help but clench Gu Yan's clothes tightly. She felt a kind of warmth in her heart that she had never felt since her clan was exterminated. Just be with me, will you? Aha. Leng Yu slowly smiled. She lowered her head, slightly lowered her body, and looked at Gu Yan with her lifeless eyes. Even if what I say next will pull you into a new world, you won't care? Even if you will encounter many dangers after I tell you, swear that you will not regret it. Is it okay with you even if it's like this? Gu Yan took a deep breath and said seriously, even if this is the case, I will never regret it. Okay, in that case. Then I'll tell you. Leng Yu had already prepared herself mentally. She was not going to tell anyone about what happened in the night because it was too dangerous. However, warriors, affairs are not something that cannot be discussed. So, she slowly opened her mouth and said in a serious tone. In fact, there is a kind of existence called warrior in this world. Their power is extraordinary. The strong ones can even overwhelm the mountains and seas. Hear this. Gu Yan quickly interrupted the other party and said, wait, Yu, I actually know this. As for warriors, Lao Gao next to me is a master. As soon as these words came out, Leng Yu, the atmosphere in the study fell silent. Bang! Leng Yu covered his face. Ugh! How embarrassing! How embarrassing! I should have thought of this long ago. The Gu family is one of the top families in Zhanghe, and Gu Yan is protected by a strong man like Lao Gao. How could he not know about warriors? But why is there no fluctuation in Gu Yan's cultivation? It was precisely because she could not sense Gu Yan's cultivation that she mistakenly thought that Gu Yan was not clear about the affairs of warriors. Looking at Leng Yu, who was covering her face with shame in front of him, Gu Yan said that she was very cute. I'm sorry, Yu. I was also worried that you didn't know about warriors. So I didn't tell you. I'm just afraid that you'll be in danger. But now I realized that I was wrong. The Ling family used to be on the same level as our Gu family. I should have thought that you actually know the world of warriors. The incident of the Leng family being wiped out has always lingered in your mind. Yu, please believe me, I will also use all my connections to find the murderer for you. When Gu Yan said this, he straightened his upper body and let Leng Yu use it in his arms. Then he stretched out his hands and hugged Leng Yu tightly, saying seriously, so as to avenge you. Words fall. Plop. Plop. Leng Yu's heart was like a bright light appearing in the darkness, and her psychological defenses were instantly broken by Gu Yan. She looked at Gu Yan in front of her with a serious tone, and the uneasy feeling in her heart seemed to gradually disappear. Gu Yan was serious. Leng Yu discovered that since his family was destroyed, He had actually lost something called a sense of security. She wanted revenge, but who knew that she was actually afraid of the enemies hiding in the dark? She witnessed the destruction of her family, and countless people drew their knives and slaughtered her family at will. The mother who was chatting with you an hour ago had her head chopped in half and rolled in front of you the next second. Blood and flesh were spilled all over you and your younger sister. You were terrified and scared. You covered your mouth and dared not make a sound. She had very little sleep because she would have nightmares when she fell asleep. Not only her old enemies appeared in the dream, but even her dead tribesmen asked her why she had not yet avenged them. Whenever she woke up in the middle of the night, she could only hug herself and cry silently. She didn't want to bring this negative emotion to linger. In this way, Ling Qiyu was under pressure that ordinary people could not imagine. So even after 5 years, Ling Qiyu was still afraid. She didn't feel safe at all. What if the enemy comes looking for him? What if he doesn't become stronger? What if Ling Linger dies during this period? What if he can't get revenge? What if the dead tribesmen can rest in peace? Ling Qiyu hasn't had even the slightest sense of security in these years. This also led to her frequent sentimentality. If you say that she has mental problems, then the Xiaolang that was born in her mind is the best proof. It was an evil personality that allowed her to abandon reality, hide in a corner and ignore everything, allowing the other person to take over her body. But now, Ling Qiyu seemed to have to admit it. At this moment, the man in front of her who was hugging her, no matter his actions or words, all of it made her feel very at ease. He even wanted her to tell him everything, including about her being the heir of night. But, no. Ling Qiyu knew she couldn't do that. It was precisely because the other party was Gu Yan. Her nominal husband. It's someone I have to admit I have a crush on. So Ling Qiyu didn't want to put the other party in a more dangerous situation. As the Night King, he was destined to be the enemy of the whole world. Even if Gu Yan wanted to stand with her, she would not agree. Because she didn't want Gu Yan to become an object of contempt. She was enough to be the only one standing in the dark. Gu Yan is the light that illuminates her heart. Even if it costs all my energy and life, I must protect Gu Yan. The two hugged each other for a long time. Ling Qiyu pushed Gu Yan away and then pressed him under her while he was stunned. Qiyu? Gu Yan was a little dazed. The next second, Ling Qiyu's lips curled up slightly, and her cheeks flushed slightly. Cricket Gu Yan, you actually made me cry. Do you know what happens when you make a girl cry? Do you know what it costs to make me cry? Ling Qiyu's words left Gu Yan unable to refute. He opened his mouth slightly, but didn't know what to say. Finally, I can only say, sorry. Apologize. Is that all you can do? If you want to apologize properly. Ling Qiyu said this, she lifted her hair and slowly lowered her head. Use your body to make up for it. Gu Yan, I do like you. But I'm sorry, you are right. I did think of using you as a stepping stone and taking advantage of you. And please forgive me, there are all kinds of dangers around me. And you can't imagine what the Ling family faced back then. I don't understand what night is. In order to prevent you from being affected unnecessarily, I will protect my family, the people I care about, and I will become stronger. Very strong. I'm sorry Gu Yan, I hope you won't blame me for choosing to hide it from you. For a while, the midday sun cast mottled shadows through the study's curtains, and the room was filled with a faint scent of sandalwood. The books on the bookshelf are placed quietly, as if guarding this tranquility. Their lips touched lightly, and the soft feeling like flower petals made them fall into a sweet fantasy. At that moment, everything in the room became still, leaving only the resonance of heartbeats and faint breathing sounds. Gu Yan widened his eyes so bold. Kiss your love interest for the first time. 100,000 points. Complete the first kiss achievement. Points 100,000. Pure love object feels sweet. Points 10. 0. The trust of the pure love partner is increased to 89 due to special reasons. The trust needs to be increased again through other means. Points 20,000. Congratulations to the host for advancing to the third stage of the universe pure love technique. Congratulations on the host's complete identity replacement. Memory restored. Chapter 131. I underestimated you. Another me. In the study. The moment their lips touched, Ling Qiyu's mind went blank. Is this a kiss, Gu Yan? Perception is gradually increasing. Is this Gu Yan's function? So good, so comfortable. I want more. The beauty of increased strength and the excitement of every cell in his body made Ling Qiyu gradually dazed. But Yan, this is all your fault. If you hadn't said so much, I wouldn't be so impulsive. If I wasn't afraid of putting you in danger, I wouldn't want to become stronger. I wouldn't do this if I didn't want to become stronger. So it's all your responsibility. You have to be responsible for me. It seems like there are many women who have relationships with you. Ling Qiyu and Gu Yan interlocked their fingers. pinning each other to the ground, and exerted more and more force. Shenwaner, get out of here. Wang Yellen, get out of here. Yan King, get out of here too. All of this is mine. Gu Yan is mine, no one can take it away from me. Ling Qiyu greedily absorbed everything, completely forgetting that her main purpose was to use Gu Yan to become stronger. At this moment, her mind was filled with happiness and she just wanted to enjoy this feeling that made her body and mind happy. As for Gu Yan, Ling Qiyu's kiss was too intense. He couldn't even check the numerous prompts from the system. And it seemed like there was something extra in his mind that he didn't have time to think about. He felt his brain was lacking oxygen and wanted to push Ling Qiyu away. But he found that he couldn't push her away. Until he passed out, all he could think about was, wait a minute, why am I so weak in front of Ling Qiyu? System, come out and explain it to me. Am I not born with this talent? The person has fainted, you can stop now. He is a good furnace. We must keep him alive before squeezing him dry. The voice in my head was cold and heartless. Ling Qiyu gradually came out of her previous state. She was still a little dazed and took deep breaths of fresh air. She looked at Gu Yan, who had fainted under her, in a panic, and quickly reached out her hand to feel his breath. Gu Yan? Seeing that the other party was still breathing and showing weak reactions, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then, Ling Qiyu gently stroked her lips, feeling the warmth, and her expression gradually became sweet. Is this the feeling of kissing? Am I happy because I kissed Gu Yan? Or am I happy because my strength has increased? Maybe both. My perception has become stronger now if I do this every day. I believe it won't be long before I know the conditions for my eyes to regain sight. And at this moment, the voice in my mind appeared again. I still didn't expect you to be so decisive, I underestimated you. You haven't changed from me. Are you so happy because you feel the power in your body has increased? When Ling Qiyu heard this, she slowly put away her smile. Naturally, she would not let the little Ling in her mind know her true feelings. So she said proudly, oh, you are just a cricket man. Your fate in this life is to become my furnace tripod. Everything I did before was just a disguise, the purpose was to capture the man's heart. Xiaoling, you still have to learn from me in this regard. I advise you not to be so complacent. This man gives me a very special feeling. He seems to have some different ideas about you. Perhaps he was one of those who coveted the night. When Ling Qiyu heard this, he denied it outright. It's impossible, Gu Yan doesn't know ye at all. How could he come to me just for ye? Don't worry. Xiaoling, it's definitely not what you think. I will take charge of the body if necessary. No, forget it. Ling Qiyu was anxious. Xiaoling was her other personality. A personality that was born when she witnessed the annihilation of her entire clan. After using night to cut his eyes, he will be able to communicate with Xiaoling. Xiaoling's personality can be described as cold and ruthless. It was something that even she was afraid of, so she kept it locked inside her body and wouldn't let it out. Because the other party can do anything for revenge. And will do anything without any bottom line. If he let the other party take over his body, Ling Qiyu really couldn't imagine what the other party would do to Gu Yan. After all, in Xiaoling's opinion, Gu Yan is a perfect top-grade cauldron, and she might squeeze him dry. In short, as the Night King, I am in charge of the overall plan. Xiaoling, just stay inside me and watch me succeed in my revenge. Ling Qiyu would not let Xiaoling come out, but she had to be careful too. Xiaoling's appearance this time also means that her original belief has been shaken because of Gu Yan's arrival. But it's okay. Ling Qiyu looked at Gu Yan and pursed her lips. Now that she has done this with Gu Yan, she has realized her feelings for him. I won't be so hesitant and indecisive when doing things in the future, which may be a good thing. Thinking of this, Ling Qiyu stood up and dragged Gu Yan towards the sofa. A ray of afternoon sunlight shone on Gu Yan's face, and he opened his eyes in confusion. What happened? Why did I faint? Oh, it seems that I was knocked unconscious by King Qiyu's fierce kiss. I never expected that King Qiyu would be so bold. However, does this prove that King Qiyu has faced up to her feelings for me? Otherwise, why would you kiss me? By the way, why do I feel that the surroundings smell nice and the back of my head feels soft? Gu Yan gradually regained consciousness. Next second. Are you awake? Ling Qiyu's calm voice reached Gu Yan's ears. He looked up and realized his situation. His head was actually resting on Ling Qiyu's thigh. The other person lowered his head and stretched out his hands to feel his facial features. Gu Yan. Is this the King Qiyu I know? Ling Qiyu seemed to have noticed Gu Yan's shock. So she withdrew her hand and ruffled her hair unnaturally. Don't get me wrong, this is just my compensation for what I did to you just now. It must be hard for you to accept a sudden kiss, right? To be honest, Ling Qiyu was mentally prepared before she said this. After all, she really didn't want to mention this embarrassing thing. Gu Yan heard this and swallowed his saliva. He said, "It's really hard to accept." Ling Qinyu's eyelashes trembled when she heard this, and her hands that were playing with her hair gradually stopped. Oh. But the next second, Gu Yan said, "So this compensation is not enough. Qinyue, please allow me to change my posture and lie down for a while." As he said that, he turned around and buried his face in Ling Qinyu's thighs. Sha. Qinyue, my Qinyue, you really do love me. Siche, I'll nibble, puff. Before Gu Yan could do anything else, Ling Qinyue, who was furious, kicked him to the ground. Then he stepped on Gu Yan's chest. Pervert. Ling Qinyue cursed in shame and anger. I'm still feeling shy about what happened just now. And my mind is full of how to make you accept my forceful kiss on you. But you actually enjoyed it? Should we say that the brain circuits of perverts are different from those of normal people? While Ling Qinyue was cursing coldly, she twisted her ankle, causing her icy jade-like feet to trample on Gu Yan's chest. Qinyue, I feel so bad. Gu Yan crawled and screamed in darkness and twisted. Snort. Ling Qinyue felt a little distressed when she heard this, so she withdrew her jade feet. Gu Yan's expression seemed a little unsatisfied. TSK, why did he take it back? This way he couldn't take advantage of the opportunity to earn points. However, Gu Yan also knew that now was not the time to do this. So he got up from the ground and looked straight at Ling Qinyue. He took a deep breath and asked seriously, "So Qinyue, why did you forcefully kiss me? Is it because you love me to death, and you can't live without me?" Hearing this, Ling Qinyue was a little flustered. On the surface, he shook his head in denial and said calmly, That's not what you said. What's that like? Qinyue, why are you shaking when you speak? I don't know. Get out of here. No, even if I have to leave, I want to know what you think of me. Qinyue. Gu Yan would not agree with the other party's ambiguous answer. Even the future plans could not compare to Ling Qinyu's response to him at this moment. Chapter 132, So I am wearing? Ling Qinyue clenched her fists, her body trembling slightly. Why did this bastard ask so many questions? Can't you see that I'm shy? However, after spending so much time together, Ling Qinyue also knew the personality of Gu Yan, this bastard. If she didn't give him an accurate answer today, she was afraid that he would stay here. Although it seems like it's not bad to stay here, I also like being with Gu Yan. But her perception increased so much at once, she needs to consolidate and digest it immediately. So I can only. Okay, I'll only say it once. Ling Qinyue took a deep breath and said, I can't see any way. I am blind and I can't see Gu Yan. She opened her eyes and looked at the other person. And the result was, buzz. Wow, Gu Yan's life essence is too dazzling? Wow, no, just close your eyes. But, I did this to Gu Yan. But my heart told me that I liked Gu Yan. You've already done it. Why are you still shy, Ling Qinyue? No, why shouldn't I be shy after I've done it? It's my first time too, okay. Damn it, it's all Gu Yan's fault. My mind is so confused. Qinyue. Gu Yan looked at Ling Qinyue who was brainstorming in front of him and felt a little bit reluctant. So, forget it, he shouldn't force Ling Qinyue to speak out. Or maybe not. Gu Yan's words fell. Next second. Bang! Ling Qinyue seemed to have made some decisions. He stretched out her hands and slapped Gu Yan's face. And pulled his head down. I raised my head slightly. The lips are pressed together. Gu Yan widened his eyes. His hands at a loss, but he quickly found the right place and hugged Ling Qinyue. He responded. After a moment, Ling Qinyue pushed Gu Yan away. Her face flushed, and her voice trembled. This is the answer. Are you satisfied, pervert? When Gu Yan heard this, he felt a sense of happiness in his heart. He licked his lips subconsciously, looked at Ling Qinyue expectantly, and said with lingering interest. I didn't feel anything just now. Can you give me another blowjob? Get over here, get out. Ling Qinyue was so angry that she pushed Gu Yan out. I'm so mad, does this bastard know how to be romantic? Okay, Qinyue, I'll come see you later. Gu Yan shouted as Ling Qinyue pushed him out of the study. Oh, who cares about you? Go do whatever you want to do. Ling Qinyue snorted and closed the study door. Is this also something I need to learn? You seem to have a good grasp of that man's heart. Yes, for revenge, that man must be controlled. Ling Qinyue gave a wicked smile, put his hands on his hips and laughed. Worth observing. The other side. Gu Yan left the Ling family and got into the luxury car that came to pick him up. Master, did you encounter anything? You look happy? Lao Gao started the car and looked at Gu Yan behind the seat with some surprise. That's right, because the power of love between Qinyue and I has reached a new level. The power of our love has become stronger. Wu Yan clenched his fist. This is it. The power of pure love. Lao Gao. I can no longer keep up with the ideas of young people, such as pure love, the power of love, bonds, friendship. In the back row, Gu Yan gradually calmed down and began to check the prompts given to him by the system. After such a pure love interaction with King Qiyu, plus the points gained from various previous things, currently, Gu Yan's pure love value has accumulated to an astonishing 530. 0. Continue reading below. Universe Pure Love Gong. 3 stages. In addition to the old version introduction above up to the second stage, there was also an additional red dot, as if it was specifically telling Gu Yan that the new content started from here. New, unlock, complete pure love body. This body is beyond the thousands of physical bodies in the world. The host will be able to breathe in and out pure love energy through the universe Pure Love Gong to cultivate the realm. Pure love key. First there is true key, then there is heaven. The pure love key is still in front. The energy of pure love is a treasure in the world. Only people with pure love can breathe it in and out to practice. Note, the temptation of the pure love body is huge, and it is extremely lethal to anyone who has a crush on the host. Please be cautious and remember this instruction. Bang! Gu Yan covered his face. This system is really not serious. Can you stop being so abstract? Can you make me feel that your system is more normal? Pure love body? Instructions for use. Do you think I am a furnace tool? How about changing the title of the novel like Ravel Through 2? It's over. I became a cauldron and was surrounded by everyone. After complaining, Gu Yan looked at the last prompt. Identity replacement completed? Memory restored? Gu Yan was stunned. And suddenly, there was a crackling sound. There was a sharp pain in his brain. In less than a moment, he opened his eyes wide and took out his mobile phone to take a selfie. The face is still the same face, the body is still the same body. The only difference is that there is something more in my mind. Because I was wearing. Gu Yan was stunned. What was going on? That's right, the body he had been wearing since he traveled through time until now was indeed the body he had in his previous life. After his memory was restored, he was extremely certain of this. No wonder when he first came here, he only remembered that he seemed to have tripped over the wires of an extension cord. And how did he occupy the position of the eldest son of the Gu family with his appearance? Hello host, because the pure love system does not have enough energy. There was a problem when replacing the identity. First of all, let me give you a conclusion host, you are wearing this. You were brought here from the previous world by this system. And why didn't you tell me at the beginning? First of all, host, you didn't ask. Secondly, I was too weak to tell you at that time. Once I told you, the rules of the world would have discovered it. But now that the energy is finally accumulated, this system can reveal some information to the host. That is, what the hell is this fucked up world doing to me? Soul traveling, time traveling. As long as your soul travels to a character in the plot, the rules of the world will turn a blind eye, because the characters are arranged and your appearance has not changed. As long as it does not affect the main plot, it doesn't matter. Yes, but soul transmigrating is not an act of pure love. You bastard. This universe's pure love system looks down upon this kind of bullheaded behavior. What can you do with your soul being in someone else's body and the person you like? Isn't this a blasphemy against pure love? Isn't this a disrespect for pure love? So I let you wear the WoW host. Okay, system. Calm down, can you continue? Gu Yan was speechless. What was going on? But after hearing what he said, he was somewhat glad that he was wearing it. Okay host, since letting you wear this has used up all my energy, I can't completely conceal your identity. But fortunately, the system has used the little energy left to add a setting for you Ling Qinyu's child marriage. This is why your memory is incomplete. This is how it is host, you won't blame me right? Hey what the hell, so why did you find me and ask me to travel through time? Gu Yan rubbed his brow. She always felt that this unruly system had no good intentions in coming to him. Host, this is something you need to ask yourself. Ask myself? What are you talking about? Gu Yan was stunned. Host, as the level of the universe pure love skill increases, the host will be one step closer to the truth he wants to know. System? But no matter how we called, the system no longer responded. Gu Yan closed the panel, his expression a little dazed. Need I ask myself? But truth? What is it? What is this world? No, whatever. Gu Yan took a deep breath, and his eyes gradually became firm. For that plan, I must strengthen my belief. Lao Gao. Go to Zhang Hai Hospital. Okay master. Chapter 133 Shaolin is here. Meeting at Zhang Hai Hospital. The sun is setting. 18:30 p.m. Zhang Hai Hospital. In a private ward, a middle-aged woman with a pale face was lying on the hospital bed. She had bottles of nutrient solution hanging all over her body, and only her faint breathing proved that she was not dead. Wang Yilan held her mother Wang Lan's hand. her eyes full of tenderness. Mom, your student has not forgotten you. It's a boy named Gu Yan. If you wake up, I believe you will be able to recognize him at a glance. Because he said he is the most mischievous one in Mom's class. Mom's medical expenses were paid by a mysterious person. I want to repay him, but I'm worried that the person who helped us pay the medical expenses was Gu Yan. Then I don't know how to repay it at all. Talking to herself to her unconscious mother every day has become Wang Yilan's daily routine. When talking about Gu Yan, Wang Yilan's eyes clearly revealed a trace of loneliness. Gu Yan was already married. It seems that the feelings I have for the other person can only be kept in my heart. But the other party has helped her so much, how can she repay him? And just at this moment, click. The door opened. Sister Yellen. You are really here. Gu Yan walked in with a smile on his face. Gu Yan? Wang Yellen stood up subconsciously, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. I originally thought that what happened in the morning made Gu Yan angry, so he would not come again. Sister Yellen, I have good news for you. Gu Yan walked to Wang Yellen and took out the diagnosis report issued by the hospital. He handed it to her and said, according to the latest examination, teacher Wang Lan's physical condition is getting better and better. With Dean Pu's personal treatment, I believe we will see the day when teacher Wang Lan wakes up. Wang Yellen looked at the examination report in her hand with excitement. The situation was much better than the previous time. This situation indicates that there is indeed a possibility that my mother will wake up. Years of hard work and persistence finally paid off. She couldn't help but cover her mouth, her eyes filled with tears. That's great, that is great. Looking at Wang Yellen, who was so excited. Although Gu Yan had a smile on his face, his eyes were extremely calm and indifferent. Calculating the time, it's about time. The hospital does provide meals. Of course, and you can buy them directly at the hospital. But you won't be able to meet someone there. The plan could not be carried out. Thinking of this, he said to Wang Yellen, Sister Yellen, have you had dinner? Today we celebrate your discharge from the hospital and teacher Wang Lan's improving health. How about we go out for dinner? Oh no. Gu Yan said this and shook his head. No, teacher Wang Lan's health is getting better. Maybe there will be signs of waking up soon. Someone must be guarding here at this time. Let's do this. Gu Yan looked at Wang Yellen and said, how about we go buy some and take it home to eat? The latter also felt that what Gu Yan said made sense. So he nodded, okay, Gu Yan. She was also deeply touched. Because Gu Yan was obviously just her mother's student. But he cares so much about them, I don't know why. Gu Yan looks more handsome today than before. And there seemed to be a smell on him that was very attractive to her. But she didn't know what it was. Arrived in front of the hospital. Wang Yellen once again witnessed how rich Gu Yan was. Sitting in the back seat, she nervously put her hands on her legs and greeted the butler driving in front. Hello. Hearing this, Lao Gao smiled as he drove. Well, hello, Miss Wang, the young master told me about this. Thank you, mother, for teaching me, young master. Wang Yellen blushed and waved her hands quickly. No, I want to thank Gu Yan for helping us all the time. She was somewhat amazed that someone of Gu Yan's status and position would actually help them in this way. Lao Gao nodded kindly and said nothing more. A luxury car was driving on the road. And a figure carrying a lot of things was walking on the side of the road and passed by the car. Gu Yan sat in the car, glanced at the fleeting figure outside the window, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise slightly. Finally here. Shaolin was walking on the side of the road, bearing a large pile of gifts of comfort. He suddenly looked at the driving luxury car with something strange in his eyes. Strange, how come I can sense several familiar aura fluctuations? But soon he stopped caring and shook his head. Don't think about it. Shaolin, the most urgent thing is to go visit Sister Yellen as soon as possible. He took a deep breath, mustered up his courage and prepared to face the other person. He wanted to say to the other person, I'm sorry. And at this moment, in the private ward, a group of uninvited guests came to Wang Lan. Tao Ying and several other members of the Peach Blossom Society came here with their faces covered. Looking at Wang Lan lying on the hospital bed like a vegetable, Tao Ying sneered, oh, it's because your stupid daughter refused to agree to join our Tao Hua club. So we have no choice but to do this. If your daughter had been obedient, we wouldn't have had to resort to this. After that, she looked at the people around her and said slowly, just follow my instructions. Yes. Rush. In an instant, everyone scattered. Tao Ying stared at Wang Lan, recalling the figures of Wang Yellen and Gu Yan leaving just now. Aha, Wang Yellen, Gu Yan, I must let you know what the consequences will be if you anger the Peach Blossom Club. In the inpatient department. Hello, I'm here to see a patient named Wang Yellen. Shaolin looked at the nurse at the front desk with a hint of surprise in his eyes. What a beautiful woman. The master is right, city women are indeed beautiful. The nurse frowned subconsciously when she saw this look. But when she heard the name Wang Yellen, she had to patiently explain. Miss Wang has been discharged from the hospital. What? Discharged from hospital? Xiaolin's mind suddenly went blank. And everything he was holding fell to the ground. If you had come earlier you would have met him. Seeing this, the nurse continued, but it doesn't matter. They will be back soon. Miss Wang's mother is also in the hospital. You can wait if you want to visit. Hearing this, Xiaolin felt even more guilty. I wasted too much time on the road. If I had arrived earlier, maybe I could have met Wang Yilan. But Sister Yelin's mother? Oh, yes, she remembered that Wang Yelin's mother was indeed in the hospital. If that was the case, well, can I go visit Sister Yelin's mother? I'll wait for them over there. Xiaolin's eyes showed anticipation again. Hearing this, the nurse frowned and looked at Xiaolin suspiciously. What is your relationship with Miss Wang? Well, I am considered to be Sister Yelin's younger brother. She has taken great care of me, Xiaolin explained. Younger brother? A nurse glanced at Xiaolin, her eyes full of suspicion. She pointed at the public chair in the inpatient department and said, I'm sorry, Miss Wang didn't say she had a brother. Sir, you should wait there for a while. Are you kidding? Miss Wang's mother was staying in a private ward in the inpatient department, which was a ward specially prepared for people with special identities. How could I possibly let in someone who didn't look like a good person? Xiaolin was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that his identity would be doubted. But then again, I have never visited Sister Yelin. Helplessly, he had to pick up his things and sit on the public seat, waiting for Wang Yilin to come back. Time passed slowly, and Xiaolin didn't have to wait long. Half an hour later, inpatient department. Guyan and Wang Yilin came in, talking and laughing, carrying two packed lunchboxes. Guyan, you are so funny. I didn't know you could do such a thing back then. It's because you are so naughty that you got spanked by my mother. Wang Yilin covered her mouth and chuckled, and it seemed that there was only Guyan in her eyes. I can't help it, Sister Yilin. I just didn't want to study when I was a kid. Guyan shrugged and smiled helplessly. And the moment the two of them stepped in, Wang Yilin seemed to have seen someone. Her expression suddenly changed and she stopped where she was. She looked at the man sitting on the public seat in disbelief and exclaimed, Chao Lin? Chapter 134. The three people put aside their past grudges and took action. Xiaolin had also seen Guyan and Wang Yilin a long time ago. So he stood up, lowered his head awkwardly and apologized. Sorry, Sister Yilin. He pointed to something on the ground and said, I've been feeling bad about it, so I came to visit you. Please, Sister Yilin, forgive me. I really know I was wrong. Xiaolin raised his head, his eyes full of sincerity and innocence. Wang Yilin looked at this scene, and a trace of pity appeared in her eyes. Xiaolin once helped her drive away the hooligans who were harassing her. So he was not a bad person at heart. Maybe there was just a little misunderstanding between me and Guyan. But I certainly couldn't just rely on my own guesses. The most important thing is to seek the opinions of the parties involved. So she looked at Guyan. The latter felt a little helpless. She was beginning to feel sorry for him. Should we say that she was worthy of being the second female lead who sacrificed herself for Xiaolin in the original novel? As expected of you, you have the ability to restore the plot. Thinking of this, Guyan gave Wang Yilin a reassuring smile. Then he walked over and stretched out his hand towards Xiaolin. Hello, I didn't expect you to come to visit Sister Yilin. Xiaolin was stunned when he heard this. He reached out and held Guyan's hand, and asked in a low voice, Didn't you send me a message asking me to come and visit Sister Yilin? After hearing this, Guyan was slightly stunned and asked in disbelief. What? I don't even have your contact information. How can I let you come over? He took his hand back and asked in a low voice, Let me know what's going on in the ward later. Xiaolin was confused now. If the message on his phone asking him to come and visit Wang Yilin was not sent by Guyan, who sent it, and what was the purpose? But no matter what, even if there was no text message, he would still come to visit Sister Yilin. Okay, thank you Guyan. Xiaolin thanked Guyan from the bottom of his heart for not holding a grudge against him. He had treated him so badly, but he still cared about him so much. The other party said that they would talk about it after going to the ward. Doesn't this mean that they agreed to let him go to visit Wang Yilin's mother? Hearing this, Guyan waved his hand, then looked at Wang Yilin and smiled. Sister Yilin, I'm fine. Brother Xiaolin may have had some misunderstandings with me before, but the misunderstanding has been resolved. We can also sit down and have a good chat. Seeing this, Wang Yilin nodded and said, Okay, I'll listen to your words. Xiaolin, who was standing by, felt very uncomfortable when he saw Wang Yilin like this. Only now did I realize that Sister Yilin's expression and eyes used to be extremely tired. But now, the light in her eyes is getting brighter and brighter. Is it because of Guyan? Guyan, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have misunderstood you. You are a good person. Enter the ward. It was also the first time that Xiaolin saw Wang Yilin's mother. He suddenly understood how hard Wang Yilin's life had been over the years. But he originally Xiaolin took a deep breath and decided to mend his ways and apologize to Wang Yulin properly. So he walked up to Wang Yelin, bent down, and apologized again sincerely. I'm sorry, Sister Yelin, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Wang Yelin is not a heartless person, in fact, she has a softer personality. Seeing that Xiaolin had apologized like this, and Guyan also had no objection. So she helped him up and comforted him. It's okay. Xiaolin, it's good that you know you were wrong, but you can act so impulsively in the future. Okay? Xiaolin nodded, very touched. Okay, Sister Yelin. At this time, Guyan winked at Xiaolin. Okay. Brother Xiaolin, have you eaten yet? If not, I'll go with you to buy a box lunch. Oh okay, thank you Guyan. Xiaolin nodded, understanding that the other party wanted to confirm the text message with him. Sister Yelin, please wait here for a moment, we will be back soon. Guyan smiled, then left with Xiaolin arm in arm. See this scene. Wang Yelin breathed a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that the two would fight again. But this is not bad either, the misunderstanding has been resolved, and my mother's health is getting better and better. I used to feel that life had no hope or expectation. But now, Wang Yelin held her mother's hand, her eyes full of hope for a new life. Thank you Guyan. On the way to buy lunchboxes, Guyan frowned as he looked at the phone that Xiaolin handed to him. He checked the text message for a long time, shook his head, handed the phone back to Xiaolin, and said, "This is not from me." Guyan said solemnly, "Even if it's me, there's no way I could get your contact information right after you bought the phone. If there is any, it could only be that I have been monitoring your movements 24 hours a day. And then I found out that you changed your phone." At this point, Guyan looked at Xiaolin strangely. Brother Xiaolin, you don't think I sent someone to monitor you 24 hours a day, do you? As soon as these words came out, Xiaolin hurriedly shook his head, fearing that Guyan would misunderstand him. No, Guyan, don't misunderstand me, you are my friend, how could I doubt you? Rather, when I first thought that this text message was sent by you, I was actually very grateful to you in my heart. Because you reminded me. I want to apologize to Sister Yelin. Forget it, let's not talk about this matter. Although I don't know who this mysterious person is, at least his original intention is good. Xiaolin didn't want to care about who sent him the text message. Since their misunderstanding was resolved anyway, he became friends with Guyan again. And now, his inner demons would finally be resolved. Aha, that's true. There was an inexplicable look in Guyan's eyes. Time passes slowly. The three people in the ward were chatting and laughing about trivial matters, big and small, and they seemed to be having a great time. It's 9 o'clock in the evening. Guyan looked at the time, stood up and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Sister Yelin. It's getting late, and I should leave. Wang Yelin stood up immediately upon hearing this and said, I'll take you there. But halfway through her words, she realized that her mother was also here. So Xiaolin volunteered and said, It's okay, Sister Yelin, I'll be there to protect Teacher Wang. I'm sure he'll be fine. Wang Yelin was a little hesitant. But after thinking it over again and again, she and others had put aside their past grudges and should trust him. Moreover, Xiaolin had good intentions even without his protection. His mother would be safe in the hospital. Thinking of this, Wang Yelin nodded. Okay, thank you Xiaolin. After saying this, Xiaolin touched his nose embarrassedly. I should do it. I will definitely protect your mother. In front of the hospital, Guyan left his contact information to Wang Yelin and said, Sister Yelin, I'm leaving now, call me if you have anything. Don't be afraid to bother me as long as it's something I can do. Just ask. Wang Yelin nodded when she heard this, and was moved. Well, thank you Guyan. Good. When Guyan was about to roll up the car window, Wang Yelin suddenly shouted again, that. Guyan had a smile on his face, and a hint of indifference flashed across his eyes. But he quickly concealed it and looked at the other person. What's wrong? Wang Yelin was originally prepared to blurt out what was in her mind. But when looking at Guyan, looking at his bright and beautiful clothes and the special car that picked him up, the other party has helped her so much, not to mention they are married. Don't think too much about yourself. My mother's condition is getting better and better. And I should realize that it is impossible for her and Guyan to be together. Furthermore, if she really confessed her feelings to Guyan, she was afraid that Guyan would look down on her, right? After all, Guyan said that the other party hated frivolous women. I really envy the person loved by Guyan. All of a sudden, Wang Yelin's courage disappeared. She took a deep breath and looked at Guyan with a smile. Be careful on the road and thank you, Guyan. Well, life goes on. After that, I will accompany my mother well and try my best to live in this world. Guyan is just a passerby in my life. The luxury car drove away. And Lao Gao, who was driving the car, said with a smile, Master, Miss Wang seems to like you. Hearing this, Guyan replied calmly, really? After casually responding, Guyan looked at Meizu, who had sat in the back row at some point. It was obvious that the other party was called over by Guyan to do orders. Follow the plan from now on and don't make the same stupid mistakes as before. Don't forget your brother. Guyan handed the headset to the other party. And Meizu took it and put it on. Hearing Guyan's sarcasm also made her feel very ashamed. I didn't expect that you really have nothing to do with that Wang Yulan. TSK, she's really pitiful for falling in love with you. Meizu mocked the ruthlessness of the man in front of her. But Guyan didn't care at all, and his eyes seemed to be thinking about something. What to eat for dinner in King Qiu? TSK, pretending to be profound. You must be up to something bad again. Meizu felt bored and stopped talking. She made up her mind as she looked out the car window at her reflection of her face. The third thing, brother, just wait, sister will find you soon. Chapter 135. Action begins. Meizu takes action. Zhangye hospital. Inside the monitoring room, Tao Ying looked at Shaolin with gloomy eyes as he stood by Wang Yulan's mother in the picture. They had originally planned to kill Wang Lan when Wang Yulan came back, creating the illusion that her mother was killed by a demonic warrior. But now, looking at Shaolin in the picture, Tao Ying felt extremely annoyed. The aura emanating from this person was obviously not on the same level as the people on their side. The other person was like her own grandmother, making it impossible for her to see through his depth. It is obvious that this man named Shaolin is a master. Why did all the strong men gather around Wang Yulan? Should we say he is worthy of being the man of destiny? He always attracts so many geniuses. Tao Ying's eyes were full of jealousy. If it weren't for the fact that Wang Yulan possessed the aura of the goddess of flowers, she wouldn't have gone to such great lengths to get her to join the Peach Blossom Club. Miss, what should we do now? Several people who were waiting for the order asked in a deep voice. Originally they were supposed to be hiding in the ward. But when they found out that Shaolin was actually a master, they had no choice but to move their position to the monitoring room. Using this kind of secular investigative method is a great shame and humiliation for these warriors. TSK, could it be that this operation can only be carried out next time? No, wait a minute. Tao Ying was talking when suddenly her expression changed. In the picture, an uninvited guest suddenly appeared in Wang Yulan's mother's ward. As for Shaolin, he was still protecting Wang Yulan's mother. In his opinion, this was a good opportunity for him to change Wang Yulan's opinion of him. I have to perform well. But suddenly, when did the heir of the Dragon King Palace become a guard dog? A familiar dark quarry appeared along with an abrupt sound. Shaolin's expression suddenly changed, and he looked towards the corner. Who is it? Wow! Strands of black air streaked across the sky and gathered in the quarters in just a moment. And a figure dressed in strange black clothes and wearing a full covering strange mask appeared. This person is surrounded by black energy. It is Meizu. The time now is after 9 p.m., which is already her home court. This is also the reason why Guyan asked her to come over. And what needs to be done is also very simple. Snap. Meizu opened her hand, revealing half of a dragon-shaped jade pendant. That's it. Dragon King Jade, it's you. When Shaolin saw this scene, the memories of the past suddenly flooded into his mind, and he lost his mind in an instant. Boom! The powerful gold and dragon power radiated from his body, and he stomped his legs and rushed directly towards Meizu. Give me back the Dragon King Jade. Originally, he was still desperately searching for the whereabouts of Dragon King Jade. A Dragon King Jade, and that group of mysterious people seemed to have evaporated from the face of the earth. And he couldn't find them no matter how hard he looked. But he didn't expect that the other party would appear in front of him again. No matter what he said, he had to take it back. If you can grab it, just give it a try. Meizu sneered as the words fell. The NGBA. The lights are turned off, and the power supply to the private wards on the top floor of the inpatient department is all turned off. This place fell into darkness again. Meizu also followed Guyan's script instructions and sank into the darkness. Boom! Shaolin punched into the air and his eyes turned red. After sensing the other party's breath, Shaolin subconsciously wanted to chase after him. And he suddenly stopped and looked at Wang Yulan's mother. Wang Lan. He hesitated. But within half a second, he shook his head. It's okay, Sister Yulan's mother is just an ordinary person. This masked man is obviously here to find him, so leaving by myself is the only way to protect Sister Yulan's mother. Thinking of this, Shaolin quickened his pace and ran quickly towards the breath that Meizu deliberately left behind. At the Taohua Club, Tao Ying looked at the screen, which suddenly went black, her expression changing from one to another. This is so weird. How could this happen? Who is that mysterious man? Why did you suddenly look for that person named Shaolin? Why did they only cut off the power supply to the private ward floor? It was as if they did it on purpose, since only Wang Yulan's mother was on that floor. And last they heard, Dragon King Palace? Dragon King Jade? How did this come about? Shaolin's identity turned out to be the heir of the Dragon King Palace. Is it necessary for them to get involved in this matter? And Tao Ying is unwilling to accept the fact that the owner of the flower god Zora is right in front of them. It all depends on this chance whether their Tao Hua club can achieve greater glory. So, Tao Ying's eyes gradually became firm, and the world's situation was turbulent. According to his grandmother, when night appears again, it will definitely endanger the world. Although their Peach Blossom Society is not a decent sect, but he doesn't care whether you are a good person or a bad person. That group of beings are endangering the world indiscriminately. If the Peach Blossom Society wants to survive this wave, it must restore its previous strength once again. She had already thought about it, and the appearance of the mysterious masked man would be a good opportunity for her to take the blame. Her original idea was to calculate the time and have the people from Tao Hua Society kill her mother in front of Wang Yilan. Wang Yilan believed that her mother was killed by a demon warrior. But now, with the appearance of the masked man and Shaolin, Tao Ying obviously doesn't have that much time to wait for Wang Yilan to appear. However, since Shaolin has a special relationship with Wang Yilan, and a mysterious masked man happens to appear, so Tao Ying felt that she only needed to kill Wang Yilan's mother now. Then, if Shaolin explains the reason, Wang Yilan will mistakenly believe that her mother was most likely killed by the accomplices of the mysterious masked man. This also indirectly made Wang Yilan hate the evil warrior who killed her mother. When the time comes, she will step in and persuade Wang Yilan to join the Peach Blossom Club. Simply perfect. I really have to thank you, masked man. Thinking of this, Tao Ying spoke up and said, the plan continues. Yes. As for Wang Yilan, she was walking back to the inpatient department with a peaceful smile on her face. As he walked, he recalled what he would do after his mother woke up. Well, I must take her out for a trip and see all the things she hasn't seen in such a long time. I will definitely tell my mother about Gu Yan's situation when the time comes. I believe my mother will be very touched that her student helped her so much. Oh, I don't want to think about it anymore. Let's go back quickly. I feel embarrassed to let Shaolin stay there all the time. Okay? Suddenly, Wang Yilan stopped. She raised her head and looked at the dark top floor of the inpatient department, feeling a surge of uneasiness in her heart. What's going on? Why is there a power outage on the top floor of the inpatient unit? Wang Yilan felt uneasy and walked quickly forward because her mother lived there. She quickly ran to the hall to ask the nurse, but the nurse had not received any reminder that the power was out in the inpatient department. How about this, Miss Wang? I'll go with you to the private floor to take a look. The nurse was a kind-hearted person and knew about the close relationship between Wang Yilan and the eldest son of their Gu family. So he volunteered. Well, thank you. Wang Yilan nodded anxiously, and the feeling of uneasiness in her heart became stronger. Mom, please don't be in trouble. No. It should be fine. It's probably just a power outage. Besides, Shaolin is still here. And he said he would protect Mom. Wang Yilan prayed in her heart that this was just a power outage. Chapter 136. Shaolin killed Wang Yilan's mother, and Wang Yilan collapsed. Due to the deliberate power outage, the top floor of the hospital's inpatient department was filled with darkness. Only a faint moonlight penetrated through the window and projected onto the empty corridor. Rush. A ghostly figure stepped lightly on the ground and said jokingly, Shaolin, your Dragon King Jade is mine. I have to say that the effect of this jade pendant is really good. Her voice echoed in the empty corridor. Shaolin, who was also chasing from behind, couldn't help but feel angry and shouted, asshole, don't even think about running away. Shaolin tensed his legs and suddenly jumped up, his fists turning into thunderous force and slamming down towards Meizu. The fist released an arc of electricity, which was intended to electrocute Meizu to pieces. Ah, what a shame, it's night time now. While Meizu was provoking the opponent, she dodged Shaolin's attacks like a nimble ghost, as if she was at ease. Boom! The two fists hit the ground with a terrifying sound. One can imagine what the consequences would be if they hit Meizu. Don't run. Shaolin gritted his teeth and tried his best to catch up again. But unfortunately, Meizu had learned from her previous lesson in the public security department, and she had long known the gap in strength between herself and Shaolin. So I won't think about confronting it anymore. Sometimes she flickered in the darkness, and sometimes she suddenly disappeared, making Shaolin breathless. Asshole. The loss of the jade pendant has always been a thorn in his heart. Now that it has reappeared, he is determined to get it back. Rub. In a hurry? Meizu taunted, while throwing out a black sharp needle condensed from her true energy. Bang. A constant harassment disturbed Shaolin's mentality. While blocking, Shaolin shouted, Dragon scales protect your body. The words fell. A layer of faint golden light burst out from Shaolin's body, protecting his body like dragon scales. This is because he used the power of his own dragon energy to strengthen his body to block Meizu's annoying attacks. He discovered that although Meizu only had the cultivation of a congenital warrior, his strength in the Dark Night had barely reached the level of an ordinary Grand Master. It was obvious that the opponent should not be able to break his master's body protection during the day. What a damn terrain advantage. It seemed as if the other party specifically chose to take action at night. Shaolin couldn't think so much, because at the moment the only thing on his mind was getting the jade pendant back. At the same time, Beach Blossom Club is here. They also took action and looked at the ward where Wang Yilan's mother was staying. Tao Ying had no time to care about anything else because Shaolin and the masked man had already left to another place. So she had to end the battle quickly. So he shouted in a low voice, "Everyone, follow me in and kill Wang Lan." Yes. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone from the Tao Hua Club rushed into the ward. Click. They soon discovered that in addition to the people from their Peach Blossom party, there was another person in the ward who had been waiting here for a long time. When she saw this person, Tao Ying's heart skipped a beat. This person, why is he here? Clap, clap, clap. Guyan sat on the family chair and clapped his hands elegantly. He glanced at the people who had come and counted the number of people. 123 including Miss Tao. There are 5 of you in total, right? Tao Ying's face suddenly changed, and she subconsciously tensed her whole body. Looking at the man sitting on the chair in front of her, Tao Ying felt a strange feeling again. Why is Guyan here? She clearly watched him leave. Why are you here? Tao Ying clenched her fists, trying to fight the uneasy feeling in her heart. Why am I here? Guyan stood up and repeated Tao Ying's words again, with a dangerous curve at the corner of his mouth. There was a trace of emotionless coldness in his eyes, and he opened his thin lips slightly and said, "Shouldn't I ask this to you, the granddaughter of the Tao Hua Society's leader, Miss Tao Yin?" Step. Guyan walked slowly towards the other party. In this quiet night, every step he took seemed to step on the hearts of Tao Hua and others. Tao Ying's face turned extremely ugly. Guyan actually knew her identity? His plan was ruined given the friendship between Guyan and Wang Yilan. There was no way he could kill the other's mother. She glanced at her subordinates behind her and found that her brother did not come this time. These people's cultivation is not as good as hers. At this moment, they have been overwhelmed by Guyan, a strong man with a strange aura, and their faces have turned pale. They have no desire to fight against him at all. Helplessly, she looked at Guyan with an ugly expression, trying to keep herself in a low profile. "And you let us go? We at Tao Hua Club are willing to give up Wang Yilan. Now that things have come to this, it is better to stabilize the other party first. Just thinking about it. Give up? Why?" Guyan walked in front of Tao Ying, and the smile on his face made Tao Ying feel scared. He moved his right hand slightly. Galululu. Black sticky water began to emerge from his body, and under Tao Ying's horrified face, it instantly turned into a pure Black Knight outfit on Guyan's body. Black Knight. Price 3W pure love value. Effect. The host's face cannot be seen, the host's identity cannot be known, and it carries the malicious aura of the night. Those with weak hearts will be overwhelmed by the malice. At this moment, Guyan seemed to have become the king of the night. "Let's get those scumbags out first, Lao Gao." As Guyan's voice fell. "Ugh. Miss. Help." Several screams came from behind Tao Ying, and her pupils suddenly contracted. Just when I was about to speak out, the fingertips of a hand touched Tao Ying's neck, and at the same time a deep voice sounded. "Don't move." Flick. When? Tao Ying's heart seemed to be held together by a big hand. There was a slight smell of blood in the ward, which meant that all the men she brought with her were killed. Who is behind me? Such a strong aura. Another Grand Master? Tao Ying didn't dare to move at this moment. She suppressed her fear and looked towards Guyan. Just then, a beam of moonlight fell and shone on Guyan at this moment. A moment. Tao Ying's heart seemed to stop, and endless fear surged in her heart. Because Guyan at this moment seems to be the same as he was 5 years ago. It seemed that they were gradually overlapping, and she couldn't see his face clearly. Nor could she sense his true aura. Only the maliciousness that was blowing in her face could make her understand that the person in front of her was very dangerous. Combined with what her grandmother said to her, she seemed to have thought of something. Sure enough, the next second Guyan's eyes became calm and he spoke slowly. "I haven't introduced myself properly during the day. Now, please allow me to introduce myself solemnly." Guyan stretched out his right hand, which was covered by the Black Knight and had a black texture. Rub. His 5 fingers slowly turned into black claws. He pressed them on Tao Ying's terrified face and said with a smile, "I am the king of the night that you have been thinking about day and night." Puff. 5 sharp claws pierced into Tao Ying's face. GH. In an instant, countless claws poured into Tao Ying's body. The hostess detected his intention to control the innate warrior. The luck value of the controlled object is detected to be 2000. And control requires 2 million pure love points. Detected that the magic class kill control was activated. Offset 1.7 million pure love points. Finally consumed 300. 0 pure love points. The host currently has 200. 0 pure love points. Tao Ying felt the changes in her body. And tears of regret flowed from her eyes as she was horrified. No Dante. But all this was in vain. After a few breaths, Guyan retracted his claws. He looked calmly at the woman in front of him with empty eyes, waiting quietly for the control to take effect. The next second, Tao Ying gradually regained her consciousness when she looked at Guyan. A look of respect appeared in her eyes. Master. Guyan nodded slightly, and then ordered, use your Peach Blossom Society skills. Meizu was already having a hard time escaping, even though she was very close to the Grandmaster in the dark, and could even deal with some weaker Grandmasters with ease. But after all, she is only close to it, she is not a true master. She glanced at Shaolin, who was gradually approaching from behind, and felt a little anxious. Hurry up, Guyan, if you don't do well anymore, I may not be able to come back here. Fortunately, Guyan's next instruction came into her headset. Meizu breathed a sigh of relief and started the last step in the script. She took out the Dragon King Jade again and laughed at Shaolin. Idiot, this is the jade pendant you've been dreaming of. But you still can't get it after all this time. It seems that this is all you think of the Dragon King Jade. Well, I've had enough fun. Goodbye, Shaolin. After Meizu finished speaking, she did not choose to leave through the window, but run towards Wang Lan's ward. Stop right there. Shaolin, who was teased and ridiculed, immediately lost his judgment. With golden light emanating from his body, he rushed towards Meizu. Even though the other party did not escape out of the window but ran into a ward, he did not notice anything unusual. Bang! Shaolin kicked open the door of the ward, and a sweet scent of cherry blossoms rushed into his nose. Before Shaolin could react, and I saw a figure standing in the room. The other person was standing in the dark, holding the Dragon King Jade in his hand. He seemed to be admiring it in the moonlight. Give it to me. Go to hell. Shaolin roared, clenched his right fist, and the shadow of a golden dragon head surrounded his fist. Dragon King Fist. Although I don't know why the other party didn't run away but stopped. But Shaolin would not miss the opportunity here. Warden punched the figure with his fist. Crash. The overwhelming force created a long track behind Shaolin. The dragon fist filled with Shaolin's murderous intent suddenly swung towards the figure. Puff. Boom. Crash. The enormous force directly penetrated the figure's body, and the residual force directly shattered the window glass. Feeling that the other person is already dead and cannot die anymore, Shaolin smiled sarcastically as if he had won. You are alive. And just at this moment, snap, 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 all the lights turned on. The appearance of that figure was revealed. It was a middle-aged woman wearing a hospital gown. The laughter stopped abruptly, and Shaolin's expression froze on his face. There was also a hint of surprise in his eyes. His shoulders began to shake. Plop, plop. Shaolin's pupils shrank greatly, and at this moment, it seemed as if his breathing had stopped. His heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was about to jump out of his chest. No, impossible. Shaolin's eyes were filled with fear and his voice was trembling. I just saw a person whose body was blasted through by me. Was someone's murdered. A scream came from the door of the ward. Shaolin turned his head with a look of panic, but in the end, he still saw the person he least wanted to see at this time. His voice was trembling, and he pulled his hand out from the body that was pierced by the dragon fist in a panic and explained. Yelin's sister, no, it's not like that. The nurse screamed and fainted. Wang Yelin stood at the door, her eyes dull at this moment. She could no longer hear any sound. The scene before my eyes is only. His own mother was pierced through the chest by Shaolin. What a big mouth, it must be painful. Mom, I tried so hard to wake you up. Obviously, Guyan has helped us so much. Obviously everything is moving in a good direction. I clearly agreed to take you on a trip after you wake up. I've already thought of a lot of things. But why? Thump. Wang Yelin slowly slid to the ground. She stared blankly at her mother's body, which had fallen to the ground because Shaolin pulled his hand away. That's Mom's body. As fell to the ground like this. This is too much, this is too much. There was a pungent smell of blood in her nose. And everything in front of her was reminding Wang Yilin. Mom is dead. She was. Wang Yilin slowly shifted her gaze to Shaolin. It was a crazy look filled with malice, murderous intent, and all kinds of negative emotions. Shaolin. Wang Yilin's voice was as vicious as a demon from hell. She screamed at Shaolin with all her might, tears streaming down her face. I will definitely kill you. I will definitely kill you. I will definitely kill you. Definitely. Shaolin's face turned pale. He listened to Wang Yilan scream and could only shake his head repeatedly. It's not me, it's not me, it's not me. He retreated and ran towards the window. It's not me, it's not me, it's really not me. Shaolin also had a mental breakdown. He never thought that the person was Wang Yilan's mother. Why is this happening? Shaolin cried out in pain. On the other side, inside a luxury car parked in the hospital's underground garage, Gu Yan picked up the Dragon King jade that Mei Zhu returned, and listened to the other parties report. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and there was no emotion in his eyes. Really? That idiot really got fooled. The secret technique of the Peach Blossom Society is indeed powerful. Then it's time to move on to the next plan. Mei Zhu was recovering from the damage she had just suffered, and she glanced at Gu Yan beside her. A slight chill rose in my heart. Scary guy, what on earth does this guy want to do? When I find my brother, I must make sure my master is careful. This Gu Yan. Very dangerous. Chapter 137 Acting, Different Standpoints. That night, Gu Yan did not deliberately intercept the message. So the murder case at Zhangye Hospital immediately made the local news. Zhangye Hospital. Dozens of police cars were parked inside the hospital. Chen Yingyan led a team to the scene to check. She frowned as she looked at the body at her feet, which was being examined by a forensic doctor. Such a neat hole. The inner wall of the chest cavity is also covered with burn marks. It was as if someone had penetrated the other person's body with a hot object in an instant. Chen Yingyan walked to the window again and looked at the situation. With her experience, she immediately concluded that the murderer had escaped through the window. And very panicked, but she looked down and her face darkened. There are 5 floors in the inpatient department, and they are currently on the 5th private floor. If an ordinary person jumped out from here, he would either die or be disabled. Considering the injuries of the deceased, Chen Yingyan actually already had a rough idea in his mind. It seems it's another murder case involving a warrior. Thinking of this, she shouted to the team members, "Where are the relatives of the deceased?" Sister Chen is in the next ward. She is accompanied by a nurse from the hospital, and they all seem to be frightened. Chen Yingyan nodded. And while waiting for the forensic examination, she walked towards the next ward. Maybe you can get some useful information. Moreover, I don't know if it's fate or something else, but the victim this time is actually the same Wang Yilan. Could this incident be related to Shaolin again? Come next door. Chen Yingyan also met the family of the deceased. The other party looked dumb when he heard the noise of Chen Yingyan coming. She had a slight reaction. She raised her head, looked at Chen Yingyan, and said in a hoarse voice, "Have you caught the murderer?" Chen Yingyan was shocked. The other party's eyes were the craziest ones she had ever seen in her career. That murderous look in his eyes under the forced calm state. I guess the other person really wants to kill the murderer at this moment. Pity. I'm sorry, Ms. Wang, the murderer has not been caught yet. But don't worry, we won't let any fugitive criminal go. Now I hope that the two of you can provide some useful clues. As Chen Yingyan spoke, he looked at the hospital nurse who was pale and had not yet recovered. Wang Yilan heard this and stared at Chen Yingyan, her tone full of resentment. Okay, I tell you, I saw it clearly. That murderer. The Shaolin. Chen Yingyan's expression changed. It was Shaolin again. She winked at her team members, who nodded to indicate they were ready. Then Chen Yingyan asked, "Can you explain the details to us?" Wang Yilan took a deep breath, but couldn't calm herself down. It's like this. On Gu Yan's side, Mei Zhu had already left. He closed his eyes and tapped the car seat lightly with his fingers, as if he was waiting for something. Next second, ding-ling-ling. The phone rings. A smile appeared in Gu Yan's eyes. Here it comes. After waiting for a while, he picked up the phone and answered it, his tone showing a hint of confusion and surprise. "Sister Yingyan? Why are you calling me at this time?" Chen Yingyan stood outside the ward. She lowered her voice and said, "Gu Yan, there is no time to explain so much. Wang Yilan's mother is dead. Come to Zhangye Hospital quickly." Gu Yan's tone suddenly became very flustered when he heard this. "What? Teacher Wang Lan is dead? Wait a minute, I'll be right over." Click, the phone was hung up. Lao Gao watched everything silently in front. To be honest, he didn't understand what the young master wanted to do. And he didn't even know when the young master became the king of the night. And the fact that the young master would reveal his true identity in front of him without reservation. Doesn't this just show that the young master trusts him? Aha, well, no matter what your identity is or what you want to do, I will always follow you throughout my life. Half an hour later. It is now 23:11 late in the night. The sound of hurried running was heard in the corridor on the top floor of the inpatient department of Zhangye Hospital. Swipe. The door of the ward was pushed open. Gu Yan stood at the door with a panicked look on his face. He looked inside as if he was looking for something. It was not until he saw the woman sitting on the hospital bed with a numb expression that Gu Yan revealed a hint of disbelief. His voice was trembling as he walked towards her step by step. His expression forced into a stiff smile. "You Sister Yellen. What on earth is going on?" Chen Yingyan was accompanying Wang Yellen. Seeing Gu Yan's collapsed look, she closed her eyes with reluctance. When Wang Yellen heard Gu Yan's voice, she slowly raised her head. She was already numb because of her mother's death. And no matter how the police tried to comfort her, she remained numb and calm. Now when she saw Gu Yan also collapse because of his mother's death, she finally couldn't bear it anymore. Wang Yellen's tears kept flowing out of her eyes and she couldn't stop them no matter how hard she tried to wipe them. She choked up and said, "Gu Yan, my mother is dead? Killed by Shaolin. I saw it with my own eyes. Gu Yan, what should I do? What do you think I should do?" When Gu Yan heard this, he felt as if he had received an enormous blow. His steps staggered and his expression turned extremely pale. A young police officer beside him quickly went up to support Gu Yan. Comrade, cheer up. No, Teacher Wang Lan will not die. How could Teacher Wang Lan die? Everything was going in a good direction. Why did this happen? Didn't Shaolin just make peace with us? Why would he do such a thing?" Gu Yan's tone became very excited, and a line of tears fell from his eyes. When Wang Yellen heard this, her eyes were filled with sadness and hatred. "He is a liar. His purpose is to take revenge on us. Everything is fake. The apology is fake. It's all my fault. I hurt my mother." As Wang Yellen spoke, she covered her face and started crying. Chen Yingyan comforted Wang Yellen and said to Gu Yan at the same time, "Gu Yan, please go out and wait for a while. I want to talk to you about something." If Gu Yan stays here all the time, Wang Yellen might become emotionally unstable. Gu Yan's expression was still immersed in sadness. He nodded, "Okay, Sister Yingyan." With that, Gu Yan walked out of the ward, wiping away tears, and choked up as he said to the two police officers waiting outside the ward, "I'm going to the bathroom." "Yes, comrade. Don't be too sad. Comrade, we, Captain Chen, will definitely catch the murderer." "Well, I believe you." Gu Yan thanked him and went to the bathroom. Only, the grief on his face completely disappeared at this moment, and he washed his face. Then he looked up at the mirror, where his face showed a calm and indifferent expression. Very good, everything is going according to his own script. Shaolin has now completely broken off with Wang Yellen, and there is no possibility of recovery. It was worth it that he took so many steps. So what's next? He opened his mouth, not knowing who he was talking to. "Let's prepare to have Wang Yellen join the Peach Blossom Club." A full of energy voice came from behind Gu Yan. "Yes, master." The corners of Gu Yan's mouth curled up slightly. Originally in the original story, Wang Yellen also joined the Peach Blossom Society, but she became Shaolin's helper. Now, all he needs to do is get Wang Yellen to join the Peach Blossom Club, and then take over the Peach Blossom Club. Then, it is equivalent to capturing Wang Yellen. The second female lead in the original novel. At least there is no need to worry about her defecting to the side of the protagonist Shaolin. It can even be said that he can use Wang Yellen's power to deal with Shaolin. In fact, this is also a layer of insurance if the power-destroying water that Shenwaner drank has not been used up. Then what is being done now is also a way to fight against the protagonist Shaolin. Gu Yan looked at himself in the mirror and sighed softly. "I won't regret it, because if I hadn't done this, even if I had been a little soft-hearted and not done it so ruthlessly, I'm afraid King Qiu and I will be the ones to die. After all, the positions are different." Chapter 138, introducing Chen Yingyan to join the warrior department. 2:30 a.m. Wang Yellen had exhausted all her energy after crying and had fallen into a deep sleep. In the ward corridor, except for a few police officers on duty, there were two other figures. They were leaning against the window, letting the cold wind gently blow on their faces. Chen Yingyan handed Gu Yan the forensic report. "Gu Yan, the forensic report is out." The forensic doctor said that this kind of injury was probably caused by the murderer using a hot steel pipe that is not available on the market to penetrate him in an instant. "But you and I both know that this is not an ordinary murder case." She looked at Gu Yan, who seemed to have recovered his mood, with a serious tone. "This is indeed a case of a warrior killing someone. The murderer is Shaolin." At this point, Chen Yingyan tightly grasped the edge of the wall, and said unwillingly, "I have said before that this guy is a dangerous element. And now it is true. I don't know what the Bi family's Bii Jun thinks of him. And what's the situation with the warrior department? How could such a dangerous person be allowed to go unpunished?" After Gu Yan read the appraisal form, his tone was very certain. "It is indeed a warrior incident." He turned his head to look at Chen Yingyan and asked seriously, "Sister Yingyan, although it may be abrupt for me to ask this, but are you willing to join the warrior department? I think that the current warrior department needs righteous people like you." Sister Ying Yin, to join us only in this way can more criminal warriors at large receive the punishment they deserve. Chen Ying was silent for a while as she listened to Gu Yan's powerful question. The conversation I had with my father earlier came back to my mind. Impossible. I won't allow you to join the warrior department. Ying Yin, listen to your father. Dad won't harm you. Think about it, dealing with ordinary criminals has the risk of casualties. Not to mention dealing with warriors. Dad, please. No matter what I say, it won't work. Chen Ying Yin clenched her fists tightly and took a deep breath. As if she had made some decision. She looked up at Gu Yan and assured him. I will definitely join the warrior department, and I will definitely change the current situation. The latter smiled inwardly. And then took out his phone under Chen Ying Yin's slightly stunned gaze. In that case then I'll call someone. Ding ling ling. Bei family. Bei Jun, who was sleeping comfortably, took out his cell phone. Dazed lie. Hello, is this a mission? Brother Ba, it's me. Are you asleep? Guyan. Bei Jun was stunned. Guyan hadn't called him since he called for his contact information at the last banquet. But what's going on now? He looked at the time. It was 2:30 in the morning. A corner of his mouth twitched. And he asked helplessly, he must be asleep, what's the matter? As he said this, he looked a little surprised. Could it be that Gu Yan? You are going to join our warrior department. It has something to do with joining the warrior department. I'm in John Hai Hospital now. Are you free? Okay, wait. I'll be right there. Bi Jun hung up the phone excitedly. With the addition of Gu Yan, a natural warrior, his trip was not in vain. 20 minutes later. John Hai Hospital. Bai Jun held his forehead with his hand. Looked at the smiling Gu Yan, and then looked at Chen Yingyan, who looked calm. So you want me to recommend Chen Yingyan to join the warrior department? Although I can do this with my identity, but... Bai Jun looked at Chen Yingyan hesitantly and said, if you are found to have no talent for cultivation and cannot join. Chen Yingyan frowned when he heard this. I, Chen Yingyan, am not that kind of rogue villain. If I am too weak to join, and I won't say anything. Bai Jun then nodded. To be honest, there was no harm in introducing an acquaintance to join. The most important thing is that this matter was brought up by Gu Yan. He looked at Gu Yan and said, don't you have any intention to join us? Gu Yan smiled helplessly when he heard this. There's nothing I can do. We're getting married soon, so we need to focus on family matters. You're getting married? Chen Yingyan was stunned when he heard this. And looked at Gu Yan in surprise. Why haven't I heard Uncle Gu mention it before? The date hasn't been set yet. Don't worry, I will definitely invite you to the engagement party when the time comes. Gu Yan started joking. Chen Yingyan remembered her father's previous urging for her to get married, and even wanted her to have a relationship talk with Gu Yan. She felt a bit amused and helpless for a moment. The news about my father is too delayed. When Bai Jun heard Gu Yan reject him with this reason again, he couldn't help but pat Gu Yan on the back. Gu Yan, how old are you? Are you getting married? I'm not even married yet. Marriage is a graveyard, don't you understand? Yan smiled when he heard it. That's because you haven't met the right person. I have a wife who I love very much. When he said this, Gu Yan's expression became much softer. Seeing this, Chen Yingyan sighed in her heart. Gu Yan must love his lover very much. But she asked hesitantly, does Wang Yilan know that you are getting married soon? She didn't know if it was Chen Ying's illusion, but she always felt that Wang Yilan seemed to like Gu Yan. Gu Yan nodded when he heard this, and he explained. Before, Sister Yilan had a friend who came to visit her. And as soon as she saw me, she said she wanted to be my girlfriend. At this point, Gu Yan's tone was somewhat helpless. So I explained that I was already married, of course. In fact, I haven't gotten married yet, but I do have an engagement and a wife. So Sister Yilan should also know about this. Hearing this, Chen Yingyan replied with an O. On Bai Jun's side. After listening to what Gu Yan said, he also understood that Gu Yan was serious. Although he hadn't heard Gu Yan say who he liked, Bai Jun had guessed a little bit during the banquet. Is it the talented woman from the Lang family? Gu Yan did not argue, but nodded in response, his voice becoming much gentler. Yes, Lang Qiyu is my lover. After getting the answer, Bai Jun sighed. Lang family. He looked at Gu Yan, wanting to say something, but finally kept his mouth shut. He seemed to be hesitant to talk, not knowing whether he should tell what happened to the Lang family that year. But in the end, he sighed, I wish you happiness. Then he said a few words and left in a hurry. Hey, what the hell is that tone of yours? Gu Yan's mouth twitched. Chen Yingyan was also surprised and patted Gu Yan in astonishment. You are so good, kid, you are actually dating Lang Qiyu from the Lang family? But, I heard that the Lang family. The words haven't finished yet. Gu Yan waved his hand, a happy smile on his face. It doesn't matter. I like everything about Qiyu. Seeing this, Chen Yingyan stopped talking. She sighed, this is youth. Why do each of you have to say this? But Guyan leaned against the window, staring into the distance with a dazed look. What is Yu doing now? Studying or sleeping? And our relationship has taken a step further. After all, we have kissed. Guyan suddenly lowered his head and shouted, his whole body twitching violently. Chen Yingyin. I want to kiss you so much. Chen Yingyin, are you perverted? And please don't disturb others. Leng family. Leng Yu tossed and turned in bed. It was so strange, so strange. She covered her chest, opened her eyes, and a blush appeared on her face. Why did I suddenly feel a surge of throbbing in my heart? Why is this happening? Guyan didn't come tonight? Is it because you want to visit Wang Yilan? So where is the other party now? What is he doing? What is this sudden feeling that arises in my heart? Leng Yu thought of what Guyan had said before, that he seemed to be able to sense her psychological changes. Could it be? Leng Yu pursed her lips, her expression was very shy. Guyan was now thinking about her? Is that why she is so physically and mentally unbearable? Why did I wake up suddenly? It's not okay if I don't get enough sleep. You don't want that man to be scared away by your tired look, do you? This has a huge impact on our plans. Yes. It's none of your business. And why do you make kissing sound so weird? I have a special set of skills to control Guyan. I don't need an outsider like you to teach me. Another me, you have grown a lot over the years. Okay. I will observe carefully. The voice disappeared, and Leng Yu finally breathed a sigh of relief. She gently touched her lips, which seemed to still have the residual warmth of Guyan. Guyan, will he come tomorrow? Chapter 139. Knitting a scarf for my brother-in-law. I'll confiscate it first. Early the next morning. Leng's house. In the living room. Leng Linger pleaded with her elder sister in a serious manner. Sister, please give me more pocket money. No. Her response was Leng Yu's ruthless rejection. Seeing this, Leng Linger immediately lay on the sofa and cried and made a scene. Wu wa sister. It's almost the end of the month, I've run out of money. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Besides, even though I'm a day student, 500 yuan a month is totally not enough. Hearing this, Leng Yu's expression did not change. And she still had a stern face. She waited for Leng Linger to stop making trouble, and then slowly said, you usually only need to eat lunch at school. I go home for breakfast and dinner, and now I don't need to take the bus or taxi to go to school. You probably won't have much to spend except buying some water. 500 yuan is not more, not less, just right for you. Leng Linger was dumbfounded when she heard this. No way. Sister, is this how it works? Although it can be used in this way, but people's manicures, hairstyles, and buying new clothes are all useless. It's all money. And look at which kid only has 500 a month to go to school nowadays. Sister, you are asking me to survive in the wilderness. No, I have almost spent all the little savings I had saved. It will take some time before the cold-faced elder sister gives me pocket money. During this period, I can't always eat Quan Lan's lunch. But in the final analysis it's because of buying the thing that I spent the last bit of money. Leng Linger left the living room reluctantly and ran upstairs. Prepare to use your trump card. Leng Yu heard the noise and narrowed his eyes slightly to look at his sister who ran upstairs. She sighed helplessly. Hey, Linger is getting older and more disobedient. However, she hasn't learned about the current school expenses for a long time. Although according to her understanding, 500 yuan is enough. Leng Yu pondered for a while whether he should wait for Guyan to come over and discuss whether he should allocate some pocket money to Linger again. That's not right. Leng Yu blushed. Why did she have to ask Guyan for consent even for such a family affair? Leng Yu, you have indeed fallen. Just when I thought of this, there was another noise coming from upstairs. Leng Linger ran down, and Leng Yu quickly closed his eyes and pretended not to care. Next second, Leng Linger squeezed next to Leng Yu and begged again. Sister, please give me some pocket money. I bought woolen knitting needles. And I don't have enough money. No, but what are you buying this for? Leng Yu refused subconsciously, but after hearing Leng Linger's words, he felt confused and puzzled. When did my sister start to like these things? Seeing her sister was attracted, Leng Linger smiled slightly, then fiddled with the thread and said, well, because winter is coming soon. Many girls in the class knits cards for the boys they like. And I saw everyone was knitting, so I didn't want to be left behind. For the boy you like? Leng Yu suddenly became alert. She looked at Leng Linger seriously. Who are you going to give it to? Are you in love? Could it be the Xuanwu sect? Meizu said that the bastard seemed to like Linger. Thus when Leng Yu was about to scold the parents, Leng Linger interrupted immediately. No, what are you thinking? Sister, I'm not in a relationship. Who are you going to give the scarf to? Leng Yu asked again. Seeing this, Ling Linger's mouth curled up slightly, and her voice became a little shy. This can tea, I give it to my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law has helped us so much, so I think. No. When Ling Qiyu heard this, she immediately rejected it on behalf of Guyan, saying, Linger, what are you thinking about all day long? It's Saturday, you can't relax. As he spoke, Ling Qiyu took the woolen knitting needles from Ling Linger and said seriously, go back to your room and study hard. I will confiscate these things for now. A sister, then my pocket money. Ling Linger asked, pretending to be sad. I'll give you 500 more lines per month. Ling Qiyu waved his hand helplessly, and hurried upstairs with the confiscated wool, as if he was thinking about something. Oh, thank you, sis. Ling Linger shouted towards Ling Qiyu's back, with a blush appearing on her face. You idiot Gu. You should be happy, with a god-level wingman like me. How can you resist my sister? Even though I couldn't resist it. But seeing my sister so flustered, it's really. There was a hint of inexplicable feeling in Ling Linger's eyes. A new NIU has appeared. She took out her cell phone, which had a chat window on it, which was a chat with Guyan. The content was posted 10 minutes ago. Zany Gu. My sister and I are hungry, please bring us some food. JPG. Ling Linger glanced at him, and Guyan replied with a smile. Ling Linger started typing immediately. Are you an elderly person? After the fight, Ling Linger also complained. A trash Gu is a trash Gu. Even if he has the latest mobile phone, he can only send emojis that only old men send. The message came back quickly. Look behind you. Ling Linger was stunned. She turned her head and saw Guyan standing there with a bag of dumplings in his hand with a kind look on his face. She shuddered all over. Sister, brother, in-law, good morning. Ling Linger smiled awkwardly. How come you came in without making any noise? Guyan walked forward. Bang. He reached out his hand and placed it on Ling Linger's head. Smiling kindly, I originally wanted to give King Qiyu a surprise, but I didn't expect to hear you saying bad things about me behind my back. You're really good, little brat. Play two-faced turtle with me, right? As he spoke, Guyan clenched his fists tightly. Ouch, it hurts, brother-in-law, I was wrong. Ling Linger screamed loudly. Seeing this, Guyan retracted his hand, put Ling Linger's steamed bun on the coffee table, and then asked, where's your sister? Why are you alone? Even though she was scolded by Guyan, Ling Linger quickly recovered. She picked up a steamed bun and stuffed it into her mouth, then pointed upstairs and said, Sister is going upstairs. Okay, I'll go see your sister then. When Guyan heard this, a smile immediately appeared on his face and he walked upstairs. Ling Linger raised her middle finger behind his back and said, Trash Gu, don't expect me to help you with assists in the future. In the study, the balls of yarn and needles and thread that Ling Qiyu had confiscated lay quietly on the table. Rustle and rustle. Ling Qiyu nervously searched the bookshelf. It should be here, it should be around here. Ling Qiyu murmured to himself. I remember that the things I learned before were very miscellaneous, so I did collect wool knitting tutorials. But as he was searching, Ling Qiyu's mind popped up Ling Linger's words again. Winter is coming, so I knit a scarf for the boy I like. Knit a scarf and give it to the boy you like, he will feel very touched. But that is because Linger and the others are high school students. It is normal for young boys and girls to be moved by this. But she and Guyan are talking about marriage. Would Guyan think she was childish for doing such a thing? Besides, I always felt a little weird using Linger's wool to knit a scarf for Guyan. Ling Qiyu sighed and gave up looking for knitting tutorials. You are already a grown-up, why are you still like Linger? Just at this moment. Squeak. The study door was pushed open. King Qiyu, I came to see you. How did you sleep last night? Why is there yarn on your desk? Are you sewing? Guyan walked in addition to seeing Ling Qiyu looking for a book by the bookshelf. He also saw a strange object on the other person's desk. Chapter 140. Ling Qiyu feels the need to do something serious. Why is Guyan here? Ling Qiyu suddenly felt a little nervous, but a strange feeling of shame also emerged in his heart. Maybe it was because of the interaction between the two people's body fluid intake yesterday. Ling Qiyu calmly took out a book and started flipping through it. Pretending to be reading another book, he nodded and said, I slept well. You're lying, you didn't sleep all night last night. This ball of yarn belongs to Linger. I confiscated it because it affected her studies so much. While I do him, you were just looking for knitting tutorials. Shut your mouth. Ling Qiyu angrily cursed at Xiaoling, who was always trying to sabotage him in his mind. This Xiaoling didn't show up just now, but came out as soon as Guyan arrived. Guyan understood, and considering the current weather, this was probably the knitting a scarf together phenomenon from the student days. It's like one of the 7 wonders of the campus when a certain time point comes. A group of girls will suddenly emerge to knit scarves together. But this is very strange. Ling Linger's things were obviously confiscated. But she seemed to be acting quite normal just now. I see. This kid is the same. Isn't he in a premature love relationship at school? Guyan said half-jokingly. Who knows what will happen once these words are spoken? Ling Qingqiu's face changed slightly, and he retorted unnaturally. Guyan, what are you talking about? Linger is only so old. How could she fall in love prematurely? Guyan smiled softly upon hearing this, and gradually moved to Ling Qingqiu's side. Okay, Linger is still young. So we are considered adults. Taking advantage of his height, he stood in front of Ling Qingqiu, then stretched out his arms and pressed them horizontally on the bookshelf, enclosing Ling Qingqiu in a small space. He recalled yesterday's events in his mind. So he said softly, Qingqiu, after not seeing you for one night, you seem to have become more beautiful again. Ling Qingqiu felt Guyan's movements, and she realized that she was squeezed into a small space by Guyan, and the temperature around her seemed to be radiating from Guyan's body. The heat was still burning on her face. She raised her head and snorted softly. You also know that you didn't come last night, so why don't you explain? As Ling Qingqiu raised her head, the other person's delicate face like a porcelain doll was revealed in front of Guyan. Plop, plop. Guyan swallowed his saliva. No, this was too tempting. Guyan covered his mouth. Hiss, this perspective. I can't be like a pervert. Take one more look, one last look. No, I can't help it. Qingqiu, I really can't help it. Guyan looked at Ling Qingqiu with a fiery gaze, and slowly lowered his head and whispered in her ear. The explanation is, I encountered some troubles yesterday. A fragrance entered Guyan's nostrils and he sniffed it gently. Ling Qingqiu felt Guyan's movements, her face flushed slightly, and she tensed up when she felt the heat coming from her ears. What is the trouble? Guyan's hand began to rest dishonestly on Ling Qingqiu's shoulder. Ah, it's something that makes me sad whenever I think about it. Qingqiu, your dear husband, I really need you to comfort my young heart right now. Something sad? What happened? She subconsciously pushed Guyan away, intending to ask about the situation and comfort. How do you want me to comfort Tug? Before he finished speaking, a moment Ling Qingqiu pushed him away. Guyan subconsciously lowered his body and kissed those soft and sweet lips, just like what Guyan shouted at the window last night. I want to kiss you so much. Ling Qingqiu's mind went blank. She put her hands on Guyan's chest, trying hard to push him away. But the familiar feeling from yesterday flooded her body again. Why it feels so good, she began to feel weak all over. Ling Qingqiu's hand holding the book naturally dropped down. She was squeezed on the bookshelf by Guyan and was passively asked for everything by Guyan. Time passes by every second. You can really do it. Then you feel it, the beauty of this power increase. Go on. Keep draining this furnace. Snap. Until Ling Qingqiu's arms became weak and the book fell to the ground. She woke up in shock and quickly pushed Guyan away. Asshole, it's still early in the morning. Ling Qingqiu covered her mouth with her arm, and cursed at Guyan with a shameful look on her face. Guyan raised his hands and pretended to beg for mercy. Qingqiu, my Qingqiu, my Qingqiu, even though it's morning I really can't help it. Because, Qingqiu, you are so beautiful, whether it's your hands, neck, or your hair and skin. Be it the scent of you or everything about you. Even your voice makes me unable to stop. Do you understand? I really can't bear it. Wait, Qingqiu, don't do it, I won't say it anymore. Seeing Ling Qingqiu's shoulder shaking, it looked like he was about to hit him again. Guyan immediately shut up and took a few steps back. Abnormal. Ling Qingqiu cursed with gritted teeth. She really wanted to strangle herself to death yesterday. I actually felt guilty for forcefully kissing Guyan. No, is not the time to argue with Guyan about this. After all, she also used Guyan to improve her perception. If it can be visualized, then it should jump out in front of her eyes. Perception 1. Perception 1. The word's perception continues 1. The most urgent thing is to find out what happened to Guyan last night. So she calmed down and asked seriously, what happened to you yesterday? Guyan was already satisfied, so he didn't hide anything when he heard it. He recounted everything that had happened from the time he met Shaolin to last night. 10 minutes later, Ling Qingqiu knew everything. So that's how it is. It turned out that when Guyan went to visit Wang Yilan yesterday, he met a man named Shaolin, with whom he had some misunderstandings before. Originally thought that the other party came to apologize. But who would have thought that the other party was actually a warrior? And killed Wang Yilan's mother when Guyan and Wang Yilan went downstairs. The techniques used also carried dragon-shaped energy. I can't believe it. Ling Qingqiu sighed in his heart. The world is really going downhill, and the evil warriors are so rampant. It is also thanks to the protection of Meizu and the masters around Guyan. Otherwise, Guyan might have been in danger last night. That's right, Ling Qiyu still remembered that he had instructed Meizu to protect Guyan in secret. Let's not talk about this for now. King Qiyu look at Linger. This ball of Woldon tea, you have any ideas? Guyan changed the subject. Bold Ling Qiyu to sit in front of the desk, and then looked at her expectantly. Ling Qiyu slowly put a question mark. And he opened his eyes and said coldly to Guyan. First of all, I can't see. Secondly, I'm blind. At last. She crossed her arms, raised her chin proudly, and said to Guyan intentionally or unintentionally, as the eldest son of the Gu family, do you really want a scarf made entirely by hand by an ordinary person like me? As soon as these words came out, Yan's face immediately became serious, and he nodded repeatedly with excitement and anticipation. Yes, I think about it even in my dreams. As long as it's given to me by King Qiyu. I like it. Ling Qiyu blushed when she heard this. She tapped her arms with her fingers uncontrollably and tapped the ground with her toes under the table. Is that so? Cricket Guyan, you have a lot of delusions. If you want it so much, why don't you let Linger weave it for you? Linger? Let that little female ghost weave it. Guyan shook his head repeatedly. Very resistant. No, if you think about it for one more second I will explode. All I want in my life is the scarf you knitted for me. King Qiyu. Ling Qiyu was very happy to hear this. She couldn't help but reveal a satisfied smile. Is that so? Snap. Wait a minute. Before Ling Qiyu finished speaking, his expression became a little strange. It seemed as if a reaction nerve in the brain was suddenly connected. Wait a minute. She closed her eyes and fell into deep thought. What was the name of the warrior that Guyan just mentioned who killed Wang Yilan's mother? Shaolin. Why does it sound familiar? Ling Qiyu asked uncertainly. Tell me the name of the warrior you just mentioned again. After hearing this, Guyan blurted out without thinking. Oh, his name is Shaolin, and he can also circulate dragon-shaped ki. I heard from Lao Gao that he is at least a master. I never thought that there are so many grandmasters in such a small city like Zhangye. The words fell. The air in the study froze for a moment. It seems that this might be the heir to the Dragon King Palace. Ling Qiyu still tried to keep smiling. Hey, his name is Shaolin. Ling Qiyu just smiled stiffly. Then stand up. Bang! He put his hands on Guyan's shoulders and patted him vigorously. Guyan, it's still a little early for lunch. You and Linger should go to the commercial street and buy some firewood. Rice, oil, salt, sauce, vinegar and tea. After hearing this, Guyan knew that mentioning Shaolin's name would cause Ling Qiyu to have a big reaction. But he didn't expect that the other party would directly drive him to go shopping with Linger. So he shouted, instead of going out with the little ghost, I would rather go shopping with you, King Qiyu. After hearing these short words, my heart trembled slightly. Ling Qiyu made up his mind to change his situation. Ling Qiyu, oh Ling Qiyu, you have indeed become weak and depraved because of Guyan. No, I have neglected my organizational work for a long time because of Guyan. Whether it's for Guyan or for revenge today, I have to show up in front of the members of the organization. So, anyway, take Linger out right now. Ling Qiyu pushed Guyan out with a red face. What a damn bastard, he kept trying to tease me body and mind. It's all because of you that my revenge plan has come to a standstill. I have to do something serious. Chapter 141, Go to the commercial street. I'll treat you today. After being kicked out of the house by Ling Qiyu, Guyan had no choice but to listen to King Qiyu and take his female ghost sister-in-law out for a walk. After getting on the bus, Linger happily shouted in the back row. Yeah, it's a rare holiday, I don't want to stay at home and read books. I didn't expect my sister to be so nice that she would let me and Ziyu come out to play. Guyan felt a headache listening to this. He leaned his left hand on the car window and looked out the window with a look of despair on his face. Why should I spend my rare holiday with this little brat? I should have known not to tell anyone about Shaolin. But if I don't take the initiative to tell others, and King Qiyu finds some clues through her own methods later, it might cause some unnecessary misunderstandings. At this stage, he didn't want to get into any weird plot lines. Of course. Apart from these, Guyan glanced at the yellow-haired kid who was letting himself go at the side. It seemed that it was a rare opportunity for her to go out and play. So Linger dressed up beautifully, put on delicate makeup, wore a black jacket, a white shirt underneath, and a yellow bow tie around her chest. She held up her cell phone, turned on the selfie camera, and kept taking pictures in the car. If these alone were not enough to make Guyan look sideways, the most important thing was, why are you wearing a mask? Gu Yan pointed at the black mask on the other person's face with a strange expression. Hearing this, Linglinger continued to fiddle with her hair without caring, and looked at the beautiful self in the selfie camera and replied to Gu Yan. Gu, oh rubbish, is lame, don't you know that she is a short video anchor? Although my main account has been blocked, I still have my secondary account. Now I am posting daily photos to keep my account active. Gu Yan seemed to have thought of a host named Ling Quan Wang who he had seen on short videos before. That account was blocked because of the conflict with any fans. But this kid hasn't given up on becoming an internet celebrity yet. Is black and red also red? Gu Yan didn't understand the young people's thoughts. But he respected them. Linglinger didn't pay much attention to Gu Yan's strange look. She quickly captured a picture from a suitable angle. Then opened the picture editing and edit the copy. Today is another beautiful day. A picture was of herself and Gu Yan, who was covering his face with a sticker. Finally, click send and you're done. Absolutely perfect. Linglinger thought happily, and just a second after she sent the daily picture, her phone vibrated and she opened it, seeing it was a message from Bei Quan Lan on VX. Bei Quan Lan, Sister Linger, are you playing outside with my brother-in-law? Where are you going? Bei Quan Lan, short view screenshot. APGTSK still discovered. Linglinger curled her lips and quickly typed. What do you mean by our brother-in-law? This is my brother-in-law. Quan Lan, what do you want to do? My brother-in-law and I are here to do some serious business today. Bei Quan Lan, what's the matter? Can you take me with you? Linglinger thought about it and felt that bringing Bei Quan Lan along might cause some problems. So she immediately replied, no, Bei family. Looking at Linglinger's reply, Bei Quan Lan puffed up her lips. Sister Linger, why are you like this? She immediately started typing, Sister Linger, would you like to return the book I lent you last time? Hook. Linglinger was stunned when she saw this. And then she reacted immediately. How come I forgot that the 18 book being XXXX was taken away by my sister? Oops. A drop of cold sweat rolled down Linglinger's face. Bei Quan Lan, is this also part of your plan? Then, Zhang Commercial Street. Gu Yan looked speechlessly at the Bei brothers and sisters who were standing there waiting for them. Bei Bun greeted Gu Yan and said, hello again, Gu Yan. My sister asked me to drive her here and said you were here too. We won't disturb you, will we? Bei Quan Lan also greeted Gu Yan obediently. Good morning, Sister Linger's brother-in-law. As he spoke, he walked forward and hugged Linglinger's arm, and put his little head directly on Linglinger's shoulder. Sister Linger, look, didn't I catch you after all? Linglinger's expression was a little embarrassed. And she had already taken off her mask. After all, wearing a mask is just to prevent being recognized online. She smiled at Gu Yan and said, that's how it is. Hey, what the hell? Gu Yan rubbed his brows with a headache. He looked at Lao Gao, who was smiling at the side, and said, Lao Gao, mobilize the nearby bodyguards to come over. Okay, master. Lao Gao made a phone call. It only takes a few minutes. A team of more than a dozen black-clad bodyguards came in an orderly manner from afar to Gu Yan and others. Morning, master. Morning, master. Morning, master. A group of people shouted in unison that these were the Gu family's personal bodyguards, spread all over the rivers and seas, ready to receive orders and deployments at any time. A commotion here attracted the attention of people coming and going on the busy commercial street. What kind of rich guy is this who's out shopping? Why are there so many people following him? Are they filming a video? I heard there are anchors who dress up as rich guys to film videos with businesses to attract traffic. No, are you all blind? Isn't that the eldest son of the Gu family? The son of the richest man in Zhangye City. Now that you mention it, I have seen a video of him singing on a short video before. Although the anchor who filmed the video had a black avatar and was banned. Is this the daily routine of Brother Fu? A crowd of onlookers took out their mobile phones to capture this rare scene. Linglinger seemed a little shocked. Brother-in-law, why did you call so many bodyguards? Aren't we here to buy soy sauce? When Bei Quan Lan heard this, she pinched Linglinger's arm angrily and said, okay, Sister Linger, the business you said is to buy soy sauce? Bei witched his lips. Is this the eldest son of the Gu family? No wonder he doesn't want to join the warrior department. Is he feeling uncomfortable now? Gu Yan shrugged nonchalantly. It's rare for everyone to come out shopping. How could they just buy a bottle of soy sauce? I called the bodyguards here to carry our bags, because, Gu Yan said as he took out a black card, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. And under Linglinger's greedy gaze, he smiled and said, you can buy as much as you want today. It's my treat. Just consider it as buying New Year's goods. Linglinger was shocked and excited. And shouted happily, wow, brother-in-law, you are awesome. Although I've known for a long time that you are a rich second generation. It's only now that I realize that you are indeed a rich second generation. Guyan's mouth twitched. Why do I always feel that you are implying something to me? Is it because I don't usually show that I'm rich? Dark place. Mei Zhu and Clivia, who had been protecting Lang Linger, or observing this scene secretly. Clivia bit the fan in her hand in grievance. Oh, it's a rare occasion for the master to call an organizational meeting. But we can only stay here as such a pity. Mei Zhu looked a little further away from Clivia. She was silent for a while and then replied, Guyan and Lang Linger are very important to the master. Letting the two of us complete this task is enough to show the master's trust in us. Are you listening? Clivia, could you please stop crying? Mei Zhu sighed softly. I also want to see the master. Chapter 140. Tonight organization members gather. The base of the night organization is 5,000 meters underground. The walls on both sides of the corridor are covered with black metal plates. Reflecting faint blue light, the entire base is isolated from the outside world while also exuding an endless atmosphere of mystery. There are a total of 7 members of the organization in the spacious and bright underground hall. They were scattered in every corner, each with a different expression on their face. But what they had in common was that they all felt incomparable excitement in their hearts at this moment. A tall and burly man with thick silver hair and a beard that reached his ears stood by the wall with his eyes closed. His face was full of traces of time. When he glanced at Ba Elyan, who was sitting on a chair with her legs crossed and putting on makeup, he couldn't help but frown. What's up, Xiaolei? Do you have any opinion? Ba Elyan sat on a chair with her legs crossed, touching up her makeup in front of a small mirror. She seemed to feel Xiaolei's gaze, so she spoke while touching up her makeup. Xiaolei looked away and snorted coldly. He felt that Ba Elyan was too lax in her pursuit of beauty, as she was still putting on makeup when her master was about to arrive. He was particularly dissatisfied with such lazy people. Ba Elyan rolled her eyes. She put on makeup in a hurry to show her best side in front of her master. What do you, an old man, no? Okay, don't quarrel as soon as you meet. Quarreling is a small matter, but it would be bad if the master blames you. At this time, a woman with a well-proportioned figure, long hair, deep and gentle eyes walked over with a smile. She was wearing a green long dress, giving people a fresh and elegant feeling. The smile reveals maturity and intelligence. Sister Mai Yin. It's obviously these stinky men who don't understand romance. That's why the master has always liked Sister Mei Zhu. Elyan put away the small mirror and stood up. With a sweet look on her face, she took the arm of the woman in the green dress who was walking towards her. As soon as these words came out, the two figures practicing sword skills on the training platform suddenly stopped. A bandaged man held the hilt of a sword, staring at Ba Elyan with one eye. He growled, You, what did you say? At this time, a handsome man with long black hair who was practicing sword with him hurriedly stopped him. There was a hint of indifference between his brows, and his right hand tightly grasped a dark blue long sword, with a faint cold light flashing on the blade. Aegean. Stop, the master is coming soon. But damn. Ba Elyan. Aegean spoke intermittently and unwillingly. Changwon Maiyan raised her lips slightly and tapped Ba Elyan's head gently. What a stinky man. Uncle Xiao is our senior. As the last one to arrive? You have the least experience, but you ended up offending all the seniors you could. Speaking of this, Changwon Maiyan also felt a little helpless. Ba Elyan is good in everything except her mouth. It can really make people angry. No way, I haven't offended everyone. If you don't believe me, ask Xiao Yaya. He knows that I am very weak and gentle. Ba Elyan said as he looked towards Fangs, the ORC who had fought Mei Zhu before. At this moment, when the other party saw Ba Elyan shift his gaze to him, his heart immediately became extremely nervous. He began to stutter. Aha, of course Ba Elyan is not wrong. After he finished speaking, he immediately lowered his head shyly. Ba Elyan actually called me Xiao Yaya. As expected, I am special to Ba Elyan. His tail drooped, his ears drooped, and his whole body became ethereal. Murong Si still looked calm. He leaned against the wall alone, lost in thought. No one knew what he was thinking about. And in the next moment, click, everyone suddenly felt an inexplicable palpitation in their hearts. This feeling is, Master. Everyone's expressions froze. And Ba Elyan and the others walked to the center of the hall and stood into rows. Our movements were in unison, and under the same uniform. Individual differences were downplayed, and everyone became part of the night organization. After a few people stood still, they waited quietly for the arrival of the Night King. Everyone seemed to be able to feel his or her own excited heartbeat. It's been too long. It's really too long. It has been too long since they received new instructions from the Night King. The lights in the hall shone on the black uniforms, outlining the silhouettes of each member. Their eyes revealed their reverence for the Night King. Next second, buzz, by terrifying and intimidating pressure surged out from the hall. All members of the Yi organization were extremely excited about this. Then, black gas gathered and lingered in front of everyone for only a moment. A figure stood in front of everyone. Everyone immediately knelt on one knee. He shouted enthusiastically, "Welcome, Master! Welcome to the Night King!" Ling Qiyu had a slender figure and was dressed in a black robe, making her look like a goddess in the night. Her long hair was as black as the night and draped over her shoulders, emitting a faint, shimmering glow. Her face was cold and beautiful, revealing an inviolable sharpness when she opened her eyes. There were two mysterious ancient runes in her pupils. Her high nose bridge and light lip color outline her dignity and arrogance, and her snow-white skin exudes a kind of awe-inspiring cold beauty. Every movement she made revealed a calm and composed temperament. With her hands open, a pure dark force surged out from her palm, and she said lightly, "This is the gift of the night." Buzz! In an instant, pure dark energy spread throughout the hall like stars in the sky. A steady stream of power flows into everyone's body. Everyone felt their own strength increase. This true energy. The Master's power has become stronger again. As expected of you. Master, your strength has increased so much in just a dozen days. Owner! Owner! All members shouted enthusiastically. Ling Qiyu nodded in satisfaction and spoke softly, with that cold voice also spreading throughout the hall. Report on the current situation. TSK. I didn't expect Guyan's body fluids to be so effective. It was only twice. Ling Qiyu felt a little embarrassed because he was the Night King. But the way to improve my strength is to do the same as Guyan. Commercial Street. Deng Feng, the descendant of Xuanwu Gate, walked majestically on the street. Because of the practice these days, his originally thin body has become much stronger. He now held a huge sum of money in his hand, which was given to him by the leader of Xuanwu sect. The purpose is to let him return to campus with a brand new attitude, and let those who used to look down on him learn the lesson they deserve. So, he decided to go to the commercial street to buy himself some neat clothes. All his previous inferiority complex was washed away, and Deng Feng felt like a new person. But suddenly, he seemed to see something, and quickly hid behind a billboard. He stuck his head out and saw the huge crowd. That's it. Linger? Deng Feng opened his eyes wide and saw the figure at the front of the huge crowd. This is the person she wants to protect and her boyfriend Guyan. The two seemed to be talking to each other, and Linger seemed very happy. In addition, there was Bi Lan, a classmate at school, and another man wearing glasses, whom he didn't recognize. Deng Feng clenched his fists and stared at Guyan. The other party worked day and night and was completely different from him in the past. But now it's different. He has become a warrior. That's right. He is qualified to protect Linger. Thinking of this, Deng Feng took a deep breath and resisted the urge to go out and meet Linger. It's not the right time yet. I must show my handsome side so that I will be qualified to talk to Linger. Just wait, Guyan. I will let Linger know who is the right person for her. Chapter 143. Wrap it all up. Linger didn't know whether Deng Feng could make her feel handsome. But right now, right here. However, Guyan really made her feel that he was extremely handsome. Inside the gold shop, the two little kids were lying in front of the counter, trying on a necklace and a bracelet respectively. The clerk enthusiastically introduced Linger and Bi Lan. Sister, you have great taste. This is the jewelry that our store strongly recommends. It is a perfect match for you. Although the shop assistants are a generation older than Linger and Bi Lan, the two high school students, the ability to speak differently to different people is a basic operation for them. Furthermore, the clerk glanced at Guyan, who was currently at another counter. Most of the bodyguards were also protecting the other party. And when the clerk heard the yellow-haired kid calling him brother-in-law, he immediately knew that the man was the big money sponsor of this purchase. The other party brought so many bodyguards, he must be very rich. It's a pity that the other party didn't come to her counter. But it doesn't matter, the other party's sister-in-law. I have to take good care of her. Guyan looked at the dazzling array of gold jewelry and was in a dilemma about what to choose. I'm so confused. Will Qiyu like these things? Guyan said. It's already out. How could I really just buy some oil, salt, sauce and vinegar? I must bring some gifts back. Seeing his hesitation, the clerk immediately began to explain and recommend with a bright smile. Boss, take a look at this pair of symmetrical earrings. They are made with the most exquisite craftsmanship. Each gold diamond is hand-carved by a world-renowned engraver. They are definitely your best choice. Guyan took the earrings and felt the texture in his hands. The dazzling gold shone brightly under the light. The clerk continued to explain. This pair of earrings is not only unique in shape, but also can be matched with various occasions. It can be worn daily or with a dinner dress to show your wife's taste and temperament. Hearing this, Guyan smiled slightly and expressed his interest. This one is really good. Are there any other options? The clerk immediately picked up another necklace and introduced it in detail. Guyan nodded. The clerk then introduced several expensive gold jewelry one by one. Just when the other party wanted to continue the introduction, Guyan raised his hand to interrupt the other party. And then, with the clerk's slightly stunned expression, Guyan ran his finger from the left side of the counter to the right side. Okay, pack all of these for me. Pack it better for me. Happiness came so suddenly that my brain was buzzing for a moment. The female clerk nodded blankly. Oh, but he reacted quickly, nodded repeatedly and shouted excitedly. Oh no, thank you, boss, thank you, boss, I will pack it for you right away. Don't look at me like that, I used to be a packer. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. Guyan waved his hand and walked towards Linglinger. Linglinger was still arguing with Ba Quanlan about which one to buy. The former was holding a bracelet he liked very much. But when he looked at the price, 166,000. Why is this lousy bracelet so expensive? But, I really like it. Linglinger was confused although her brother-in-law said that he would pay for the meal today. But she was still very embarrassed to let her brother-in-law buy her such an expensive bracelet. If her sister knew about it, she would definitely scold her severely. Ba Quanlan saw Langlinger's dilemma, glanced at the price and poked Langlinger's waist. Sister Linger, this seems a bit expensive, or let's not buy it. Linglinger nodded after hearing this, and was about to put the bracelet down. Have you chosen? What did you choose? Guyan walked over and picked up the bracelet in Langlinger's hand. The texture is delicate and smooth, as if it is a witness of time. The design incorporates exquisite craftsmanship, and the golden dots exude a faint luxurious atmosphere. Guyan glanced at the price and chuckled. You have a good eye. Langlinger was a little embarrassed, lowering her head and not daring to look at Guyan. Brother-in-law, this is too expensive, or don't buy it. I'm just a high school student, it's not appropriate for me to buy this. When the other party saw the big money sponsor coming, his expression became even more enthusiastic. Boss is right. This bracelet. Just as he was about to explain further, Guyan interrupted and said, no need to introduce, since my sister-in-law likes. Guyan placed the bracelet on the counter and did the same thing. Moving from the left to the right, please help me pack up all the bracelets in this cabinet. Happiness comes too suddenly. This is like having your own parents again. Thank you, boss, you are so generous. Don't look at me like this. I am. Guyan waved his hand. I know, you were also a packer, right? Linglinger was stunned as she watched from the side. Wait, so sudden, so casual? Wrap it all from left to right? When you buy groceries? No, is this Brother Fu? Ba Quanlan was also dumbfounded. No way, is Sister Linger's brother-in-law really that rich? Ba Jun also shook his head repeatedly. Such an extravagant shopping method. Is this the eldest son of the Gu family? Sister brother-in-law. You are so handsome. Linglinger looked at Guyan with shining eyes, and said excitedly, you look like the hero of a novel. Guyan's mouth twitched when he heard that, and he reached out and rubbed the other person's yellow hair. Listen to my advice, don't do anything to let your brother-in-law, me, be the male protagonist of the novel in this world. As he said this, he looked at Ba Quanlan, who was dumbfounded beside him, and said, don't be dumbfounded, pick a few that you like. The latter was slightly stunned when he heard this. Do I have one too? Guyan asked curiously. Do you think I was joking when I said I would pay for the bill today? After a moment of silence, Ba Quanlan let go completely, and rushed to Guyan's side, trying to hug his arm. Yeah. Brother-in-law, you are so nice. But before he could hug her, Ba Jun pulled her back. He adjusted his glasses and looked at Guyan with a smile. Then I'll thank you, Guyan, on behalf of Quanlan. Guyan slowly asked, what's going on, Brother Ba? What do you want to do? He moved a little further away from Ba Quanlan without making any expression. Linglinger hadn't come to her senses until she walked out of the gold shop, with bodyguards carrying large and small bags behind her. She wore the bracelet on her right hand and gestured to Ba Quanlan beside her. Just take that small card, pull it over there, and you spent more than 3 million. Oh my god, when can I spend money like this? Guyan said mercilessly. Think about it, it will happen in your dreams. Damn it. When I become a big internet celebrity, don't cry and beg me to take you to the top. Don't worry, that won't happen. Guyan said you can rest assured. Several people walked towards the next destination with laughter, and wait for more than 10 minutes after they left. Bing Feng arrived at the door of this gold shop. He looked up at the magnificent gate and the decoration inside the glass door. He swallowed nervously and reached into his pocket, where the 1,000 yuan given to him by the leader of Xuan Wu's sect was placed. It was a huge sum of money for him. I originally wanted him to change his outfit, but Deng Feng thought of a scenario where he would buy a gift for Linger and then wait until he bravely rescued her, and give it to the other person, and it will definitely touch his or her heart. Thinking of this, Deng Feng stepped in. You are no longer a sane Deng Feng. From now on, change yourself. As soon as I entered, I heard a quarrel. What did you say? The bracelet I wanted is gone. How do you do things? I'm really sorry, sir, because you haven't come yet. I'm just going to get the money. I should have told you that. At the counter where Ling Linger had been before, a clerk was being madly targeted and insulted by a burly rich woman. Bang Feng saw the poor female clerk hanging her head after being scolded. With a look of grievance on her face, a desire to protect the other person suddenly emerged in his heart. He immediately strode forward and shouted, "Shut up! That's right, Deng Feng, you are different now. Use the power in your hands to protect others." Chapter 144. Because this is part of the plan. Outside a clothing store. Since the girls took too long to choose clothes, Guyan and Bi Jun sat on the bench outside and chatted. Bi Jun spoke first. "Guyan, the murder case involving Shaolin has been suppressed by us. Because this is a warrior incident, it cannot be made public. I hope you can understand. Their warrior department already knew about Shaolin's sudden killing that night. The nature of the crime was so severe and there were countless eyewitnesses who saw Shaolin jumping out of the window to escape. More importantly, according to the deceased's family member Wang Yulan, the deceased was Gu Yan's teacher. This is very embarrassing. First of all, it is true that the Gu family is a large family of warriors, but don't forget, Shaolin is the heir of the Dragon King Palace. The Gu family is not someone who can challenge the Dragon King Palace. Therefore, Shaolin, who should have been wanted immediately for being a magic warrior, was not wanted. On the contrary, the influence of this incident seemed to be gradually decreasing. After all, Wang Yulan's mother is just an ordinary person. Gu Yan listened to Bi Chun's words and curled his lips. Someone is afraid of the old Dragon King. Old Dragon King does not refer to one person, but many people. It is rumored that the Dragon King of each Dragon King palace is actually alive, and they are all hidden in the world. Whenever a new Dragon King is chosen, all the old Dragon Kings will teach him everything they know. So, it's not that I don't want to, it's that I really don't dare. The power of the Dragon King Palace is too great. After hearing this, Bi Jun pushed his glasses up awkwardly, and the reflection revealed his helpless and unwilling look. He clenched his fists tightly and sighed. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. We are obviously a warrior department. Bi Jun shook his head and stopped talking about this matter. Instead, he looked at Gu Yan and said, "Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's talk about you. I always thought you were a playboy, but I didn't expect that you knew more than just the Dragon King's affairs." Even, his tone was somewhat serious. "You have also cultivated to the Xiantian level." Gu Yan nodded helplessly. "What kind of delusion makes you think that the eldest son of the Gu family is a good-for-nothing young master? It's because of your bad reputation." Bi Jun adjusted his glasses and smiled without saying anything. But at least he understood one thing now: this kind of reputation might be. No, it must be a disguise of Gu Yan. He didn't know what the purpose was. Bi Jun suddenly felt that Gu Yan was a very treacherous and scary person. I actually hid it from so many people. However, he is now a little looking forward to Chen Yingyan. After all, this person was recommended by Gu Yan. Presumably, the other party must have something that can surprise him. Gu Yan looked at the time and felt it was time to go to the next place. And then talk about it. There's no need to be so entangled when buying something. Buy what you like, buy all if you are hesitant. This is it. The creed of the eldest son of the Gu family. So he stood up and walked towards the clothing store, not forgetting his lovely wife at home. Gu Yan was also prepared to pick a few for the other party. "I'm going to go in and buy some clothes, we'll talk later." Gu Yan waved his hand and left Bi Jun with his back. The latter pushed up his glasses and glanced in a certain direction. It's strange, why is there a scent of Xuan Wu energy in this commercial street? Could it be that people from Xuan Wu Gate are also here? Bi Jun thought about it, and when he saw Lao Gao on the other side with a calm smile on his face, he laughed and shook his head again. Real masters don't react at all. So why should I be so nervous? You're on vacation now, so just relax. Yan, you are indeed very interesting. Organize a tea restaurant at night. The middle-aged store manager in butler uniform felt a little disappointed. Hey, I really want to see the owner, but just in case, I still have to stay here and guard the store door. He sighed and continued looking at the store. 5,000 meters underground. Ling Qinkui, you already had a general understanding of the situation. She thought about it. Originally, there were 5 forces in Zhangye city that had encircled and suppressed their Ling family. They are respectively the Palace of Dragon King, the God of Death, the Palace of Yama, the Peach Blossom Society, and the Xuanwu Gate. But now, according to Shang Wan Mayayan's intelligence, the ancient martial arts world began to take action following the death of the Lord of the Palace of Yama. One after another, these forces have infiltrated various parts of the world. Among them, Zhangye city has the most infiltrating forces. Because the Lord of the Hall of Yama died tragically in this city. But this was what Lang Qiyu had anticipated a long time ago. And this was also her plan. Instead of looking for enemies one by one, it is better to let the enemies come to her. She is in the dark and the enemy is in the light. As long as he kills the weak sex to improve his own strength, he can become stronger and then deal with stronger enemies. And repeat this cycle. Lang Qiyu doesn't believe that he can't avenge himself. However, let's not talk about the new influx of forces for now. Let's talk about the 5 old forces that were previously stationed in Zhangha. The Lord of the Yama Palace had been killed by her. And it could be said that the palace was leaderless. In her eyes, the Yama Palace, led by Longzhiadian, was just a group of mobs. The only member of the Grim Reaper had been killed by Meizu long ago. And her head had been refined into true qi. Xuanwu Gate was in a dilapidated state. But now a successor named Dingfeng has been found. The young master of the Dragon King Palace has been showing up outside. His name is Shaolin. He had met Gu Yan before, but fortunately nothing dangerous happened. However, her idea before was very simple, to test Shaolin's strength and kill him if it was easy to kill. But according to Meizu's previous report, this Shaolin is very powerful, and has the old Dragon King behind him. It is easy to kill Shaolin, but the difficulty lies in the person behind him and his own weakness. In the past, I could just hide away with linger and develop in secret. But now there is also Gu Yan. The other party had a relationship with Shaolin. If he rashly killed Shaolin now, the retired old Dragon King would be implicated. Once the old Dragon King is involved, many warrior forces that follow the old Dragon King will also be involved. She and Linger could run away, and she could even take Gu Yan and hide with them. But what should she do with the huge Gu family? Will the old Dragon King's anger involve Gu Yan's family? Lang Qiyu she didn't want Gu Yan to suffer the pain of her clan being exterminated. Therefore the only targets that can be dealt with at the moment are Taohua Society and Xuanwu Gate. Xuanwu Gate and Taohua Society are eager to find successors, which already shows that their strength is not as good as before. Take advantage of now, destroy their sect. Think of this. Lang Qiyu opened her eyes, a chill emanating from her pupils. And she began to issue the latest instructions. Mu Rongxi and Baiyan form a team to destroy Xuanwu's sect. Ji and Xing and Han Feng form a team to destroy the Peach Blossom Society. The rest of you should keep an eye on the various ancient martial arts sects that have infiltrated Zhangha. Once you get any intelligence, report it to me immediately. Everyone looked respectful and enthusiastic when they heard this. Yes, master. Lang Qiyu was about to leave, but suddenly thought of the apparent appearance of the night organization. So she stopped and said slowly, also if my husband Gu Yan from the secular world happens to come to the tea restaurant of the night organization to eat, remember not to show any abnormality. Because this is also part of the plan. You remember? The members of the organization did not hesitate at all and responded one after another. Remember the master. The alien felt a little embarrassed. After all, she had wanted to seduce that man before. Mu Rongxi remained silent. Gu Yan. Chapter 145 Brother-in-law. Don't forget what we have to do. Inside the gold shop. Your name is Deng Feng, right? Thank you so much, little brother. If it weren't for you, I really don't know what I would do. Oh, by the way, my name is Lin Yi. At this time, Lin Yi held Deng Feng's hand gratefully, and her lingering charm made Deng Feng's heart beat wildly. She actually held my hand. It was the first time in my life that a woman held my hand. Is this what it felt like? Deng Feng felt very comfortable. Is this the feeling of being thanked for being a good person? He smiled sheepishly and said, it's okay, it's okay. This is what I should do, to be honest. It's all the fault of that customer. He doesn't look like a good person. Hearing this, Lin Yi also withdrew her hand inside. Actually, I was also wrong at the beginning. The customer said that he would come to buy after he got the money. But not long ago, a big boss came and also took a fancy to this bracelet. He was so happy that he wanted to buy all the gold on the counter. So you understand. Even if our boss was here, he would definitely sell the bracelet to the other party. I'm just a part-time worker. Deng Feng didn't quite understand what was being said. But at least he understood one thing. The sister in front of him was a generation older than him. He is a good person. Sister Lin, I'm actually here to buy jewelry too. Then you recommend one to me? Deng Feng did not forget his purpose. So he chuckled and asked. Hearing this, Lin Yi looked at Deng Feng carefully. She was actually married, but she was subjected to domestic violence by her husband after marriage, which not only made her infertile, but also caused her indelible emotional trauma. So Lin Yi resolutely divorced and then worked hard alone in the big city. But now, when I see this boy in front of me who is dressed simply but whose eyes are sparkling with the vigor and brightness that belongs to his age, she should have recommended some gold jewelry with high commissions. But she softened her heart for the first time. She reached out and rubbed Deng Feng's head, smiling and said, "You are so young, why do you want to learn how to buy gold from your boss? It would be better to use this money to buy some food for my parents instead of buying this." Plop, plop. Deng Feng was stunned for a moment, and an inexplicable impulse seemed to surge in his heart. He lost his father and mother at a young age, and the only sister who grew up with him also abandoned him. For a moment, he looked at the woman in front of him, and a warm feeling surged in his heart. He didn't recover until he walked out of the gold shop in a daze. He pulled the 1,000 yuan in his pocket and turned to look at Lin Yi in the store. The other party seemed to notice his gaze and waved with a smile. Seeing this, Deng Feng immediately turned his face away shyly and ran away in panic. He didn't know why he had such a feeling in his heart. Inside the store, Lin Yi looked at Deng Feng, a simple boy who had not been polluted by society, and sighed inwardly. "Little brother, I hope you can keep this passion in the future." The other sighed. With Gu Yan's money ability, the entire commercial street was swept by Gu Yan and others. Each bodyguard was carrying large and small bags and followed behind Gu Yan and others. They staggered to the end of the commercial street and walked into a shopping mall. What do girls like most besides clothes and luxury goods? That's right, it's snack happy water. Langlinger and Bai Quanlan each pushed a cart and made large purchases. "Brother-in-law, look at me. Does this look good?" Langlinger bought a pair of sunglasses and put them on, stepping on the railing under the cart, then waved and shouted at Gu Yan. The image of Langlinger is for reference, or you can imagine it freely in your mind. Gu Yan was chatting with Bai Jun about the topic of warriors. After hearing Langlinger's voice, he turned his head and responded casually. Okay. But you please stop being so perfunctory." Langlinger suddenly became very dissatisfied. At this time, Bai Quanlan poked the other party. "Sister Linger, do you think I look good like this?" Langlinger turned her head and saw that Bai Quanlan also bought a pair of sunglasses like hers. Without thinking much, she gave her a thumbs up. "Quanlan's taste is as good as mine." A shy smile suddenly appeared on Bai Quanlan's face. As if it was his brother's intuition, Biao Jun suddenly looked at Bai Quanlan with vigilance. Brother, I picked one for you too." Biao Quanlan picked up a pair of sunglasses and shouted at Bai Jun. The latter's worries were swept away and he was immediately delighted. "Well, it seems I was overthinking it." Gu Yan found it very interesting. He had talked with Bai Jun a lot, so he was familiar with him. "You seem to have a good relationship with your sister?" Hearing this, Bai Jun nodded, with a hint of pampering on his face. "Well, I swore since I was a child that I would protect my sister." Gu Yan seemed to have thought of something when he heard this, and deliberately said, "By the way, I remember Shaolin has your sister's engagement letter." When he said this, there was an inexplicable hint in Gu Yan's eyes. Sure enough, upon hearing this, Bai Jun's originally gentle face suddenly changed. He clenched his fists tightly, a barely perceptible murderous intent flashed through his eyes, and he whispered, "If the other party is of good character, I will not stop him and my sister even if it makes me uncomfortable. But people like Shaolin are just scumbags. I will never let my sister be with him. Even if the Lord of the Dragon King Palace comes, I won't give in, unless I die. Otherwise, they can't force my sister." Gu Yan was relieved. He patted Bai Jun on the shoulder and comforted him. "Brother Bai, Quanlan is my sister-in-law's friend. I definitely don't want her to stay with a born against the grave like Shaolin." Seeing Gu Yan so sincere, he remembered that at the banquet, Gu Yan even fought with so many important figures in Zhang He in order to protect Langlinger. For a moment, Bai Jun recognized the other party. He sighed and said, "Gu Yan, it turns out that online reputation is unreliable. Only after really communicating with you can I know what kind of person you are. I still say the same thing, the door of the warrior department is always open to you." Gu Yan nodded. The two seemed to appreciate each other and felt that they had met too late. Time passes by every second. After Langlinger and Bai Quanlan purchased several carts of snacks, they passed by a column filled with oil, salt, sauce and vinegar. The former suddenly remembered the main purpose of coming out today. "Oops, I forgot all the important things I came out to do today." She quickly looked at Gu Yan who was walking behind her and shouted, "Wait a minute, brother-in-law, didn't we come out to buy oil, salt, sauce and vinegar?" Gu Yan was still thinking about what to buy for Kinkyu when he heard what Langlinger said. Also suddenly reacted. "Oh yes. Kinkyu called me out today to buy some daily necessities. As a result, I forgot the time for a moment." Gu Yan looked at the time and immediately broke out in a sweat. Damn, it was almost 11 o'clock. Without thinking too much, Gu Yan said to Lao Gao, "Lao Gao, help me get a basket." "For you, young master, it has been prepared long ago." Lao Cao smiled knowingly and handed the basket to the other party. "Good job, Lao Gao." Gu Yan took the basket and put all the seasonings in it. Bai Jun Quanlan, Hurry up, today's shopping ends here. He shouted casually to Bi Jun, then pushed Ling Linger's cart towards the checkout counter. Woohoo! Stop, brother-in-law, there's no need to rush like this. No, if King Qiyu starves to death, I must die as a token of my guilt. What kind of weird oath is this? Wait a minute, stop. Ling Linger seemed to have seen something and hurriedly slapped Gu Yan's head. Gu Yan could only stop and look in the direction Ling Linger was looking. All I saw was a bunch of woolen sets laid out there. Ling Linger pointed over there and said, brother-in-law, buy that quickly. Hasn't your sister already confiscated your yarn? Why are you still not giving up? I admire you, this is for me. Don't you want me to knit you a scarf? You jerk. Besides, I advise you to buy some puffs and sweets to bring back. Otherwise your sister will definitely be angry. After hearing this, Gu Yan's heart was shocked and he looked at Ling Linger in disbelief. The latter raised his head and snorted softly, this family will fall apart without me. I don't read romance novels for nothing. Sister-in-law? You actually. Gu Yan was shocked, is this still the little ghost girl I know? She clearly disagreed with King Qiyu being together at the beginning. In short, listen to my sister-in-law first. Bi Jun. Bi Quanlan and a group of bodyguards also followed behind Gu Yan and Ling Linger. Watch and watch. Bi Jun and Bi Quanlan looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. What a good relationship. Bi Jun secretly admired the harmony between Gu Yan and the younger sister of the Ling family. But besides admiring, he thought of the Ling family's genocide in the past. Gu Yan, the world's situation is turbulent and the night organization appears again. The Ling family is definitely the first suspect. If there is no connection, it's fine, but if there is, at that time as Ling King Qiyu's husband, you will definitely be implicated. Even the entire Gu family will be purged by warriors from all over the world, thus recreating the tragedy of the Ling family 5 years ago. Gu Yan, you really fell in love with the person you should never love. Chapter 146, Such a Chilly Autumn. 11:30 noon. Ling family. In the study. Ling King Qiyu, who was supposed to be reading a book, was pacing back and forth in the room. Why haven't you come back yet? What's going on? Ling King Qiyu murmured to himself, with an expression that was hard to describe. He was worried that if he sneaked out, he would waste too much time and Gu Yan would not be able to find him when he came back. I was also angry it was already 11:30 in the morning. Why hadn't this person come back yet? Do I need to start from early morning to now to buy oil, salt, sauce, vinegar and some vegetables? I was worried that Gu Yan would have the thought. I don't want to go shopping with a brat like Ling Linger. I want to buy things quickly and go back to make love with King Qiyu. That's why she decided to make a quick decision. Quickly rush to the night organization base. Explain the matter, and then quickly rush back to the Ling family. Then she sat at the desk reading, quietly waiting for Gu Yan to come in. She even left the door open for this purpose, because she knew that Gu Yan's favorite thing to do was to sneak in from behind and scare her, and then start doing that to her. Thinking of this, Ling King Qiyu's cold and beautiful face flushed slightly. She shook her head quickly. No, she was not looking forward to that kind of thing. It was just because Gu Yan and I were in a superficially engaged relationship and had also done that kind of thing, in order to maintain their image as an engaged couple and to improve their strength. She wanted to do this and that with Gu Yan. It's not something I like or anything. Think about it, I am the Night King. How can you really like this kind of thing? Of course, so why hasn't Gu Yan come back yet? Oh yes. I asked Gu Yan to take Linger out with Linger's personality. She might want to play for a longer time. So, the two of them are hanging out now? Considering Linger said she wanted to knit a scarf for Gu Yan. A strange feeling appeared on Ling King Qiyu's face. No, Linger would not be like that. Just when Ling Qiyu was daydreaming, suddenly, two familiar auras appeared, accompanied by a dozen unfamiliar auras. There is also a particularly powerful aura among them. Ling King Qiyu's expression froze. What's going on? Gu Yan and Linger. Why did they bring so many people back? Ling King Qiyu's first reaction was feeling threatened? But she soon shook her head. No. Meizu and Clidia did not convey any message to her. The powerful aura among them is most likely from Lao Gao, the master who is beside Gu Yan. In other words, these people are probably Gu Yan's bodyguards. Why are there so many bodyguards coming back so late and asking Gu Yan to go out and buy oil, salt, sauce and vinegar? Oh, I went out for some shopping. Ling King Qiyu quickly came to this conclusion. She immediately walked to the study door and closed it. Then he picked up a book at random and sat back at the desk, opened it and pretended to read it. Then recite it silently in your heart. 1 second to seconds, 3 seconds for seconds. 5 huh? It's already 5 seconds, why hasn't Gu Yan come up yet? 6 seconds, 7 seconds. Downstairs. Gu Yan was directing the bodyguards. Yeah, put those snacks over there. Put the clothes here. Install the new TV, and do with the old one as you please. Linger took the opportunity to interject. You can't just dispose of it casually. Sell it to a scrap collector, and then give me the money you make. Yes, you, put my snacks over there in the living room. I want to eat them while I watch TV. There's a game console over there. You have to install it for me, or I'll have my brother-in-law deduct your salary. A bodyguards looked at Guy in a grieved lie. The latter waved his hands with a headache on his face. She is already like this, you should just give in to her. Okay, Master. Linger was unhappy when she heard this. What do you mean I'm like this? Am I unfriendly? Okay. Guyen nodded and reminded Lagao not to let the yellow-haired kid go too far. Then she picked up the yarn, needles and knitting sticks, and went upstairs. Yu is here. Ah, it's been a minute. Guyan still hasn't come up. Why you have changed, Guyan? Every time you came to the Lang family, you would come to my place first. But why did you become like this just because you went out with Linger? Yu began to feel uneasy. Could it be that Guyan no longer liked her? I heard Linger say before that men become bad when they have money. And once they get what they want, they become bored and want to change for something new. Could it be that Guyan is the same? Yuyu's face was pale and his hands were tightly clenched on the book. 2 minutes have passed. Guyan still hasn't come to find her. Yu didn't know what was going on. She shouldn't be like this. She had just finished arranging things for the organization. But why is it that now that I'm back home, the only thing in my mind is Guyan's life essence? Xiaolang, you are right, I have indeed become weak. What's wrong with my other self? Are you calling me? No, don't worry about it. Yu took a deep breath and said. No, Yu, you are the Night King. Is it just because Guyan came to the Lang family but didn't come to find you that makes you feel extremely uneasy and anxious? What's the difference between you and that idiot who missed a lot of important things because of his emotions? Another me, our furnace is here. Yu slowly put a question mark. Very dissatisfied with this. What do you mean by our furnace tripod? Xiaolang, what are you talking about? Yes, it belongs to me alone. What does it have to do with you? I don't understand. Another me, we are one. In my opinion, Guyan, a male individual, is also my cauldron. Because you and I are the same person. No way. Just shut up. Yu scolded in his heart. Next second. Yu, I'm here. Guyan ran up while shouting. Click. He pushed the door open swiftly and walked in. As soon as he entered here, he saw Yu sitting at the desk reading seriously. He is indeed the future villain, working hard to improve himself all the time. Yu, you don't know that Linger and I ran into Ba Jun and his sister when we went to the commercial street today. The four of us went on a shopping spree and bought a lot of things. Clothes, jewelry, gold, and cosmetics. I don't know which ones you like, but I'll buy them all anyway. Just now you told me that your bodyguard was moving things there. You won't blame me for not coming to see you the first time, right? Guyan walked to Yu and put the things in his hand on the desk. Yu heard Guyan's voice and pretended not to care as she flipped through the pages of the book. Her expression as calm as water. He responded with a faint nasal sound. In fact, I felt relieved. So that's how it is. I met people from the Bei family and went on a big shopping trip. No wonder it took so long. It turned out that he was arranging bodyguards to move things. Yuyu's mood improved instantly, and he felt refreshed. But after thinking about it, she frowned, and a smile that made Guyan feel cold suddenly appeared on her pretty face. That was Yuyu's unique and kind smile of, I'm angry. I just heard the other person turn around and say. How much did you buy? How much did you spend? Not much. Just a little bit. Guyan wanted to say a random number. But looking at Yuyu's kind smile, he could only say an approximate number. About 10 million actually, it's not much. One more than 10 million. Yu almost stopped breathing this is too much. She actually wasted so much money to buy a bunch of useless things. Even if you have money, you can't waste it like this. Yu felt sorry for Guyan's money. She said coldly. Have you removed the label? If not, go and return it. It's so expensive, Linger and I don't want it, I tell you. Guyan felt helpless. He knew Yu would be angry. But it doesn't matter. He quickly picked up a puff and stuffed it into Yuyu's chattering little mouth. Immediately stopped the other party from speaking. Yu was originally still angry, but the taste of cream in her mouth instantly filled her brain. She stopped thinking. The anger value returned to zero. And he happily picked up the puff and started eating. Delicious. Guyan, do you know that spending money is a waste? As she ate, she chirped, you must not buy so much again in the future. But since you bought the puffs, I'll forgive you. Seeing this, Guyan breathed a sigh of relief, then moved a chair and sat next to Ling Qinkyu. And she holds her face up and looks at the other person sweetly. Well, in short, she is very cute. He asked, Qinkyu, what did you do at home this morning? Hearing this, Ling Qinkyu replied without thinking. Read a book. Stupid Guyan, do you think I will let you discover my true identity as the Night King? I also bought woolen needles. Qinkyu, can you knit a scarf? How about we knit one for each other? Ling Qinkyu was very happy at the moment. And she agreed to whatever Guyan said. Okay? Guyan's face became even happier after hearing this. Until his eyes fell on a book on Ling Qingyu's desk. His expression froze. He leaned forward to take a look. And his pupils began to tremble. Guyan looked at the book. I looked at Ling Qingyu, and he took a breath. The atmosphere was slightly silent. Until Ling Qingyu finished eating the puff. Guyan then coughed dryly and asked, Qingyu, do you usually like to read this kind of book? Ling Qingyu licked his lips with satisfaction without the sweets. His face returned to its cold and aloof look. Well, of course, in order to make progress, it is necessary to learn all kinds of book knowledge. Oh. Guyan nodded, thought about it, and advised, it's better to read less books that are banned for 18. Especially books about minotaurs. Besides, Qingyu's book is not a book for the blind. You don't understand it all, huh? Ling Qingyu was just about to make a few sarcastic remarks in a haughty manner. As a result, I heard the second half of Guyan's sentence. She was stunned for a moment, then looked at Guyan. What book are you talking about? The book you are reading now. Guyan read the name and felt a little embarrassed. As XXX, I like XXX, right? Click. After hearing this name, Ling Qingyu reacted instantly. It found a book that was confiscated from Linger and had just been taken to her room without letting Guyan review it. Is this the kind of book? For a while, her face quickly turned red and her shoulders began to tremble. Guyan felt something was wrong, and stepped forward to comfort him softly. Qingyu, it's okay, I understand, sometimes you also want to relax. But, he changed the subject, stretched out his hand to hold Ling Qingyu's shoulders, and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Qingyu, who was so shivering like this, is really cute. As soon as these words came out, Ling Qingyu could no longer hold back and opened his eyes, which were already filled with tears from excessive shame. Next second, cold, Ling, she made a sharp popping sound. Chapter 147 Sisters, Heart to Heart. Something big happened in the Ling family. Therefore Ling Qingyu, the actual controller of the Ling family, and being the first small family meeting since Guyan came. The participants were Ling Qingyu, Ling Linger, and Guyan. Ling Xingyan had nothing to do with the content of this meeting. Living room. Ling Qingyu sat on the sofa with her legs crossed. Her arms folded across her chest, she stared with her eyes open. A rare sight, at Ling Linger, who was kneeling on the ground in front of her, shivering with her head down. The other party's life essence seemed extremely familiar and strange to her. What's wrong with you, sister? Why did you become like this? Ling Linger was kneeling on the ground when she saw the banned 18 rated book being XXXX thrown in front of her. She just knew it. Finished. It's all over. My sister discovered the secret of this book. My fame is about to be ruined. Look at the serious atmosphere now. It is very rare for my sister to hold a family meeting. And every time she does, she has to explain important matters. Her eyes were even open, you know. My sister never opened her eyes in front of others since she destroyed her own eyes. All in all, Ling Linger is now very panicked. The atmosphere gradually became heavy. Guyan was arranged by Ling Qingyu to sit next to her. And he seemed a little uneasy at the moment. He already knew that this 18 storybook belonged to Ling Linger. This is very embarrassing. He looked at Ling Linger. Not knowing what to say for a moment he didn't expect. The bullhead is beside me. Even though his sister-in-law had just assisted him, he felt very sorry for her. But Guyan coughed dryly and said slowly to Ling Linger, I'm sorry, Linger. I know your brother-in-law is very charming. But, I'm sorry, I'm a pure love party. The bullhead is a heretical cult. Ling Linger was just about to explain that she was not trying to bully you, but just liked the pleasure of being bullied. Ling Qingyu glanced at Guyan, and the latter stopped talking. And she looked at Ling Linger again. Her tone calm, which was like the calm before the storm for Ling Linger. Linger, your brother-in-law is here too. Tell your sister the truth. What do you think of your brother-in-law? When saying this, Ling Qingyu was also struggling and in great pain in his heart. She likes Guyan, but if Linger likes him too, then she really doesn't know what to do. Linger is her only sister. Her previous wish was that her sister would grow up happily and live like a normal girl all her life, instead of being like her, spending her whole life pursuing revenge. But this was the way it was before. Ever since Gu Yan came, she found that she could actually take revenge and still get along with Gu Yan like a normal person. But if Linger also falls in love with Gu Yan, what should she do? On one side is the man you like, and on the other side is your beloved sister. Aye. Linger opened her mouth. She looked at Gu Yan. And then at Qiu. I felt a surge of regret in my heart. If I had known this at that time, I would not have borrowed Ba Quan Lan's book. This has led to such a misunderstanding now. As for Qiu, when she saw Linger stopped talking, she thought that she agreed. For a moment, his entire face seemed to turn much paler. She forced herself to calm down, her tone full of disappointment. Does not answering mean you agree? I never thought, Linger, you would become like this. You are obviously at the age where you should go to school. Why are you reading this kind of books and magazines? Why are you doing so many things that have nothing to do with studying? Oh yeah. At this point, Qiu took a deep breath and said slowly. Is it because you made some bad friends? Did they teach you? Gu Yan felt something was wrong when he heard this. He looked at Qiu. The other person's expression was pale and weak. Although his tone seemed very calm, Gu Yan could clearly feel the other person's inner struggle. It was obvious that he was suffering from some serious blow. But Qiu, the child is grown up now. Linger will definitely be very sad if you say that. He looked at Linger, whose expression gradually became dazed. As if she had never thought that her sister would say that. Qiu obviously didn't notice this, because no matter in the past or now, she is in charge of everything for Linger, whether it is school or food, clothing, housing and transportation. Qiu was responsible for all of this, because she had promised her mother to protect Linger. So what does protection mean? Naturally, it means letting Linger walk a path that she has set for herself and thinks is safe. After saying a bunch of parental remarks, Qiu's voice became even colder. Linger, why are you so disobedient? Why don't you follow the path I set for you? The words haven't finished yet. Stop talking. Linger didn't know where she got the courage from. Or maybe she heard Qiu insulting her friend. She couldn't bear it any longer. Instead, she stood up suddenly and shouted at Qiu. Sister, you bastard, you don't understand anything. The noise in the living room suddenly stopped. Qiu's originally calm expression froze in an instant. What? Linger, did you scold yourself just now? It was the first time that Qiu was talked back by Linger, and he didn't react for a moment. But Linger didn't wait for Qiu to come to his senses. Her eyes were red at this moment, and she was obviously trying not to cry. Because every time Qiu talked about her in the past, she would be scared and tremble and cry. But this time it was different. My sister talked about her friend. So she became brave and looked at Qiu and then at Gu Yan. Finally she took a deep breath and shouted, Sister, you don't understand anything. I just like the pleasure of bullfighting. I don't really want to compete with you for men. Why don't you understand Minator? We Minator don't like the person, we like the process of being a Minator. An imaginary cow is also an imaginary cow, not to mention that it feels even better when it's imagined. Sister, why don't you understand? This is the creed of me. And Linger, the headman. It's true that Quan Lan gave me this book, but I don't want to give it back to her. Because I'm an adult now, I want to relieve some stress once in a while. Sister, you and your brother-in-law can do this and that. What should I do alone? Gu Yan covered his mouth. What's going on? Wait a minute, what's going on now? How could such outrageous remarks come out of 37 Degrees mouth? How would Qiu, the future villain and his good wife, react? The little sister whom I have taken care of since she was a child is talking back to me. He looked over. Qiu's expression was stiff at first. And he gradually came to his senses and bit his lips tightly. Then he stood up suddenly, took 2 steps to Linger, and shouted, I don't understand. Yes, how should I understand you? Have I always asked you about your hobbies? What do you like? Did you tell me? I asked you what happened in your school. And you always just answered me casually. I asked you what you did today. And you said you didn't do anything but study. Is what you call studying reading this kind of book? Sister, I can't see you. All I can think of is your childhood. You were so small back then. It was me who brought you up to this age. Have you forgotten? Mom asked me to take good care of you. I don't want you to get hurt. Linger. What is a Minator? What is love? What is a psycho girl? What are internet celebrities? What are short videos? What are soap operas and melodramatic TV dramas? I don't understand, sister, I really don't understand. I tried hard to understand everything you like, Linger. But I, your sister, can't see it at all. The voice gradually changed from a calm and trembling one to a loud roar. And even had a crying tone at the end. Linger was stunned. Because in her impression, the strong sister, at this moment, tears were flowing from my eyes. In an instant, she understood. The pressure my sister has been under over the years is really too great. The family was destroyed, and all the responsibilities fell on Ling Qiyu. She wanted revenge. In fact, I know everything. I witnessed the genocide that night. But she was afraid, very afraid, so she chose to close her eyes and not think about what happened that year. So all the pressure fell on Ling Qiyu. Sorry sis. Then, Ling Linger looked at Guyan, and then she looked at Ling Qiyu, who had a weakened and easy expression in front of her. So, sister. You've found your heart again, so you've become weaker than ever. But this is the sister I know. It turns out that only Guyan can change you. As expected, this guy is very magical. Guyan was sitting on the sofa at this moment, wanting to comfort the two of them and intervene in this matter. But reason told him no. Now is the time for the two sisters to have a heart-to-heart talk, and he cannot disturb them. This might be the best time for the two sisters to completely enter each other's hearts. And, Guyan looked at Ling Qiyu, who was crying with tears in her eyes. He nodded vigorously. It was rare to see Qiyu crying like this. He had to appreciate it quietly. Chapter 148. I love it. Because we